The Earth has entered a new ice age, and global temperatures continue to drop with no signs of stopping. The man in the winter hat declares that the government hasn't forgotten about them and that they will overcome this crisis if they stand together. A voice echoes, suggesting they face this together. The screen displays a stark message. The Earth has entered a new ice age. Hanfeng's name is called out. Hanfeng's name echoes again. Hyona's voice calls out to Hanfeng, her tone laced with worry. Hyona asks what Hanfeng is doing here. Hanfeng urges Hyona to come inside, warning her that it's dangerous out there. Hanfeng and Hyona embrace, finding solace in each other's arms amidst the frozen wasteland. The two share a kiss, a beacon of warmth in the frigid world. Hyona cups Hanfeng's face in her hands. She confesses that she realized he is the one she truly loves. Hanfeng, taken aback, asks what's gotten into her. Hyona explains that he is the one she is supposed to be with, that it takes a crisis to see someone's true colors, to see who really cares and will be there no matter what. She tells him to feel her heartbeat if he doesn't believe her. Hyona declares that she is willing to do anything with him now. Hanfeng, blushing, asks, anything? Hanfeng's hand presses against Hyona's chest, feeling her heartbeat. He is moved by her words. Hanfeng pulls Hyona close, telling her not to say another word and to just close her eyes for him. Hyona responds with a soft Hanfeng asks if her eyes are closed and what she wants him to do now. A sudden, brutal act. Hanfeng's hand plunges a blade into an unseen victim, blood splattering. The sound of the blade echoes, smash. Crimson blood drips down, a macabre curtain falling. Hyona stands over the body, accusing Hanfeng of murder. Hanfeng retorts that she knew the victim had to go, deep down she knew it. He says they should see what the victim was hoarding, and if they play their cards right, they might survive until someone rescues them. He adds that the world went to hell a long time ago, and one less mouth to feed isn't going to change anything. A heavy thud echoes in the alley. Another thud, followed by a pained groan. I can't move. He couldn't move, a chilling realization washing over him. Was this dying? The darkness felt absolute. A voice echoed, distant and taunting. You really are a little minx, aren't you? I'm gonna have to reward you for that performance later. The voice continued, laced with bitterness. Cold-hearted woman's fault. A faint light appeared in the distance. Huh? What's this? A hand reached out, drawn towards the light. Is this the path to heaven? The light intensified, bathing the hand in a warm glow. Wait, my hand, it feels like. The light grew stronger, enveloping everything. The warmth was all-consuming. He gasped, jolting awake. Sweat beaded on his forehead, his chest heaving. Hanfeng sat up, disoriented. Where am I? He lay in bed, the morning light filtering through the window. 30 minutes later, the city sprawled outside the window, bathed in sunlight. A warmth emanated from his hand. He thought he'd never feel warmth again. Hanfeng checked the date. It was June 28th. The apocalypse started on July 15th. He was supposed to be dead, but he'd come back in time half a month before the apocalypse, which meant he'd been reborn. But something was different this time. Something strange was happening. Ever since he woke up, this red glow had been around his right hand. The whole time, it didn't hurt or anything, just felt warm. It didn't seem to do anything else. He thought he was imagining things at first, then he sneezed. He stared at his hand. It turned green. The green glow intensified. It was getting bigger. A strange energy crackled in the air. Hanfeng stood in his room, the green glow emanating from his hand. He stares at his hand, now emitting beams of green light. Hanfeng wonders how science could possibly justify this. The green light shrinks. Hanfeng notes that this green light is erratic, shrinking and growing, unlike the red one at all. He suddenly feels completely drained, wondering if it's because of the green light. Hanfeng exclaims, frustrated, about what the hell this thing is. The protagonist is always reborn. He thinks about cheat-like powers. Rumbling, he realizes he's starving. Opening the fridge, Hanfeng finds there's nothing left inside. He thinks this is bad, and if he doesn't eat something soon, he's gonna pass out. Hanfeng spots a jar of soybeans. He remembers that they're roasted soybeans, leftover snacks from before the apocalypse. Hanfeng eats the soybeans, the green light still emanating from his hand. He stares intently at the soybeans in his hand, a puzzled expression etched on his face. The soybeans are the subject of his scrutiny. What could they be? He reflects, realizing he no longer feels tired. The green light is gone too. Did it have something to do with the soybeans? Date. The soybeans have transformed. It's a bean sprout. Hanfeng realizes what an incredible discovery this is, something he needs to study more. But right now, he has bigger fish to fry. He needs to stock up on supplies before the world ends. Meanwhile, the city bustles with activity, a cacophony of sounds rising from the crowded streets. Hanfeng reflects on the events that have transpired. First, there was a red glow around his hand, then it turned green. The green glow shrinks and grows, making his heart beat faster and making him feel super tired. Then he touched the soybeans with his glowing hand, and they became bean sprouts. He wonders what kind of power this is. Turning his head, Hanfeng hears his name called. Hyona exclaims, Hanfeng, what a coincidence. Are you out shopping too? She smiles, her fingers delicately touching her cheek. It's like fate, running into you like this. Hanfeng's eyes widen in shock. Li Hyona. Li Hyona, The goddess of his dreams for 3 long years lay in bed. He had done everything to make her happy, even when he knew he was nothing but a fallback guy. But he never thought she'd end up getting him killed. He clenched his fist, trying to stay calm. Now was not the time to take revenge. Not yet. He needed to secure supplies first. Lee Hyona called out to Han Feng, asking what he was spacing out for, saying she had been calling his name for a while. Han Feng apologized, telling Hyona that she was looking especially beautiful today, and he got a bit lost in the moment. Hyona told him to stop it, asking since when did he get so smooth? Hyona suggested that now that they've run into each other, they'd do some shopping. Han Feng apologized, saying he couldn't today. Hyona looked confused. Hyona accused him of trying to use her as his personal ATM again, saying not this time, she's not that foolish anymore. The Waldemar Shopping Plaza, a massive supermarket in AC2, stands ready to supply the needs of its customers. Of course, when the Ice Age hit, the place was cleaned out overnight. Nobody ever found out who did it. Han Feng pushes a shopping cart through the aisles, contemplating his needs. He glances at his phone, reviewing an apocalypse survival guide. Food, winter clothes, medicine, daily necessities, fuel. There's a lot to prepare. But right now, he's got a much bigger problem. Han Feng stares at his phone, his eyes widening at the current balance in his personal wallet. 15,357.50. What am I supposed to do with this? He stares at his phone, a question mark hovering over his head. A message pops up on his phone. Congratulations. Your 2023 credit evaluation has been approved. You're now eligible for a loan up to 168,800 yuan. That's right. How did he forget? Han Feng stares at his phone screen, filled with various loan app icons. There are plenty of ways to get a loan, and he won't have to pay it back after the apocalypse anyway. A foot kicks a discarded can down a city street. Meanwhile, Hyona stands with a shadow cast over her face. He's just one of her many simps, and he dares to refuse her. She's seriously pissed off. Her eyes narrowed. Hyona declared, a pathetic loser who doesn't even own a car. Don't expect me to be nice to you ever again. A car horn blared. Han Feng lowered the window of his car, greeting Hyona with a cheerful, oh, if it isn't Hyona. Hyona asked, Han Feng, is this car yours? Han Feng replied, yeah, just got it. Hyona, visibly surprised, exclaimed. Han Feng explained, my dad's been killing it in the US, business-wise, so he wired me some cash. Just dropped him off at the airport. Hyona's expression softened. She murmured, oh, you were taking your father to the airport today. Tears welled in Hyona's eyes as she apologized. I'm sorry for asking you to go shopping with me without knowing. You were so cold earlier. Hyona continued, I thought maybe you were ditching your friend. Han Feng smiled gently, thinking to himself, silly girl. Han Feng reassured Hyona. Why would I ever ditch you, Hyona? You're way too important to me. Blushing, Hyona admitted. You know, you're pretty special to me too, Han Feng. She then asked, how about, we have dinner and watch a movie today? I want to get to know you better. Han Feng's figure is silhouetted as Hyona asks, what do you think? She watches as Han Feng struggles to carry the boxes up to his apartment. Hyona asks if he bought too much stuff. Han Feng replies that it's nothing special, just some stuff he likes. He then remembers he has a present for her. Hyona says she'll look forward to it, and heads home. Han Feng says goodbye. Hyona smiles, thinking she nailed it. Carrying the boxes inside, Han Feng thinks to himself that he can't let her find out about his little stockpile. Han Feng's thoughts turn darker, a sinister figure looming in his mind. He thinks that once the world ends, they'll get what's coming to them, especially the guy who helped them kill him. Han Feng's expression hardens as he thinks that he's actually starting to look forward to the apocalypse. A digital clock displays the date, Thursday, June 29th. A text box above it reads, July 15th, the day it will all begin. Heavy snow. Temperatures will plummet to minus 20 degrees Celsius. Over the next month, temperatures will continue to drop gradually, reaching lows of minus 70 degrees Celsius. The world will be encased in ice and snow, making it impossible to go outside. Han Feng continues to stock up on food. That's why he needs to stock up on enough food supplies, and it all needs to be packed and sealed. He can't let the neighbors suspect he's hoarding all the food. Sensitive supplies must be moved by himself at night when no one's around. After the apocalypse, the power grid will be extremely unstable. That's where this bad boy comes in. A generator, plus enough fuel to keep it running for a year, at least. Han Feng is stocking up on fuel. Workers reinforce the doors and windows, modifying the room for independent heating. The apocalypse is coming, and the heating system will fail. He needs a dedicated room for storing supplies, too. The room is filled with boxes and containers. By the time Han Feng finished getting everything ready, it was already July 14th, just one day before the temperature plummets. He sits on the floor, writing in a notebook. Next, the checklist includes room modification, winter clothes, and studying his ability. It's time for the main event. To survive the coming Ice Age apocalypse, relying solely on the supplies he's accumulated won't be enough. His power to manipulate plants, it's his only hope. All these soybeans, he grew them himself, using his ability. But it's so random, he still hasn't figured out the trigger. He tastes the soybeans. As he thought, it's edible. At least this proves that his ability can produce food. Next step, figuring out how to actually use this thing. Red and green energy emanates from his hands. So far, he's only tried it on soybeans. He needs to see if this ability works with other plants too. A groan escapes him. His head throbbing, Han Feng lies amidst the scattered remnants of his failed experiments. He reflects that this power takes a serious toll on his mind and body. Despite the setbacks, Han Feng acknowledges that he has learned something about this ability. Before blacking out, he had tried using his power on a variety of different plants. Some plants didn't react at all. Some grew from seeds into full-blown plants, like the soybeans. Others exploded. After the explosions, they turned into substances that look like coal but are very light. He wonders what the heck they are. These black substances can be used to heat. Han Feng realizes he no longer needs to worry about staying warm. Afterward, he tried many more times, but it was often a nope. He needs to focus and control his breathing. Another plant explodes, sending him flying. He exclaims, "Whoa, the success rate of this is way too random." He can't find any patterns at all. There's got to be some kind. He sits cross-legged, a small sprout resting in his palm. At least he has some understanding of the activating conditions. Imagine yourself out in nature. A vision of Han Feng appears in a sunlit forest, surrounded by animals. My body and mind are both part of the natural world. His eyes snap open, a green glow emanating from his hands. It is connected to his consciousness. A variety of meats and other foods are laid out on a table. Time passes as he tries to manipulate the meat with his green energy. No reaction to meat. Han Feng wonders if it only works on plants. Come on, work your magic. Still nothing. But when I meditate, I can sense two distinct colors. I haven't even tried using the red one. All right, red light, show me what you got. Yet. Han Feng picks up a piece of meat, ready to try something new. Red energy pulses from the chunk of meat, a visible manifestation of the power Han Feng is channeling. The meat begins to disintegrate under the influence of the red energy, breaking apart into smaller, less defined pieces. A look of disgust crosses Han Feng's face as he witnesses the disintegration, a clear sign that this particular experiment is not going as planned. Han Feng narrows his eyes, wondering if the red light's only effect is to heat things up, a rather underwhelming result for his efforts. He realizes that the red energy is doing more than just heating, a new possibility sparking in his mind as he gazes at the blue energy in his other hand. Han Feng stares intently at the meat, recognizing the process as something akin to disintegration. "No way," he exclaims, surprised by the effect. Holding the green light in one hand and the red in the other, Han Feng considers their properties. If the green light represents the evolution of matters, the red light must be its opposite, disintegration. An idea strikes him. What if he were to combine them? A surge of anticipation courses through him as he prepares to mix the energies. A burst of yellow energy erupts as Han Feng combines the red and green lights, his eyes widening in surprise at the unexpected result. Han Feng stares in disbelief. The meat got bigger. The combined energies have caused an unexpected growth spurt. He notices something else. Where did the soybeans in his hand go? The soybeans merged with the meat. He realizes another unexpected consequence of his experiment. Han Feng's eyes gleam with renewed determination. One more time. He's eager to see what other effects he can achieve with this combined energy. He kneels amidst the scattered remains of his failed experiments, the floor a graveyard of culinary dreams gone awry. Come on. Why? Why did they all fail? Han Feng sits back on his heels, surveying the scene with a sigh. Forget it. I'll take my time to figure that out later. He holds his hands out, a faint green and red glow emanating from his palms. Productive. A chibi version of Han Feng stands atop a snowy mountain, a satisfied smirk on his face. Sweet. His eyes widen in alarm as he stares at a pistol lying nearby. Wait a second, food's not gonna cut it. I'm completely defenseless out here. He rummages through a box filled with vegetables and other ingredients. I gotta hurry and find myself a weapon before the temperatures go down. The camera pans up to a statue in the city. It's here. The city skyline stretches out under a dark, starry sky. It's really happening. Han Feng walks through a snowy city street, his breath misting in the cold air. Hey, I'm in construction. Millions riding on every project. But buying guns is illegal, and I don't exactly have any connections. Two figures stand under a covered walkway. One says, "You know Lao Wang from the Shigong Lida group? He's practically my big brother." Another replies, "I think I've seen this guy around." A man with an exaggerated fashion style stands confidently. "Want a smoke? These cigarettes were also given to me by my big brother." The man continues, "Around here we call him. Don't be shy, take one. Don't you want to give your big brother some face?" The man with spiky black hair listens as the blonde man offers him a cigarette, calling him brotherly. He says he only smokes Huazi, as other brands make him cough. The blonde man explains he's helping Big Brother with a project and was promised a sauna visit as gratitude. The blonde man walks down the street, thinking about how Brotherly doesn't have a proper job, but always acts busy. He wonders if another deal for 10 million needs his help. Under a snowy sky, the man with spiky black hair stands with two others, thinking that maybe Brotherly has the connections to get what he needs. The man with spiky black hair smiles slightly. In the distance, three figures stand near a car, and he wonders if they know each other. Xiaohan calls out to the man with spiky black hair, saying it's him and that they met a while ago, wondering if Brotherly doesn't remember him. He explains he's been swamped with work lately and asks not to be blamed for his bad memory. Xiaohan and the man with spiky black hair look at each other with question marks above their heads. The man with spiky black hair thinks, well, it's like this. The man with spiky black hair and Xiaohan look at each other, both thinking. The man with spiky black hair is surprised, thinking what? He wonders what Xiaohan needs that for, feeling guilty. Xiaohan tells the man with spiky black hair to look, saying his big brother will make it clear. He insists they don't do anything illegal and that guns are serious business. The man with spiky black hair thinks he has connections, but isn't. The man with spiky black hair reaches for something, thinking it's actually some personal grudges, and he wants it for self-defense. He recalls one day while riding his bike to work, he ran into an old man who. Two men ride bikes, and the man with spiky black hair recalls that the old man spat everywhere. He recalls the old man spat right on his face. The man with spiky black hair recalls confronting the old man, who spat on him again. He recalls giving him a good beating. He recalled the day he was left, and the man said he'd get back at him. The next day, that guy was waiting for him with his goons. They beat him up and told him they'd do it again if they ever saw him. He thought to himself that he had never been so humiliated. That's why he wants a weapon for self-defense. That's the long and short version of it. Someone exclaimed, "Dude, spitting on someone? That's nasty. What a jerk. Such uncivilized." A hand gestured. "Say no more, pal." Xiaohan said, "I'll make a call to my big brother right now. Let's do this." Han Feng replied, "Thanks, brother." Xiaohan said, "On the bus." A caption reads, "Kronos, the Panamera is a luxury sports sedan manufactured by Porsche." Xiaohan continued, "If it weren't for my Panamera being serviced, I'd drive you there." Xiaohan said, "Don't worry about it, I got my car." From inside the car, Xiaohan exclaimed, "Damn it, kid. You're living the good life. How much did this thing cost?" He continued, "About 700,000. Not bad." Xiaohan, taking a selfie, said, "Bad, not bad. Pretty good deal, actually. Turn left at the next intersection." On the phone screen, a post reads, "Handsome spicy guy, this new SUV is still too hard to sit in. Just now." Someone said, "Man, this weather is really messed up. It went straight from summer to winter overnight." He stands around a fire with others. One of the men observes that someone is here. Lowly arrives by car with the group. One of the men asks what brings them here, offering them a smoke. One of the men exclaims over the new Tiger SUV. Another asks how much it cost. The man thinks to himself that the car owner is claiming it as his own in front of the actual owner, calling it a bold move. The car costs 700 grand. Give or take. Big Mouth Lee is asked what he is doing here so late. Boss Lou is offered a smoke. He tells them to spit it out, saying he is busy. The man tells Boss Lou that the little brother wants to buy something from him, saying he wants to get a gun. Han Feng wonders if they want a gun. Big Mouth Lee says that is it, a lousy gun? He thought they were bringing him something interesting. The man says yes, sir, stating the gun costs 6,000. Han Feng says he was thinking of something a little longer. Han Feng says he wants one with a scope. He listens to Big Mouth Lee, who calls him kid. Big Mouth Lee explodes, declaring that he doesn't want to hear about sniper rifles. He asks if they think this is a shopping mall where they can ask for anything, and tells them to take the short gun or leave it. One of Big Mouth Lee's men tries to calm him down, saying there's a reason for this. He mentions that it all started 5 years ago with his wife. Big Mouth Lee is disgusted, saying that it pisses him off that his wife had 3 kids and none of them were his. Han Feng thinks that the stories Big Mouth Lee is making up are getting ridiculous, even for him. Big Mouth Lee says that it might take a few days, though. Big Mouth Lee tells his men to load him up with ammo, too. Hyona is present. Big Mouth Lee says that it's all done in minutes, presenting a handgun. He wonders Han Feng looks on. Han Feng looks at his phone. A buddy of someone in the government told him that due to the abnormal weather, they're going to limit the purchase of supplies soon, so it's best to stock up in advance. Big Mouth Lee is serious, presenting the gun. Big Mouth Lee says got it, and tells someone to get lost and scram, saying he's annoyed just seeing them. He says they'll go first then, as the camera pans to a snowy street. He remarks on how well he handled something, adding that it went beautifully. Big Mouth Lee is in a good mood, and the other man thinks he could even ask him for a favor. Big Mouth Lee is thanked and told that someone will grab him some cigarettes on the way out. Big Mouth Lee dismisses the idea of cigarettes, saying he does this because he likes to help people out. But if they insist, he prefers Huazi brand, as other brands make him cough. He tells the other man not to go crazy, suggesting 7 or 8 cartons will do. Han Feng thinks to himself that once he gets paid for that project, he'll take Big Mouth Lee to a sauna. He checks his supplies and weapon, feeling set for the early days of the apocalypse, at least. He decides it's time to focus on studying. Suddenly, Big Mouth Lee cries out as he falls. Big Mouth Lee is on the ground, asking if he's all right and complaining about his leg. He cries out in pain, thinking his leg is broken. Big Mouth Lee asks Han Feng to take him to the hospital. Big Mouth Lee admits that he doesn't actually have a driver's license, adding that he can't. Han Feng tells him he's got him, telling him to lean on him and they'll walk it off. Big Mouth Lee groans with each step. Big Mouth Lee suggests they just get a taxi, offering to pay. The camera focuses on the hospital. Elsewhere, someone says goodbye to Jiyeon, telling her to take care on the night shift. Jiyeon responds in kind, telling them to be careful out there too. The nurse sits at her desk, gazing out at the heavy snowfall. The snow is getting heavier. A voice crackles over the phone. "Head nurse, please come to the hall. We are short-staffed." The nurse responds, "Yes, right away." Han Feng stands before the doctor, an X-ray held up to the light. The doctor explains that there is a stable fracture on his right tibia and that he'll need to stay for an hour for observation. Sitting with his crutches, Han Feng thinks to himself that of all times, this had to happen just before the apocalypse hit. A man approaches him, greeting him. A man tells Han Feng that his big brother has to go, but to call him if he needs anything, as he has a few deals to handle. Han Feng sighs, taking care, bro. The hospital overflowed with patients, victims of accidents caused by the sudden blizzard and plummeting temperatures. Emergency beds line the hallways, a grim testament to the worsening conditions outside. A multi-car pileup on Highway 102. Han Feng wonders how long it'll be till he gets his meds. A man sits next to him. Han Feng sits, thinking. A voice calls out to head nurse Jean, saying they've finished cleaning Bed 5's wounds and asking if she could take a look. Jean replies that she will. Han Feng thinks that she's amazing, a head nurse at such a young age, incredibly skilled, kind to every patient. A system message appears, stating if her heart rate drops below 80, administer an epinephrine. Han Feng thinks that she's really pretty, but way too clueless. An old man asks Han Feng to excuse him, asking for the head nurse. Head nurse Jean approaches, announcing her arrival. Jean asks if the patient can come back later, as they are short-staffed. An elderly man sits nearby, clutching his back. The elderly man complains that his back suddenly started hurting. Jean apologizes, suggesting an X-ray. The elderly man insists that Jean take a quick look, grabbing her. Jean giggles nervously as the man's hand reaches lower. The elderly man's hand gropes Jean's backside, as he says it's a bit lower. Suddenly, the man is struck by a surge of electricity, sending him staggering back. Han Feng asks Jean if she is all right, apologizing for using one of these for the first time. He picks up the man's phone. The elderly man demands his phone back. Han Feng thinks to himself that he knew it. Han Feng looks at the phone, seeing that the elderly man was filming up Jin's skirt. Han Feng refuses to give the phone back, threatening to post the man's creepy face on the internet. The elderly man yells at them not to touch his phone. Han Feng and Jean walk away, as the man yells at them to wait. The head nurse and Han Feng stand face to face. Jean can't believe that he ran off so quickly after claiming his back hurt. She wonders if there are really people this naive in the world. Jean accuses Han Feng of filming up her skirt. She asks if he is serious. Han Feng holds out his phone, showing Jean the picture. He tells her that she can decide whether to wipe it or call the cops. He advises her to be more careful so perverts don't take advantage of her. Jean looks at Han Feng and asks if his ankle isn't injured. The sound of something heavy falling echoes through the room. Jean treats Han Feng's ankle. Jean tells Han Feng to try to be more aware of his surroundings. Another nurse calls for head nurse Jean. Jean tells Han Feng not to forget to come back in a week to get his ankle checked. She thinks to herself that she should be the one thanking him and that she won't let such bad guys get away anymore. Han Feng thinks to himself that it has been 1 week. Han Feng leaves the hospital with a limp. Next day, snow falls heavily in the city. A news report interrupts the program with urgent morning news. Within the next 24 hours, all regions of the country will experience heavy snow and a sharp drop in temperatures. Due to today's heavy snowfall, many places have suspended classes. Officials have stated that there is no need to worry. Reports from overseas correspondents reveal temperatures are plummeting worldwide, impacting regions from Egypt and Dubai to the Amazon basin. Experts claim this severe cold snap won't last long. However, the public is urged to pay attention to disaster warnings and follow the arrangements made by the local government. The news advises people to remain calm, not believe or spread rumors, and refrain from hoarding supplies. Typical, Han Feng thinks, the government's lying through their teeth again, feeding them bullshit to keep them from panicking. If he hadn't died and come back to life once already, he might have actually believed them. He raises a glass of red liquid. Supplies are fully stocked. The house is reinforced, and the heating system is good to go. Everything is prepared. No need to worry about survival for now, he thinks. Whoa, everyone in the complex is talking about it. The chat group shows reports of snow in Egypt and temperatures plummeting to -15 degrees. No way, not this time. This time he's prepared. Han Feng stares at his phone, reading a message from a mysterious person claiming the Ice Age apocalypse is about to begin. Who is this guy, he wonders. How does he know about the apocalypse? He considers the need to be mindful of this mysterious person. Social media users complain about the property management's handling of the snow. The residents continue to express their frustration online, worrying about food supplies and the extreme cold. The entrance to the owners group is decorated with a welcome sign. The residents demand that the property agent come out and explain the situation. Property management apologizes, stating that the snowstorm is too heavy to handle. Amidst the chaos, Han Feng overhears someone demanding a refund. Jiang Shuiyo urges everyone to stop fighting, noting that the snowstorm is too heavy to clear. Someone suggests that the residents are taking their frustration out on the property management, who are also only human. The residents question why someone is speaking on behalf of the property management. Someone clarifies that they are not speaking on behalf of the property management, but objectively and realistically. She states that pushing the property management into a corner is meaningless, and this matter can't be resolved, nor will they be able to get the result they desire. Another resident asks why she doesn't tell them what they should do. Another resident agrees. A resident asks if they want them to starve to death. He explains that driving a car to the supermarket is impossible. Even if they clear the roads in their neighborhood, who can guarantee that the roads outside are clear? He suggests walking over. If they accept, he will go down and help the property management clear the footpaths. One of the residents thinks that in his previous life, he was a very lively person. Another resident says that he is very similar to someone he knows. One of the residents asks if that's that complicated. Another resident says that those who want to go out should clear the roads, and those who don't should just shut up. Silence fills the air as the residents consider their options. One of the residents says that they will also head down to help and quickly clear the roads. He still needs to accompany his good brother to discuss business worth a few million. One of the residents says that he is very similar to someone he knows. Another resident says that they will go too. One of the residents says to count them in, as they are running out of food and need to buy a few days' worth. One of the residents says that they will go too, but their strength is slightly weak. One of the residents says that although they have had the flu these past 2 days, Brother Jiang has set an example, and they will also go down to help. One of the residents is surprised that Hyona is actually going too. Another resident says that there are so many men here. How can they let Hyona go? Another resident says that she should just stay home, rest well, and recuperate. One of the residents thanks everyone for their concern and says that they will have to trouble all of them with the cleaning. Regarding putting on an act, Hyona is really good at it. An exclamation mark appears on the phone screen. Lee Hyona's texts appear on the screen. Han Feng, what are you busy with these few days? You said you would contact me. I am still waiting. More texts from Hyona appear. That's right. When you come to look for me, buy some food from the supermarket for me on the way. Buy more. I am waiting. He wonders what could be the reason for her request. Han Feng thinks, you are really putting in the effort to make me run your errands. Let me think about how I should reply to her. Han Feng replies, haha, got it. He thinks, bastard Han Feng. Just you wait. A narration box reads, videos to pass my time as well. Han Feng thinks, it's only the second day and I am already bored. Looks like the biggest problem of the apocalypse is to learn how to endure. Han Feng thinks, my leg isn't doing too good either. A broken bone needs at least a few months to completely recover. Han Feng sighs, Haze, let's just continue watching videos. The video description reads, jumping into the scientific column, is there really someone in this world who possesses the power of self-recovery? He looks at his phone, reading an article about his miraculous recovery. After doctors sewed up the wounds of this man who jumped off from the 15th floor, they discovered that his damaged internal organs and bones had started to regenerate. The article asks if this is real or fake, and encourages viewers to follow and watch next week's video. Han Feng thinks to himself that's right, then wonders why he didn't think of this. A green light emanates from his hand, healing his leg. The green light continues to heal his leg as he sits on the couch. The green light fades as he sits on the couch, his leg now healed. Lying on the couch, Han Feng thinks that he was overthinking it. He thought the green light would be able to help his injury recover faster. Han Feng yawns, closing his eyes. The video shows a goat and a man in a headdress. The man rides the goat through the sky, as the video says it's time for the sheep to take a walk. The white beast lashes out with its razor-sharp claws, drawing a spray of crimson. The relentless assault continues, each strike carrying the weight of the monstrous creature. The tribal man's foot buckles under the immense pressure, the sound of cracking bone echoing through the air. The beast, in a grotesque display, begins to lick the man's injured foot. A wave of disgust washes over the tribal man as he shoves the beast's head away. The beast's long, thick tongue wraps tightly around the man's injured leg, a constricting grip that promises further torment. Suddenly, a vibrant green light emanates from the wound, a sign of rapid healing. Meanwhile, Han Feng cries out, a primal scream tearing through the air. He stares down at his leg, a question etched on his face. What was that? He takes a step, his bare foot landing on discarded bandages. A flicker of realization crosses his features. His leg, it doesn't hurt anymore. He stands in his room, clad in a blue robe, a determined look on his face. Let's try it again. He thinks, holding a knife. With a grimace, Han Feng slices his finger. Blood wells up, a crimson bead against his skin. A strange, emerald energy flares around the wound, bathing his hand in an eerie glow. A voice, belonging to an unseen figure, echoes, I see, I understand. Meanwhile, in the snow-covered streets, a group of people work together to clear a path. 1, 2, 3, a voice calls out. Jiang Shuiyo, standing before the group, expresses his gratitude. Tough on everyone. Thank you. Sorry to trouble you. Uncle Lu, in such heavy snow. Lu Guangyao waves off the thanks. Haha, I didn't do much. It was all mostly thanks to the two Jin brothers. The Jin brothers, Jin Qinwen and Jin Qinwu, grin at each other. Someone slips on the ice. Are you alright? The ground's frozen. Be careful, a voice warns. Jin Jian, bundled in a pink snowsuit, smiles brightly. No worries, thank you. Jin Jian speaks to the Jin brothers. Go ahead, I can handle it. One of the brothers replies. Then we will go clear up the main path first. Just call for us if you need any help. Jiang Shuiyo observes the scene, thinking to himself, the snow is getting heavier. We will have to be quick when purchasing supplies later. A figure in the distance agrees, their voice echoing in the snowy expanse. Uncle Lu asks what's on the other man's mind, but the man dismisses it as nothing significant. Uncle Lu mentions hearing about someone in the neighborhood moving houses, bringing back supplies on a small truck. The man wonders if that's a common sight. Uncle Lou suggests it could be someone moving in or renovating their house. Uncle Lou recalls seeing gas tanks and a fireplace, which doesn't seem normal for someone moving in. Uncle Lou states that they are making preparations to get through the winter. The workers thank their brothers for clearing the main path, stating that they should be able to go out now. One of the workers remarks that they were just talking about making preparations to get through the winter, and that sounds interesting. Liu Yin tells Wu Kuan Yu to stop slacking off and get back to work. One of the workers argues that he obviously did everything alone, while the other was just watching from the side. The man states that the main path has been cleared. Liu Yin announces that everyone should stop and get ready to head out to the supermarket to buy their supplies. Someone agrees. Han Feng tells Hyona that he will send a message to their mom, as they probably need to buy supplies for their house as well. Elsewhere, a man with glasses looks at his phone with a surprised expression. The man with glasses says that, truthfully speaking, he is not too concerned about it. The man with glasses continues, stating that it's just a brief snowstorm and it will stop very soon. He adds that at that time, everyone's lives will return to normal, so for now, he doesn't think they are related. The man with glasses says that even if they take a step back and assume that this snowstorm won't stop, if someone in their neighborhood possesses a huge amount of resources, isn't that a good thing for their neighborhood? An old man laughs, saying that the young ones do indeed use their brain more. A man instructs everyone to queue up and get ready to move out, telling them not to push. He adds that the snow is getting heavier and they should leave. The crowd begins to move out into the heavy snow. The snow continues to fall heavily outside the buildings. The snow piles up against the windows. Someone knocks on a door, calling out, "Open the door, little brother." Brotherly wakes up, saying, "It's Brotherly. Sorry, I was sleeping." Crayon is asked how the storyboard is going, as the readers are pressing for a release. The director states that he already handed it to Faker, and the new chapter should be done soon. Faker, the director said the readers are pressing for release. Is the new chapter ready? It's done. I just sent it to the director for review. Lord Director, is the new chapter okay? There's a bit of improvement this time, but Crayon, your storyboard is still lacking memory points. The performance is too superficial. You need to pay attention to the control of the overall situation. There must be a logical connection between scenes. And the atmosphere that you created is encroaching onto the design of the scene. Faker, you need to breathe life into your drawings. It has to be flexible, and the character's resolution isn't fully enhanced. If you threw them into a sea of manhwa characters, they will sink straight to the bottom. The audience wouldn't even know who is the creator while looking at them. Also blah 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 blah. Time to go for my date. I won't be sleeping tonight. Why don't the two of us explain it to the audience? Sorry. Please don't feel that one update per week is too little. We are trying our best to produce great work that is up to standard in our own hearts. So we hope that everyone can be patient and wait for our new chapters. One man hands another a guitar case. The man receiving the case says that Brother Lou is too polite. The other man replies not to mention it, as Brother Lou told him to properly thank him. He adds that they luckily stocked up on their supplies in advance. The blonde man asks, "What's up, brother?" The blonde man asks if he knows about the supermarket in the East District. He explains that they went there today after clearing the snow, but the supermarket had already been emptied out by someone last night. Han Feng wonders if it is indeed still happening. The blonde man says that he will head back first and wear more clothes. Little bro Han Feng replies, "Yes, brother." Han Feng walks out of a door, carrying a guitar case. Han Feng thinks about how to be capable of secretly emptying out an entire supermarket in one night. He wonders how they did it. He recalls that in the comics and novels that he used to read, those superhumans who could store things into another dimension would be able to do it. Han Feng wonders if there could really be a superhuman with a dimension-type ability. Han Feng clenches his fist, thinking that this is so unsettling. Han Feng thinks that he needs to do more research on his ability. He reasons that if there really are other superhumans out there, at least he will have some countermeasures. With his current understanding, he realizes that his ability affects all kinds of food supplies, allowing him to increase their quantity or size. Notes on his ability include remodeling his house, winter clothes, research on his ability, and weapons for protection. The ability is similar to synthetic growth. The success rate is really low. The soybean success rate is 1 out of 10, while the meat can fail tens of times, he thinks. He wonders why this is happening. Han Feng uses his ability on a plant. The failure rate is way too high, he thinks. He must figure out exactly how it works today. The time reads 22:45 on Sunday, July 25th. Han Feng holds a plant. Finally, he thinks he finally got a little knack for using it, but he is so tired. So when using the green light, the energy isn't constant, he thinks. Every type of food has its own corresponding energy values. It will result in a failure if it's wrong. The time is ticking. He pauses, a thought striking him. This model is kind of familiar. It's that online dancing game that was popular decades ago. If the energy values are like the directional input keys, then the energy inputs have to be correct for every second. Lastly, he has to pinpoint the critical point. Perfect. Han Feng laughs, holding up the successful experiment. Next, he should experiment on meat. Meats are different from vegetables. It becomes a black liquid if it fails. It is extremely disgusting. The principal theory shouldn't be too different. Firstly, let's try to grasp the energy values that meats require. The time needed seems to be longer compared to vegetables. Ugh. TCH again. He fails again at the game-like sequence, the word miss flashing mockingly. Frustration boils over, his face contorted in rage. Isn't the difficulty way too high? Silence descends as he sits amidst the chaos of his failed experiments. His hand glows with green energy as he attempts to manipulate the ingredients. Focusing intently, Han Feng shouts, "Now!" Blood splatters across his body as the synthesis takes a gruesome turn. A smirk plays on his lips. Humph. Exhausted, Han Feng collapses to the floor. He thinks, finally, found the synthesis method for meats. The city lies buried under a thick blanket of snow. A news report declares, "Good morning, viewers. Today is the 17th of July, the third day of the snowstorm. The entire country is experiencing the worst snowstorm of the century. Due to the snowstorm, all traffic, electricity, and networks are starting to break down. Residents are asked to patiently wait for maintenance by support personnel. The government is also delivering resources to affected regions." He stretches, the same as his previous life. Everything will start to collapse. So we hope that everyone can stay home unless they have any special circumstances. A group message arrives. Unit 1701 asks why their call to the government isn't going through. The Happy Housing Complex Residents group chat shows Unit 1202 asking why no information has been provided. The residents watch the news, which shows an intense quarrel. They must have watched the news. Some people believe in waiting for support, while the others are quarreling while thinking of how to save themselves. Do all of you really believe in the news? Uncle Lou says that if the situation really was under control like what the news said, then the support team would have arrived long ago. But up till now, we have not seen a single truck filled with resources coming to support us. Rather, I heard my friends say that a lot of armored vehicles, tanks and heavy weapons are heading towards City A, so there's only one possibility left. War is about to commence. A man stares at his phone, a thought bubble forming above his head. He wonders if a war is coming, recalling hearing about it in his previous life. One of the animal-like people states that if Uncle Lou's guess is true, they need to start taking measures to save themselves. Another adds that some owners in the neighborhood have already run out of food because they didn't hoard enough. A man looks at his phone, thinking that they don't have a confirmed time of arrival for the support resources from the government. He believes they should start organizing themselves first and help those owners who are facing difficulties. One of the animal-like people suggests that owners with ample food supplies donate some of it to support those owners who have run out. He declares that he will donate half of his food supplies. Another animal-like person agrees, stating that they can't just let those families starve in such cold weather. He counts himself in on the donation, asking Huina if she will be donating too. A note indicates that Li Hyona will be Li Huina going forward. A woman looks at her phone, responding to someone named Wu Kuanyu. She asks if he's crazy, noting that there are so many people there yet he had to ask her. She wonders if it's because she rejected him before and tells him to come find her if he needs anything. One of the animal-like people says that he is really sorry, but he doesn't have any spare food supplies at home. Another says that Huina doesn't even have enough for herself, asking why they don't ask someone else. Another responds that he didn't know that, and was just hoping that all of the neighbors would unite and help each other out. Another says that if they can't guarantee true unity among themselves, he won't be donating. Another agrees, saying that's true, no one wants to. Two panels show animal-like people discussing the situation. The animal-like people continue to discuss the donation, with one saying that regarding the donation, he counts himself in. Another says count him in too. Someone asks if they need clothes. One of the animal-like people says to let him express his thanks to all of them in place of those owners. Another says that there's quite a lot of people here, and asks why they don't appoint some owners to take charge of this. A poster announces the formation of an interim owners committee, dedicated to planning and supporting the distribution of donated supplies. Han Feng stares at his phone, a wry smile playing on his lips. Interim committee? Heh, I remember that this happened in my previous life too. The city is buried under a thick blanket of snow. A text box reads, "It was just a scheme to take other people's resources. The central heating system has failed due to the extreme weather. People are struggling to keep warm." The text reads, July 19th, 5th day of the apocalypse. The temperature outside has already dropped to minus 40 degrees. A table is laden with food and drinks, a small comfort amidst the chaos. Damn, so many zombies. Han Feng sits in his apartment, surrounded by the remnants of a normal life. The phone rings insistently. The phone screen displays an unknown number. Ring. Han Feng answers the call. A voice on the other end says, "Hello, is this Mr. Han Feng, the owner of 1801? I am the person in charge of Block B. We will be heading down to clear the roads in 20 minutes. After you are done, please head down to the basement car park to look for me to sign the..." Han Feng thinks, the snow is so heavy outside. Are you guys blind? He replies, "Clear? I will clear your uncle." Han Feng prepares to go outside, bundling up against the cold. He thinks, forget it, let's try not to have a fallout with the neighbors. I have to lower the possibility of them finding out my secret to the lowest. Han Feng looks out the window at the snow-covered landscape. But the snow has already sealed up our first floor entrance. The paths outside are buried under a mountain of snow. I have never seen snow piled up so high in my entire life. Damn, the paths that we cleared yesterday. Let's just push the door open first. Two men struggle to open the door, buried under the snow. One calls out, "Black hair brother, come give us a hand." Han Feng replies, "Ugh, okay." On the count of three, two figures stand ready near the doorway, bracing themselves for the harsh weather outside. A group huddles in the doorway, the biting wind and heavy snowfall, making them think twice about venturing out. The snowstorm is too extreme, someone exclaims, the group's collective anxiety palpable. The wind howls, stinging exposed skin. One of them struggles to even open their eyes against the onslaught of snow. Shivering, Han Feng pulls his jacket tighter, the cold seeping into his bones. He thinks to himself that they will get serious frostbite if they go out in this weather. They might even die. The group continues to debate the situation, the risk of frostbite weighing heavily on their minds. Someone says that with this amount of snow, you can clear your butt. Only an idiot would go out in this temperature. A voice cuts through the apprehension. Someone declares that he is here, his tone resolute. Brotherly, cigarette dangling from his lips, scoffs at the group's hesitation. Why is everyone acting like a coward, he asks. What we need is an imposing attitude. The others watch as Brotherly prepares to brave the storm. One of them says, Brother, don't try to be brave. This isn't a game. That's right. Let's wait for the snow to stop first. Taking a final drag from his cigarette, Brotherly lets out a defiant shout, ready to face the blizzard head-on. With a roar, Brotherly charges into the snow, determined to clear the path despite the treacherous conditions. The group watches as Brotherly disappears into the swirling snow, his silhouette fading into the white abyss. Frantic cries for help cut through the howling wind as figures struggled against the blinding snowstorm. A man coughed violently, his body racked with chills as the frigid air bit at his exposed skin. Brotherly lay prone, surrounded by concerned faces. Someone asked, Brotherly, are you okay? The snowstorm raged on, a relentless white curtain that obscured everything. A voice mused that it was no longer a situation that could be solved with manpower alone. Meanwhile, a lone figure walked into a parking garage, seeking shelter from the storm. Addressing a crowd, a man explained that the snow was too heavy and they should wait for it to lighten up before clearing. He added that the basement car park would be designated as the donation and collection point of resources. Whispers circulated about someone with the surname Jiang, wondering if he was the one who spearheaded the establishment of that scam committee. The man speaking to the crowd thanked everyone for their support. The man with glasses expressed surprise at how many owners were willing to donate their resources, adding that their generous donations would help even more owners who were in a difficult situation. A group of people huddled together, one stating that everyone faces difficulties at one point or another, and it's only right for them to help each other. They believed that as long as they were united, they would be able to get through this crisis together. One man told another that he would head up first, and the other responded, All right, bro. A person apologized, asking to be excused. Another exclaimed, It's that nurse. The nurse apologized, asking to be excused as she navigated through the crowd. She cries out in surprise, clutching a stack of boxes. A man asks if Jean is okay as he carries her. She weakly responds. Jean looks up at the man carrying her, a dawning realization in her eyes. It's you, she exclaims. She notices something is different. Your leg. Has it already healed? Han Feng gestures, explaining that his recovery speed has always been great since he was young. He adds that he can recover from common injuries in just a few days. Jean Shui seems to understand. Han Feng offers to help, but Jean Shui insists that she is strong and that the boxes are not heavy. Jean Shui thanks him for helping with her bandage, but says that since he put it that way, she will have to trouble him. Han Feng asks what is inside the boxes. Jean Shui wonders if the boxes are too heavy and why he doesn't let her carry them. Han Feng insists that he is fine and doesn't feel anything at all. He tells her not to push herself, as he is actually much stronger than most guys. Jean Shui asks if he has always been strong since he was young. Jean Shui explains that the boxes are mainly medical supplies and apologizes. She adds that something happened, but she can't really explain it clearly. Han Feng realizes that he still doesn't know her name. Jean Shui introduces herself, saying that she is called Jean Shui and that it is nice to meet him. She seems to have caught him off guard. Han Feng and Jean Shui walk together, carrying a box. Jean Shui asks what Han Feng does. He replies that he is unemployed. Someone nearby exclaims in surprise. Jean Shui's expression is unreadable. Jean Shui gasps. The jacket looks soft. Han Feng says it's fine. A woman approaches, asking why Han Feng didn't tell her he was out. The woman asks if they were out here. She grabs his jacket, asking who Jean Shui is and if she is his friend. Li Huina says that they can continue chatting and that she won't disturb them. She will carry it over herself, thanking them. Han Feng says okay. Li Huina asks Han Feng why he didn't tell her he was out. She says she came down to receive supplies and was worried something had happened to him. She asks why Jean Shui is here. Li Huina says she was just about to send him a message. She accuses him of lying, saying she saw him happily chatting away with that lady just now. Li Huina says that's right, asking if Han Feng has any spare food supplies at his house. She says she's almost run out and asks if he can share some with her. She offers to share her limited food supply with him, her eyes searching his. Huina's expression is hopeful, her cheeks flushed. She continues, suggesting that if he wants to chat, he can find her online. Han Feng remarks that she doesn't seem to be going back, and he turns to leave. Huina grabs his arm, her voice laced with concern. Wait. Li Huina tells him that she feels like he has changed recently, adding that she knows he has always been serious about his feelings. Huina expresses her fear that people will think she is with him just because he is rich. Han Feng thinks to himself that he really wants to tear off her ugly mask right now, and that if he hadn't found out who the man behind her was. He wonders why he has to look for him, deciding he just has to proceed like he did in his previous life and let Huina bring that man over again. Huina asks if he can give her a little more. Han Feng tells her that he was just teasing her and that he will be waiting for her reply, promising to deliver some food supplies to her tomorrow. He thinks that he will go back first and talk online if there is anything else to talk about, telling her to take care and not catch the flu. He clicks his tongue, a displeased expression on his face. A building stands encased in ice, a testament to the frigid weather. His phone rings incessantly, displaying a series of messages from Li Huina. Han Feng, what are you doing? One reads. Another asks, why are you not replying to my messages? The weather is perfect for such nice and warm food, he thinks, a blissful expression washing over his face as he savors the meal. The numerous experiments during the past few days have allowed Han Feng to confirm two things. Expanded limitlessly. First, meat cannot be expanded limitlessly. Second, like soybean, meat can be reproduced limitlessly. Every time a stalk of beans sprouted, he would use half of it to grow more beans again. He would only consume half. He uses the same practice when cultivating meat as well. Under the two kinds of light, half a piece of steak with a few soybeans can produce a full piece of steak. The same process will yield more and more steak. Han Feng thinks he shouldn't have to worry about having nothing to eat in the future. Good morning, viewers. Today is August 2nd, the 19th day of the snowstorm. I am now on Bodu Hithi Island in Maldives, which is 78 kilometers from the equator. The average temperature here has lowered to minus 42 degrees. Even the ocean is freezing up at a speed that can be observed with human eyes. According to expert readings, the ice layer has already reached 55 centimeter depth. From our understanding, the situation in countries near the equator are pretty similar to ours. Han Feng thinks the real situation is far worse than what the media is portraying. Han Feng looks shocked. Han Feng wonders what exactly is happening out there. This is already the 7th explosion in the past few days. Military helicopters fill the sky above the city. He glances at his phone, a flicker of concern crossing his face. The situation outside is also causing panic for the owners. People gather, receiving supplies. But some owners are taking advantage of others, leading to conflicts. The group chat is telling owners who have been facing difficulties to go down to the basement car park to receive necessary resources for free. A sign points the way to the basement car park. Han Feng shivers, letting out a sneeze. One man thinks to himself, if it wasn't for gathering information, he wouldn't have come down here. Han Feng observes the scene, wondering what's going on. Before his rebirth, there was a rebellion in this neighborhood, and if his memory serves him right, it must be related to these people. But they are really giving away resources instead of scamming people. From above, the car park is a hive of activity. Let's find out the real situation first. The number of households facing difficulties is quite high. One man complains, having handed over several large boxes of resources back then, and now they are giving him this little food. Everyone is given an equal amount. Another man demands the resources he donated back then. My apologies, but the resources can't be returned to you. He assured the unseen person that he would repay them several times in cash once the disaster was over, hoping they could see the bigger picture. He only wanted the resources he had donated, unsure how long the snowstorm would last. A man in the crowd complained that Brother Jiang had already promised compensation. Another voice told them to stop being shameless, accusing them of only wanting more resources. Voices in the crowd told others to get lost after receiving their food, as everyone was waiting to eat. Someone asked if they could stop delaying everyone, while another voice exclaimed that those in the committee were having a hard time as well. Another voice accused someone of trying to take back what they had already given away, calling it shameless. A voice called someone fatty and told them to get lost. The man thought to himself that there was no way they'd give back the resources in the current situation. The crowd of people seemed to grow restless. A voice declared that the situation was really shameless. A man agreed that the situation was shameless, asking, isn't it? A man with blonde hair greeted Han Feng, calling him little bro. The blonde-haired man exclaimed that it had been a long time and asked how Han Feng had been. Han Feng replied that he was not too bad. The blonde-haired man trembled, saying he was just flustered and powerless. He asked Han Feng if he called this not too bad. The blonde-haired man stated that it was difficult to depend on drinking water to suppress his hunger. Han Feng looked on. The blonde-haired man recalled that he had been thinking of helping the neighbors previously, so he donated most of his resources to the committee. In the end, his food supplies at home ran out before the snowstorm ended. The blonde-haired man added that the resources the committee was giving out were too little. He thought to himself that he would have kept more resources for himself if he had known. He is greeted with a friendly bro, as the blonde-haired man asks him for a favor. The blonde-haired man continues, asking if Han Feng is willing to give him 4 packs of instant noodles and 2 sausages for such a simple matter. The blonde-haired man exclaims that Han Feng is just looking for an excuse to give him food, promising to never forget his grace for the rest of his life. The blonde-haired man tells Han Feng not to worry, stating that he will leave this small matter to him. Han Feng agrees, saying he will go collect his resources first. The blonde-haired man replies that just a few packs of instant noodles and sausages will settle this matter. Han Feng thinks to himself that it's not as important as comfortably lazing on his sofa eating delicious food and playing games. The blonde-haired man gives Han Feng a thumbs up, expressing that he has really disappointed him. Hyona confronts Han Feng, her voice laced with frustration. Why are you not replying to my messages? Han Feng's eyes widen slightly, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. Did she? He touches his cheek, a faint blush rising on his skin. Han Feng thinks to himself, I haven't even settled her previous debts yet, but she slapped me for no cause or reason. You really think I am easy to bully? Han Feng's expression hardens, a hint of annoyance flickering in his eyes. Hyona's voice rises, her frustration evident. Are you deaf or are you mute? Do you not hear me talking to you? Han Feng finally responds, his tone subdued. Sorry, Huina. The situation is. Hyona asks, what? Stolen. Han Feng explains, I placed the resources outside my door and went back in to get my keys, but they were gone by the time I came back out. Hyona then asks, then did you look for it? Han Feng replies, yes, but we haven't found any clues at all. Hyona asks, her expression concerned, do you still have resources? Han Feng replies, his tone grim, not much. It will only last me a few days if I only eat one meal a day. Hyona exclaims, her eyes sparkling with excitement. That's great. She thinks to herself that they can split half of their food and just eat one meal every 2 days to get through this disaster together. Han Feng thinks that Hyona is shameless to be capable of saying such words. Han Feng thinks that he is just a tool for Hyona to use when needed. Hyona thanks Han Feng, who says that he made a promise with her after all and that they should split it equally. He tells her that he will send her the food later at night. Hyona thinks to herself that she will wait for Han Feng's message. Han Feng tells her that he will head back first, and that she should also head back soon so she doesn't catch the flu. A close-up of Han Feng's jacket. The camera pans up the side of the apartment building, showing the snow falling. Hyona is texting Han Feng, asking if she can come over now. She sent messages at 8:15 p.m., 8:42 p.m., 9:05 p.m., and 9:34 p.m., asking if he is there and if her food is ready. She also says that she is in his lobby and that it is so cold there. She wonders what he is doing and clicks her tongue in annoyance. She wonders what Han Feng is doing, as he is not replying to her messages or picking up her calls. She wonders if he is not going to stand her up again. Hyona realizes that the elevator has also stopped working. Hyona starts to climb the stairs. Hyona's boots can be heard as she climbs the stairs. She curses Han Feng's name, muttering that she wouldn't be looking for him if it weren't for the resources. The climb is proving to be exhausting. Hyona thinks to herself that she has been starving for a few days. She continues her ascent, telling herself she's almost there. The emergency lights are also broken, she notes with frustration. Looking up, Hyona wonders who is there. The stairwell is dark and grimy. Hyona's expression is one of concern and exhaustion. A loud BM echoes through the stairwell. The light fixture above flickers weakly. A voice calls out, Han Feng. Han Feng apologizes, explaining that he fell asleep, saw her messages, and came running down with the resources. He adds that he didn't expect the lights to suddenly switch off, ran into a railing, and dropped the flower. Hyona, holding her nose, exclaims that he is so disgusting. She holds out a bag towards Han Feng, her expression unreadable. Han Feng looks at the bag. Hyona says, here, these are my remaining resources. A close-up of the bag reveals its contents, discarded food. Han Feng grimaces, thinking, I had to eat carefully to keep so much of these leftovers in stock. So dirty. Is this even edible? Han Feng looks at Hyona, who says, if you don't like it, give it back. Han Feng, flustered, grabs the bag. Who said I didn't want it. Hyona's face is partially obscured by her hat and scarf. She thinks, so this is the goddess that I was pursuing with all my might. Han Feng reaches out his hand. Give me the flower too. Han Feng looks at the flower. Great, there's still half of it left. He thinks, this garbage should be enough to give you an upset stomach for a few days. Hyona walks away down the stairs, carrying a bag. Han Feng thinks, you can't even shower in this weather, so just let that flower stay on you for a while. Han Feng is seen from a distance, walking down the stairs. A close-up of Han Feng's face shows him looking down, a determined expression on his face. He walked down the hallway, his footsteps echoing in the empty space. The sound of his boots on the tile floor grew louder as he continued his descent. His pace quickened, a sense of urgency driving him forward. Han Feng grabbed the figure, surprised to find it was a girl. It's a girl. Han Feng grabs Li Huina, his voice laced with suspicion. Hey, are you following me? What are you trying to do? Refusing to speak, huh? Han Feng pins her to the ground, his tone turning menacing. If you don't tell me, I'm going to tear off all your clothes. Li Huina stands over him, her expression cold. TCH, so be it, I will let you off this time. Han Feng turns away, a frustrated edge to his voice. Go back home quickly. Stop playing pranks and being mischievous. Li Huina grabs his arm, her voice sharp. What? Li Huina stares intently, her words carrying a threat. If you don't say anything, then I am leaving. She points a finger at him, her tone challenging. You want me to follow you? Han Feng's eyes widen, a hint of realization dawning on his face. This. Li Huina stands amidst a room filled with supplies, her voice laced with accusation. You prepared all these? Li Huina's expression is thoughtful, her words tinged with suspicion. Could it be that you already knew that the snowstorm would happen? Li Huina states that her calculations are complete, resulting in an ice age. Han Feng points at the screen, mentioning that Li Huina was mentioned in the group chat. He asks if she is the outcast. A text box reveals that Jiami renamed the mysterious person in the group chat to Outcast. Han Feng responds with sarcasm, finding it awesome. Han Feng questions why Li Huina brought him to her house. Security camera footage shows boxes being delivered. More security camera footage shows Han Feng being monitored. He realizes that he has been monitored. Li Huina begins to undress. Han Feng asks why she is suddenly stripping. Li Huina responds that it is not what he thinks. Han Feng demands that she stop stripping and put on her pants. Han Feng and Li Huina sit on the couch. Li Huina summarizes that she was suspicious of Han Feng hoarding resources before the snowstorm, which is why she was monitoring him. She adds that the main purpose of monitoring him was to see if there was a possibility. Han Feng is confused. He turns to see Li Huina bent over, her posture provocative. Hey, what are you doing? Han Feng asks, surprised. Li Huina, unfazed, requests, teach me how to use a generator. The generator hums quietly. Li Huina sits next to the generator, looking up at Han Feng. Do you understand? She asks. Han Feng stares at Li Huina, bewildered. He responds with a confused, Li Huina points to the hot water heater. That's just adjust it this way and you will have hot water, but remember to close the valve when you are done. She continues, you have to pay attention to safety when connecting the gas. Look closely at the procedure I am about to do. Li Huina explains, when there's enough gas, then there will be a big flame. The food cooked in this way is more delicious. See if the rice is done. Green light means it's ready. The food looks delicious. Li Huina says, all right, eat while it's hot. Han Feng slams his fist on the table, frustrated. I feel like I have become a full-time nanny. Your ability to take care of yourself. Li Huina eats with chopsticks, thinking that the food is too poor. Han Feng eats with chopsticks, mentally straining. Han Feng eats while Li Huina falls asleep on the table. He thinks he will go back once he is done eating. Li Huina's head rests on the table as Han Feng continues to eat, thinking she will fall asleep while eating. Han Feng puts a blanket on Li Huina, who is asleep on the couch. Han Feng thinks that it's like having a child. The door closes. Snow falls outside a building. In the morning, Han Feng opens the door, wondering what's going on. Li Huina stands surrounded by boxes of stuff, thinking that he is too courteous. She asks if he needs something. Li Huina stands next to a generator. She asks again. After a few days of interaction, Han Feng thinks that Li Huina, who lives above him, is 100% an idiot and is lacking in most general knowledge. He notes that she seems very interested in learning about self-reliance, and she drags him to her house every day to teach her. Han Feng remarks that her cooking skills have improved. He thinks that even if it's something like this, many people would die to eat it. He realizes that he still hasn't asked for her name. Li Huina is labeled as the evil king. Han Feng tells her to just pretend he didn't ask. Meanwhile, a man yells at someone, calling them trash and asking how they dare come to collect resources. He demands that they hand it over. Another man claims that it's his. Someone asks who can prove that it's theirs. The scramble for resources turns violent as desperate hands claw and shove, each individual consumed by the primal need to survive. An explosion rocks the background, a stark reminder of the world's fragility. Accusations fly as two men lock eyes, their faces contorted with rage. Get lost. These are my resources, one snarls, his voice barely audible above the din. A heavy boot descends, crushing something beneath its weight, a grim symbol of the ruthless struggle for existence. The chaos intensifies, a swirling vortex of bodies and desperation. The air crackles with tension, thick with the scent of sweat and fear. A man with glasses, a red armband stark against his drab coat, raises a megaphone, his voice booming across the ravaged landscape. Because of these few remaining resources, you are fighting to the death. Don't you find it ridiculous? The crowd erupts in angry retorts, their voices a chorus of resentment and frustration. You have the nerve to say such things? You were the one who suggested donating our resources. The man with the megaphone continues, his voice unwavering despite the hostile reception. Let's see, because the resources distributed isn't enough and the donated resources have run out. So you have to fight for the last remaining resources. His face, framed by thick glasses, is a mask of grim determination as he speaks into the megaphone. Don't you deserve to starve to death? The man with the megaphone presses on, his words cutting through the tension. All of you think about it carefully. Who is the one that caused such a situation? A hand emerges, clutching a meager piece of bread, a symbol of the desperation gripping the community. Come, let me help you remember. The man with the megaphone watches as the bread is broken into smaller pieces. To squeeze all of you dry, a piece of bread was split into 5 or 10 pieces to auction. They managed to get rich using this disaster, walking over what remains of the fallen. As for all of you, they didn't only use up all the resources. Now they are even having an internal strife due to these few remaining resources. They are the ones who raised the prices with malice. He raises his voice through the megaphone, asking if it's fair that they are the ones who are going to starve to death. He continues, questioning what they should be doing right now, urging them to stand united and go get back the resources that belong to them. What he said is right. This isn't freaking fair. Why are they the ones getting all the benefits, while we are the ones who have to starve to death? That's right. It's all their fault. They are the ones who did this to us. Damn it. This isn't fair. We need to get back our share of resources. Right. We are just taking back the share that belongs to us. Meanwhile, these people have practically gone mad. Something big is about to happen. The phone slips from his grasp as the news sinks in, the ringing tone echoing in the room. It's brotherly. The message reads, "Little bro, there's big trouble. These people have gone mad. They are going to snatch resources. The one with the surname Jiang, he's inciting the owners to snatch resources from others. They are going from door to door prying their locks. Right now. I understand, bro. Take care of yourself as well. I didn't expect things to turn out this way, although I brought 2 guns in case of a crisis. If it's such an organized operation and my resources were to be revealed, facing those crazy neighbors, they will definitely eat me up, leaving nothing but bones." He prepares for what's to come, gathering fire extinguishers. Materials are laid out, ready to be assembled. Li Zi hauls a generator, preparing for the worst. He pauses, a thoughtful expression on his face. Damn, a power failure? The block opposite has no power either, and there's no signal. The buildup of snow and low temperatures outside have made any maintenance impossible, which means the power failure and signal loss this time might be permanent. Once the owners realize that the power is never coming back, the real hell begins. 30 minutes ago, someone mentioned in the group chat that they will buy all resources at 50 times the market price. Those paupers immediately shut their mouths. How is it? Was following me the correct choice? As long as I have resources, I will be able to do anything I want with this girl. He stands in a dimly lit room, listening to someone off-panel. The man buying resources from many owners is being discussed, and it's confirmed that this is the unit. He was also the one spearheading the group chat about raising prices. A sharp sound echoes as the man winces, his face contorted in pain. Turning towards a closed door, he is told to stop dawdling and just kick it open. With a grunt, he kicks the door, splintering the wood as it bursts inward. Snow fell heavily outside, obscuring the city in a white haze. Inside, a cluttered room held a small source of light and warmth. Crouching low, Han Feng tinkered with some equipment, the air thick with the smell of dust and old metal. Suddenly, sparks flew as the device in his hands sputtered to life. "Eh," he exclaimed, surprised by the sudden burst of energy. Coughing, Han Feng continued his work, muttering about the difficulty and wishing the internet was still working. From behind a glowing screen, Hyona's voice pleaded, "What do you want now? Help." Han Feng paused, glancing towards the door. Strange, why is there still no power, he wondered. Reaching for the handle, he released the lock. How troublesome, looking for me while I am busy with something, he muttered. Opening the door, he heard Hyona speak. I received information, some of the owners are breaking down doors and robbing resources. That's why. You should return quickly. I am not opening the door for you." Hyona stood framed in the doorway, her expression unreadable in the dim light. From above, the door seemed small, Hyona even smaller, huddled against the cold. Hyona muttered to herself, "Be quick, don't let the others get ahead of us again. How many owners are on the 18th floor? Who cares, just break it down." Meanwhile, 2 figures crept along a dimly lit hallway. "Looks like no one has been to this floor yet," one of them whispered. 3 figures walk down the hallway, discussing their plans. One of them says they will take the 2 units inside. Meanwhile, someone asks for the crowbar. Below, Han Feng and Hyona are inside their room. He calls out, announcing their arrival to deliver resources. Han Feng sits with Hyona, reinforcing their door. Han Feng reassures Hyona, telling her not to be afraid because the door has been reinforced. Han Feng wonders why the door is so sturdy that he can't even break the handle. He suggests breaking the one next door first and marking this unit. He recalls that they finally gave up because he reinforced the door and handle. He wonders if they are hiding from a creditor. Han Feng is relieved that they are all right, explaining he was afraid they might realize someone's home. That's why. Hyona thanks him. Han Feng notes that it looks like they are gone now. He adds that once he is done fixing this thing, if they work. Han Feng declares that if anyone dares to touch his door again, he will electrocute them to death. He shows Hyona the device, calling it an electrocution defense measure. Hyona says that she won't understand even if he told her. Han Feng says that he doesn't understand it himself, why this lousy electrocution device is so difficult to install. He explains that an anti-theft device uses electricity and voltage differences. He asks if she knows about this, adding that it's very simple. Han Feng explains that after you cut off the power supply, wrap the bare wire from the cable around the door handle, making sure you don't touch it. Then connect the earth wire from the circuit box to the door handle. Lastly, turn on the power. Hyona asks how he knows this stuff. Han Feng tells her to stop and pretend she didn't ask, adding that the true eye of the evil king possesses the ability to see the truth of everything in the world. He is asked to quickly tell what he needs help with, as the other person is very busy. Li Huina states that the evil king will be staying here. Han Feng responds with an "oh" and is asked what he said. Someone yells at Han Feng to go back to his house right now, stating that it's not happening. Han Feng is shocked. Han Feng groans in pain, stating that it hurts. He wonders why it doesn't work. Han Feng looks at his coffee table, a purple light emanating from his hands, causing it to soften. He wonders if the item turns soft. Han Feng wonders if it's purple light. He asks if the purple light caused the table to turn soft. Even the toolbox is affected by his power. Han Feng wonders if purple light can cause items to turn soft. Han Feng realizes he forgot that someone else was here. Li Huina stares blankly. Li Hui now wonders if Han Feng is also an emissary chosen by the true eye of the evil king. He looks back at her, confused. Han Feng thinks to himself that this girl's brain circuit is weird and that he can fool her. Li Huina suggests that as fellow emissaries, they should help each other and that his apartment ought to be shared. Li Huina enters the room. Han Feng sits on the floor, telling himself to forget it and leave her be. He wonders what's with that purple light just now. He wonders if it can turn things soft. It looks like the lights that he possesses are more than two kinds, and he just hasn't discovered the others yet. Han Feng tries to recall the feeling of that moment. The purple light appeared when he tripped over the cable and almost crashed into the coffee table. He just thought back to what happened previously, and the purple light appeared. Han Feng wonders if this purple light can also affect cables. Han Feng holds a cleaver, deciding to try it out on other things. The purple light appears on the cleaver. He wonders if it works on steel as well. The light dissipates. Han Feng says it feels like jelly. He tried it on many other materials. He observes the effects of the purple light on the objects before him. Li Huina notes that the longer he uses the purple light, the softer the objects become, adding that there are no other changes. Han Feng examines a softened object, finding the effect pretty much useless. He wonders what would happen if. He considers combining two different kinds of light. Han Feng shouts, "Bankai," as he experiments with the combined lights. He expresses surprise at the result of the combined lights. Han Feng is surprised that the knife turned back to normal. Han Feng stands at the table. Han Feng's hands tremble as he examines the objects. He reads, "I see. I can change the toughness of an item when the two different lights are combined. Moreover, the toughness is a bit extreme." Han Feng looks surprised. Meanwhile, one of the figures asks if the other is really planning to hand over the resources they stole. The other replies that only a ghost would do that, and he doesn't even have enough for himself. One of the figures says that they will have to split the resources with the women and the elderly if they hand them over, questioning why they should. The other figure says that they have to keep this matter a secret, or they are screwed if someone finds out about it. One of the figures tells the other to look behind him quickly. The other figure asks what the reason could be. The wall is wriggling. A monstrous face emerges. One of the figures makes a noise of disgust. One of the figures says it's a ghost. The monster struggles to breathe. The monster fully emerges, engulfing a figure. It is too strenuous for the monster to maintain as an entire wall. The monster explodes. A hammer is raised. Han Feng says, "Let's begin." Han Feng strikes with the hammer. Snow falls heavily on the city, obscuring the buildings in a white haze. He heaves, struggling to scrape even the surface of the wall with the hammer. It's too extreme. A sign indicates the locations of the stairs and elevator. Two men stand near a table, one holding a bag and the other looking at a phone. Below, a man lies on the ground, groaning. The man in the blue hat, towering over the prone figure, demands, "Speak. Where did you hide the food you stole?" He speaks with an ironic tone, considering he is speaking about stealing so casually. He continues, grabbing the man's jacket, "Stop acting. I clearly saw you carrying 3 big bags just now, but you only handed in 1 bag." Raising a fist, the man in the blue hat threatens, still not willing to speak. "Huh? Looks like I have to give you a beating before you will be honest." The man on the ground cries out, "Ouch, it hurts. You must have seen it wrong. I swear, I definitely handed in everything." A hand stops the impending blow. Mr. Jiang asks, Mr. Jiang, why are you here? Are you okay?" Mr. Jiang attempts to de-escalate the situation. "Let's talk things out if there's any problems." A narration box reveals, "But this fellow is secretly hiding the food that's for." Mr. Jiang asks the man in the blue hat, "No, leave this matter to me. Is that okay?" The man on the ground replies, "Oh, okay." The man in the blue hat, giving in, says, "TCH, I am giving face to Mr. Jiang and letting you go." He throws the man on the ground. Mr. Jiang reaches out a hand to the man on the ground, asking, "Are you okay?" Mr. Jiang, "I." 2 bags sit on the ground, one overflowing with food. The man in the blue hat explains to Mr. Jiang, "Sorry, Mr. Jiang, there's 5 of us at home. The distributed food really isn't enough, so I." The man on the ground offers a small box. "Here, this is my share for today." He explains that rules are rules, and everyone must hand over what they collected to receive rations according to the number of people in their household. He understands their difficulties, though. A man returns something, saying, "Bring it back quickly." He thanks Mr. Jiang. Lao Wang offers his services, saying that if there's anything they need in the future, he is at their service. He tells them to just tell him if they are facing any difficulties. Mr. Jiang tells everyone to quickly receive their resources and go back home. The crowd acknowledges him. People gather, and someone asks why Mr. Jiang gave his own rations to him. Mr. Jiang explains that he didn't do much, he just helped him understand a certain principle. Someone asks what principle. In the history of Country M, there were multiple times when a riot happened due to the clashes of benefits between social classes. The nature of these riots has been defined as a social collective behavior. As long as you are not arrested on the spot, the participants will not be convicted. A man with glowing eyes states that all he did was inform him of that. If he breaks the rules, the collective will no longer accommodate him. Then he will become nothing but a robbing criminal. Someone says, "I see." Another person says, "Let's not talk about whether he will be dealt with by the laws after the disaster is over. Even before that, he will have to face the revenge of the owners that he stole from. So that's." A crowd of people is shown. But within those groups of rioters, there's always a leader that's leading their actions. Heroes will always emerge in troubled times, but this kid isn't simple. Several figures stand behind a man in a light-colored coat. Han Feng swings a sledgehammer, shattering a window. He mutters to himself. He pauses, considering something. Han Feng wonders if the resource-stealing neighbors are back again. He treads softly. Meanwhile, Hyona calls out to Han Feng, telling him it's her. She reflects on her feelings for him. Han Feng thinks that you can only understand someone's heart during difficult times, and only someone who truly loves him will invest in him unconditionally. He tells himself to open the door and feel her heart. The same exact words as that day echo in his mind. Glowing eyes peer out from the darkness. He realizes that outside the door, other than her, that man is also here. Finally, it's here. Han Feng thinks he will just use the gun to kill this dog couple directly. Hyona stands in the snow. He stops. Han Feng thinks that there's no electricity right now. The enemy is hidden in the dark while he is out in the open. If he can't kill them in one hit, then it's possible he might be the one to get killed. If he were to use the electric shock, then he needs to trick them into touching the door handle at the same time. That's basically impossible. Moreover, Han Feng has no idea at all about the effects of the electric shock. He tells himself to calm down. The moment he has been waiting for finally came. That's even more of a reason for him to not lose his calm. He analyzes the situation, aware that the greatest threat isn't Li Huina, but someone lurking in the shadows. Han Feng knows he must instantly locate his enemy's position and deliver a fatal blow upon stepping outside. But how can he pinpoint the location while still inside the house? A sudden realization dawns on Han Feng. He remembers that the man should be hiding in the blind spot behind his door. Meanwhile, outside, Han Feng touches the wall, feeling for the blind spot. He knows it should be right around here, his fingers tracing the cold surface. Han Feng focuses, willing his power to work. Elsewhere, Hyona calls out, Han Feng. Nearby, one of the men wonders if it's worth the effort to rob the kid. The other reminds him that Han Feng still has some resources, recalling that he bought a truck full of supplies a day before the disaster. He figures that Han Feng is enough to feed them for a few days. The man peers around the corner. One of the men asks if Hyona heard some kind of noise. She replies, "What noise?" He says he seems to be hearing something from behind him. Suddenly, a figure strikes from above with a burst of purple energy. The man is sent flying. Hyona exclaims, "Hey!" She wonders what happened to him. She watches in horror as a man lies on the ground, groaning in pain. Another figure stands over him, a dark presence looming. Ugh! The man on the ground moans. "Hey, stop scaring me!" Hyona cries out, her voice trembling. The attacker holds a red object, its purpose unclear. Hyona's eyes widen in fear, her breath catching in her throat. The injured man is suddenly engulfed in a blinding light, his scream echoing through the night. Ah! The chapter concludes. The blonde-haired figure, bundled in a red jacket and knit cap, pleads, her voice strained, "Stop it." She coughs, the sound ragged and wet in the frigid air. Collapsing to the ground, she utters a weak, "Ah," as the cold seeps into her bones. Her voice barely a whisper, she begs, "Help me." Reaching out a gloved hand, she desperately tries to grasp something, anything. Her face contorts in a grimace of pain and fear. A figure with spiky black hair looms over her, casting a long shadow in the snow. As he walks away, her desperate cry echoes through the desolate landscape. "Help!" He pauses, glancing back with a cruel smirk. "Tisk, you're quick to run away." She groans in agony, clutching at her side. "Ag!" Towering over her once more, he demands, his voice laced with menace. "Who told you to get up?" He pauses, mid-kick, as Hyona coughs on the ground. Wait a sec. Hyona, still prone, spits out blood. Do you even know who my dad is? If you touch me again, I swear your family will." Han Feng scoffs. "What are you going to do about it, huh?" Han Feng kicks Hyona again, sending him sprawling. "I don't give a damn who your daddy is. I'll beat the hell out of you." A disembodied hand reaches out, fingers twitching. "B brother, hold on." Hyona, lying on the ground, pleads, "We got no beef. Man, so why are you?" Han Feng's foot connects with Hyona's face again. Hyona's voice cracks, barely a whisper. "Is my life worth nothing to ya? Why? Why'd you want to kill me?" Han Feng raises his fist, ready to deliver another blow. "Say something." Hyona groans, blood trickling from his mouth. "Ugh, gah." Han Feng stands over the prone figure of Hyona. Hyona, barely conscious, pleads, "Gee, give me a reason." Lying on the ground, Hyona hears Han Feng say, "Don't play dumb with me." Han Feng stands over her, asking if she asked for a reason when she was killing him. Han Feng continues to glare down at Hyona. Hyona coughs, struggling to breathe. Meanwhile, Han Feng clears his throat. A girl with purple hair asks if he needs a hand. Han Feng and the purple-haired girl are in a room. He thinks that she's not even scared of that gruesome scene, and that there's something off about her, deciding he better not let her stay at his place. The purple-haired girl sits on a box, while Han Feng stands nearby. He thinks that those guys could come back for revenge any minute, and if she stays here, she'll get caught in the crossfire. The purple-haired girl says, "Oh." Han Feng asks if that's a yes or a no, saying he's saying this for her own good. The purple-haired girl says no, that she's staying here. Han Feng says that it's dangerous and that they could both die. The purple-haired girl says not to worry, that the evil king true, I will protect him. The woman with the purple hair states that the evil king's power is depleted and needs to sleep. Han Feng looks at her, a question mark floating above his head. Han Feng grabs her arm, telling her to stop trying to blow him off with her wannabe edgy nonsense, and to listen because this is serious. He continues to hold her arm. He continues to hold her arm tightly. She tells him to go on. Han Feng, confused, asks, huh? Han Feng asks, well. Meanwhile, a crowd of people huddle together in a dimly lit area, waiting for something. The crowd continues to stare. A person tells Miss Liu that this is apartment 601, building 4, last name Liu, 1 resident. Miss Liu responds, here Miss Liu. Someone wonders if 601 already picked up their stuff. They think to themselves that Han Feng hasn't come back all night, and why he suddenly collapsed like that. They wonder if it was that Han Feng bastard, and if he set up a trap in advance. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, especially after Han Feng opened his door. There was a flicker of light and a warm breeze emanating from within, suggesting he possessed some kind of power source. Don't tell me he prepared for this whole snow thing beforehand? Maybe he's got a stockpile in there. Damn it, that sneaky bastard. He was prepared for this the whole time and didn't say a word. Now he's hoarding all the good stuff for himself and giving me his trash. I need to find a way to get a look inside that bastard's place. TSK. A man calls out, hey, hold on. He recognizes her. Well, if it isn't Huina. The figure in the blue jacket asks why the figure in the red jacket doesn't come over and warm up. The figure in the red jacket says that they will warm up at home and hides. The figure in the red jacket tells the figure in the blue jacket to wait. The figure in the blue jacket thinks that they have quite a bit of food with them and asks why the figure in the red jacket doesn't accompany them for a few days at their house. The figure in the red jacket clicks their tongue. The figure in the red jacket yells at the figure in the blue jacket to get lost and asks what they think they are and that no one cares about trash like them. The figure in the blue jacket asks what the figure in the red jacket is acting for and that they are already falsely claiming resources shamelessly and asks if they really think no one saw them. The figure in the red jacket tells the figure in the blue jacket that it hurts and to let them go. The figure in the blue jacket says that with their capability, they want to pretend to be part of the owner's committee and asks if they believe they will expose them right now. The figure in the red jacket thinks that they heard wrong about falsely claiming resources. The figure in the blue jacket thinks that they seem to be talking about that girl. The figure in the red jacket tells the figure in the blue jacket to let them go. A close-up of the figure in the blue jacket's face. The figure in the blue jacket hits the figure in the red jacket and calls them a slut. A close-up of the figure in the blue jacket's face. The figure in the blue jacket thinks bully girls. The figure in the red jacket falls and thinks that it's not right. Two figures talk about the commotion and that someone seems to be causing trouble. Someone wonders if they are fighting as a figure sits on the ground, groaning. A figure asks if he is feeling unwell, searching through her bag. The figure is head nurse Jean, city's second-rate hospital's chief head nurse. Head nurse Jean is told that he is good and thanked. Head nurse Jean is confronted by another figure who asks how dare she meddle in other people's business. The figure kneels next to the injured man. The figure asks if he thinks he wouldn't kill him right now, punching someone. The person being punched groans. The figure kicks someone, who groans in pain. The figure says that throughout his entire life, a man who hits women disgusts him the most. Someone says, excuse me everyone, it's Mr. Jiang. The figure points and says he did. He rears back, his fist flying towards the injured man's face. The force of the blow promises to be devastating. The punch connects, a sickening thud echoing in the alleyway. The injured man stumbles, barely able to keep his feet. Mr. Jiang apologizes, claiming it's his fault. Mr. Jiang warns that if this happens again, the injured man will be taken out. The head nurse, Li Huina, looks startled. She asks if they are really not going to consider what she has mentioned previously. Mr. Jiang states that he is not interested in gathering as a crowd to rob others, and he will never join them, even if he has to starve to death. Li Huina apologizes to Mr. Jiang, saying she is still unable to accept such a method. She offers to help if he has anyone on his side that's sick. Mr. Jiang thanks Miss Jean. A man with glasses asks Brother Jiang if he can join his group. The man with glasses admits that he has always admired Brother Jiang, but he never got the chance to tell him. Brother Jiang puts his hand on Miss Li's shoulder and asks if she is confused about something. He says that it's different now, they have plenty of time. He adds that one of them can fight, and the other can treat illnesses, so what can she do? Brother Jiang looks off into the distance. Brother Jiang asks what if he told him he knows a place that has resources. Hyona holds a blue orb in her hands. Han Feng asks if she found it, noting that there's a triangular one, a squarish one, and a webcam. Hyona and Han Feng stand next to a mannequin. Han Feng points at it, questioning how it's related to what he just described. Han Feng expresses his understanding that Hyona possesses a dimensional storage ability. Han Feng explains that Hyona can open up a black hole in front of her chest and suck in everything she's seeing. Hyona responds that her house will be filled up if he still can't find it, and that it's easy to suck in items, but her accuracy in finding things is extremely low. Han Feng kneels in front of the orb, stating that he never explored it before, but he's sure it's a vast space. Han Feng asks if he can put his head in to take a look and help Hyona search for it. Hyona agrees. Hyona places her hands on Han Feng's head as he kneels before the orb. Han Feng puts his head into the orb. Han Feng is inside the orb, surrounded by various objects. He exclaims that it's so huge. Han Feng thinks to himself that it's as expected of a superhuman that emptied the supermarkets in the East region overnight, but that it's like searching for a needle in a haystack. Han Feng, inside the orb, is sweating and looks distressed, exclaiming, "Damn it." Hyona stands outside the orb, looking concerned. He coughs, the air inside Hyona's storage space thick and unnatural. The blue light illuminates his distressed expression. Han Feng explains, his voice strained, that there's no oxygen inside, and his skin feels like it's about to swell. The moisture in his body feels like it's being sucked dry. Hyona considers the situation, a thoughtful expression on her face. "Can't enter. Han never got injured." Hyona exclaims, "Oh, that's it. You actually have it." A blue orb glows in her hand. Han Feng, his eyes wide, says, "I also found others." Han Feng is surrounded by floating objects, the scene distorted and surreal. He mutters, "Ah." The staircase descends into the unknown. The group continues their descent. One of them wonders if the 18th floor is really strange, questioning if they should continue. One of the men scoffs, remarking that it's the 21st century and they still believe in supernatural beings. Another insists that Mr. Jiang sent them to scout first because he trusts them and they cannot let him down. A voice wonders what would happen if that girl is lying to Mr. Jiang. Someone, monitoring their progress, is holding a phone displaying a video of the staircase. A voice urges them to stop talking nonsense, trust Mr. Jiang's judgment, finish quickly, and return. Han Feng, on the phone, states that they came back and luckily arranged a monitoring system in advance. He declares that he will activate Plan 2, go and light the fire, and they can begin once he is back. Hyona holds a gun, looking determined. She states that she needs to time it precisely. A timer displays 2 o'clock. The group wonders if they heard something up ahead, speculating that it could be that ghost again. Glowing orbs appear on the staircase. A vehicle speeds through an unknown location. Toy cars speed through the environment, seemingly deployed for a specific purpose. A voice wonders if they are indeed toy cars. A man with glasses observes the scene, his expression unreadable as the toy cars continue their advance. The toy cars detonate in a fiery explosion, the sound echoing through the area. Someone cries out in pain, their eyes burning from the blast. Another figure exclaims in shock, seemingly caught off guard by the sudden explosion. The aftermath of the explosion is visible, with smoke and debris filling the air. A voice instructs someone to throw something when they are closer, intending to teach them a lesson. Someone shouts a defiant "Screw you." A crowbar is shown, the sound of cracking echoing as it is wielded. A voice reports losing control of the left side, unable to stabilize the drone. The drone moves erratically through a snowy environment. Someone struggles to regain control of the drone, their voice strained. Fireworks explode in the distance, illuminating the snow-covered cityscape with bursts of vibrant color. The air is frigid, carrying the faint scent of gunpowder and the promise of danger. The drone's right propeller malfunctions, causing it to descend rapidly. The operator struggles to maintain control, his voice strained with panic. The drone manages a successful landing just outside the window of a certain floor, its delicate frame spared from total destruction. Han Feng, bundled in his winter coat, declares that he will retrieve the drone, emphasizing its importance. Miss Lu sits nearby, her expression a mix of concern and resignation. A monitor displays a zoomed-in view of someone lying prone in the snow, their condition unknown. The air crackles with static, a silent testament to the drone's compromised state. The image on the drone's camera reveals a figure lying in the snow. Miss Lu wonders if it's brotherly. Miss Lu asks if someone is lying there, while Han Feng wonders if he got robbed too. Han Feng tells Miss Lu that he will be back soon and warns her not to open the door for anyone, emphasizing that he has a key. Han Feng's expression hardens as he prepares to leave, a sense of grim determination settling over him. The air grows heavy with unspoken tension. Miss Lu, holding a walkie-talkie, questions if this is it, maintaining. A close-up shows a hand offering a walkie-talkie to another person, suggesting a coordinated effort or a transfer of responsibility. The device hums with suppressed energy. Han Feng fumbles with something hidden beneath his coat, expressing a hope that he won't need to use it. The metallic click of the device echoes in the tense silence. A figure descends the stairs, a beam of light cutting through the darkness. A voice echoes, confirming their location, the 16th floor, supposedly safe. The drone's readings reveal a chilling truth. The outside temperature is nearly 50 degrees below zero. Without protection, survival is measured in minutes. Brother Lee's condition is critical, demanding immediate action. A warning is issued. Caution is paramount for those venturing upwards. The group gathers around a table, illuminated by a flickering light, discussing their next move. "MHM, I understand. Thanks for your trouble." Jiang Shuio instructs them to distribute 3 pieces of thick clothing first. "Thank you, Mr. Jiang." A hand reaches out, offering supplies. The group affirms their commitment to fairness. Another voice chimes in, seeking to join Jiang Shuio's group. "Brother Jiang, can I join you guys now?" Jiang Shuio refuses. No. Doubts are cast on the involvement of someone's friend, and the importance of Uncle Lu's testimony is emphasized. Jiang Shuio proposes a joint expedition to the next floor. "Let's go together to take a look at that floor." Jiang Shuiyo states that whether the information is real or false, and whatever the goal is, he hopes they will succeed during this upcoming operation. Han Feng looks up, a visible cloud of condensation forming in the frigid air with each exhale. Hyona, clutching a metal pipe, states that she understands. Jiang Shuiyo urges the team to pay attention to their safety when they go up. The group begins their ascent, the stairs worn and slick with frost. Each step echoes in the cavernous stairwell, the sound muffled by the thick layers of clothing. The team continues their climb, the air growing colder with each floor. Han Feng glances upward, his eyes drawn to a blinding light emanating from above. Suddenly, Li Zi collapses, clutching his chest in agony. A searing heat radiates from the floor above, the air shimmering with distorted waves as Li Zi cries out in pain. Li Zi exclaims that it's hot, his face contorted in agony. Below, the group looks on with concern. The group stands together, concern etched on their faces. Lao Wang scolds Li Zi for his attitude, reminding him that Mr. Jiang saved him and he isn't even thanking him. He scoffs, his expression hardening. Even if he wanted to thank someone, it would be the people they stole the resources from. He tells them to stop pretending to be a hero. Li Zi stands firm, his gaze unwavering as he faces down those who would try to manipulate him. Jiang Shuiyo, standing close, says, "You bast." Jiang Shuiyo continues, "We can only get through this disaster with everyone working together." A voice from the crowd replies, "So annoying, I already said so." Someone shouts at Li Zi, telling him to stop refusing and being so shameless. Li Zi retorts, questioning what they are trying to force him to do. Jiang Shuiyo extends a hand, saying he is sincere in inviting Li Zi to join. Jiang Shuiyo continues, stating that they just want him to contribute his strength so that those who are weaker have higher hopes of surviving. Li Zi explodes, calling Jiang a bastard and accusing him of planning something. He points out that they only give those old stooges one meal every 3 days, which is the same as waiting for death. Li Zi continues, stating that he has no parents, so their methods won't work on him. A figure thinks to himself that 1 meal every 3 days means Jiang Shuiyo doesn't really care about them. Another figure reflects that it makes sense that the committee wants to rope in the young ones, which is why they are taking in those old, weak, sick, and disabled people. They also think that if this goes on, the administration of the committee will eventually erupt in conflicts. He is cornered. Jiang Shuiyo stands before Li Zi, his expression hardening as he demands, "In short, are you joining or not? If you are not, then scram. Stop blocking our way." Jiang Shuiyo's face contorts in anger as he shouts. Li Zi stands his ground, declaring, "I refuse to move, so what are you going to do about it?" Li Zi grunts, bracing himself. Jiang Shuiyo scoffs, his eyes narrowed. The crowd behind Jiang Shuiyo stares intently at Li Zi. The group closes in, their intentions clear. Li Zi, despite the overwhelming odds, declares, "I am not afraid of you guys." Elsewhere, Han Feng observes the scene from above, his expression troubled. "This is bad. Brother Li's state feels like he will fall at any moment. I need to go help him." Han Feng hesitates, looking down the stairs. He clenches his fist, conflicted. "No, they have too many people. Even if I go, there's nothing I can do. But Brotherly helped me out so many times previously, I can't just watch him throw away his life." His hands tremble with indecision. He held the metal bar tightly, his knuckles white. Above him, a gun was leveled, the intent clear. A man in a blue jacket, surrounded by others, taunted, "Come on, let's get it going if you want to fight." The man's face contorted in a sneer, his eyes narrowed with disdain. A gunshot rings out, the sound echoing through the enclosed space. A baseball bat lies discarded on the floor. A group of masked figures huddle together, their expressions unreadable. Panic flares among the crowd. "Hey, what's that sound just now?" one of them shouts. "Gun, it's a gun," another exclaims. "Stop joking around. How is that?" A figure holds a glowing orb in their hand, the light illuminating their face. The crowd remains tense, their eyes darting around nervously. A woman wonders aloud, "Han Feng? Why did he leave his house? How does he have a gun?" Han Feng levels the gun, his expression grim. "Bro, this is my house key. Take it, we will slowly retreat," one of the men says. "Oh, okay." The group begins to retreat, their faces etched with fear. Mr. Jiang, what do we do now?" one of them whispers. Another suggests, "Why don't we use this chance while he isn't paying attention?" Han Feng shouts, "I said don't move. Throw away your weapons," and the group kneels on the ground, their weapons scattered around them. 2 figures descend the concrete stairs into the dimly lit space. One of them declares that Brotherly should go, and that he will shoot whoever moves. The stairs are slick with moisture, the air heavy with the smell of mildew and decay. The group watches from below as the 2 figures descend further into the depths. One of the men asks who that guy is. The blonde woman gasps, recognizing him. He's Han Feng. Another man states that the place they are going to is his. One of the men grabs the blonde woman's arm, exclaiming why she didn't tell them earlier that he has a gun. She replies that it's also her first time seeing it. Mr. Jiang tells the man to forget it, stating that he believes Miss Li won't lie to them. One of the men states that they should consider the reason for his actions. One of the men asks if he even has such a weapon. Wouldn't he have any supplies? Another man agrees, stating that maybe the one that has been raising prices is him. Mr. Jiang thinks to himself that in this case, the The person that Uncle Lu saw is probably him. One of the men asks Mr. Jiang if they should still proceed with the original plan. Another man asks what if he fires the gun at them. Mr. Jiang thinks to himself that no, if he is capable of murder, he would have done it just now. He doesn't believe that they can hide in their house forever and not come out. The group decides on a change of plans. They will return and prepare some safety measures before coming back. They vow to take down 1804 as soon as possible, the frozen building looming in the background. Jiang Shuiyo apologizes, his hands trembling as he holds a weapon. Han Feng urges him to get inside quickly, assuring him that they don't seem to be chased. A gloved hand inserts a key into a lock. Jiang Shuiyo feels the warmth, a welcome change from the freezing cold. Han Feng urges Jiang Shuiyo to get in quickly. A radiator glows with heat. Jiang Shuiyo notices a generator and a room full of supplies. Jiang Shuiyo's brother asks what exactly is going on with his house. Hyona asks where the drone is. Han Feng realizes he forgot something. Jiang Shuiyo asks what drone. 2 hours later, someone is eating. Jiang Shuiyo comments that predicting this disaster and doing this much preparation looks like studying hard is indeed useful. He says, sorry brotherly, previously I was worried about the information about my supplies being leaked, so I didn't tell you the truth. Lao Wang replies, thank you, Lil Bro. If not for you, I am afraid I would have starved to death. For you to treat me in such a way is already extremely benevolent of you. Brother Zhang looks surprised. Han Feng says, bro, don't say that. You have also helped me a lot. Continue eating. I have plenty of food here. Lao Wang exclaims, whoa, Lil Bro, you are such a good guy. Lao Wang continues, that's right, Lil Bro. The situation in our complex is very different now. The group continues to eat. A voice narrates, since that day, the guy with the surname Jiang has been going around stealing supplies in the name of collectivism. There are those who follow him, and of course there are others like me that disapprove of his actions. The voice continues, after some people left the group, the guy with the surname Jiang seemed to not be too concerned about it. The voice narrates, but behind everyone's back, he sent Jin Qinwu to take care of them, saying it was to reduce the threat against them. Brother Jiang asks, do you remember the information I sent you before the power supply was cut off? He continues, that's right. They studied so much that their intelligence has gone back to their mother's womb. No wonder the committee developed so quickly, such underhanded tricks. This fellow isn't easy to deal with. Brother Jiang says, but as the saying goes, evil has its retribution. Guess who they tried to rob? Li Jinghao roars, his fist blurring forward with lethal intent. The boxer, once the middleweight champion, connects with a devastating blow. Lao Wang asks if the committee members didn't get beaten up badly. The man with black hair sits across from him. Another woman with lavender hair sits to the side. The man with blonde hair exclaims that Jiang refused to admit defeat and lose face. Under his encouragement, those people kept going to Li Jinghao to fight it out. In the end, all of them got pummeled by Li Jinghao. Followers, among them, there's 2 people who are quite famous. Called Zheng Yangyu. He used to be a fan of Li Jinghao. He participated in underground boxing for a few years and became famous for his speed. The other is called Jin Zhongzai, a diehard fan of Li Jinghao. It's said that he's blessed with godly strength. His body is robust like a monster. Because of that incident, Li Jinghao also gathered a group of people. With the prestige of the 2 of them and Li Jinghao, they have already become another faction within their neighborhood. And this group of people really hate the hypocritical Jiang Shuiyo. That bastard Jiang Shuiyo was thinking of ways to resolve this conflict, and finally decided to rob your supplies. If that's the case, then roping you in is also just a temporary scheme of his. Before I fainted, I was planning to come up to inform you that they are coming to rob you. No wonder Jiang Shuiyo wants to rope in brotherly. Looks like his faction isn't doing that well. Clack. What's that? I will electrify the door. He wrinkles his nose. A faint, acrid scent fills the air. I can smell sulfur. The electrical trap springs to life, bathing 2 figures in crackling arcs of blue energy. Their screams echo through the hallway. Han Feng recoils, shielding his eyes from a sudden flash. To actually dare to use bombs on me. Hyona looks up at Han Feng. Lao Wang chimes in. They should be using localized demolition explosives. It's not that powerful. A bunch of beasts. The security camera shows a group of people outside the door. The camera focuses on Jiang Shuiyo. So you are the one that brought Jiang Shuiyo here. Han Feng shouts. Bro, get further away from the door. A deafening explosion rips through the air, shaking the entire building. A figure lies convulsing on the floor, electricity arcing across their body. Happened. The door has. Jiang Shuiyo speaks to another man. Place the explosives on the border of the door connecting to the wall. Try using 2 packets this time. All right. Another explosion tears through the door. The door is completely destroyed, leaving a gaping hole in the wall. Jiang Shuiyo thinks to himself, there's definitely no problems with the explosives. Looks like this kid already prepared. Jiang Shuiyo states, defensive measures in advance. Use 3 packets of explosives together this time. I will point out the spot to bomb. If nothing happens, then we will continue to increase the quantity used. Jiang Shuiyo says, take down his house today. Lao Wang and another figure struggle to move furniture, grunting with effort. The furniture is pushed against the wall, accompanied by shouts of exertion. Lao Wang asks, don't you feel like the explosion is getting louder and louder? The other figure responds, can't hear you clearly. What's that sound? The wall cracks under the pressure. The wall is cracking. Lao Wang exclaims. Let's get more things to block the way. If this goes on, the cracks will get bigger and bigger. The other figure says, it's useless to block it, move all the things away quickly. I have an idea. Lao Wang shouts. What a joke. A little doll like you should quickly go back and hide in the bedroom. A girl raises her hands, a blue glow emanating from her palms. She stares in disbelief. Han Feng exclaims, what the hell? What's that? The perspective shifts to a view looking up at the ceiling, which is beginning to collapse. From above, the group is seen reacting to the crumbling ceiling. Han Feng looks on in shock. Jiang Shuiyo, glowing with purple energy, declares, it's done. Jiang Shuiyo focuses his power, thinking to himself, let's soften the walls like last time first to see if I can reshape it. But I have to control the affected area, or else the hardening process will take a long time. Jiang Shuiyo, bathed in green and purple light, shouts, right about now. Jiang Shuiyo stares at a door, thinking, it works. The purple light combined with the green light, other than strengthening it. Jiang Shuiyo shouts, get down. The group runs away from the collapsing ceiling. Jiang Shuiyo reacts in shock, thinking, I just strengthened it. Why is it cracking again? A bomb sits on the floor. Han Feng, Jiang Shuiyo, and the girl stand together. Jiang Shuiyo says, if that's really the case, then it will be useless no matter how we repair it. I have a dangerous idea. Are you guys willing to trust me once? The girl responds, MHM. Han Feng says, whatever it is, you just gotta say it. He faced the others, his back to the viewer. Han Feng instructed, good, then proceed according to what I say. The door splinters under a tremendous force, wood and metal flying inward. Inside, a voice urges caution, emphasizing the need to gather any available supplies. Another voice warns the group to be careful, suspecting an ambush might be set up. Mr. Jiang is informed that only rubbish and a box of seeds were found in the kitchen. Li Huina is confronted, accused of lying about the location of the supplies. She denies it, suggesting they might be hidden in the bedroom. A voice calls out, warning everyone to be careful. Another responds, expressing a fear of being shot. A sudden attack. Someone cries out in pain, followed by a curse. The assault continues, as Han Feng stands nearby, gun drawn. Han Feng's expression hardens, his grip tightening on the weapon. Fear is etched on the faces peering out from behind a barricade. The group remains on guard, weapons raised, ready for whatever comes next. He is confronted by a man who declares that everyone should get out, or he won't be polite. From outside, a man questions if they were ever polite before this. The crowd declares that they are here to demand justice, accusing them of hiding supplies and neglecting the collective, causing residents to suffer and starve. Another man, holding a gun, states that only working together will allow them to triumph over this apocalypse. A man thinks that the speaker's words are righteous and awe-inspiring, but questions if it isn't just moral kidnapping. The crowd is described as a group of starving wolves looking to vent. Han Feng shouts back, asking who says that he has supplies. A woman accuses Li Huina, stating that the last time she was there was even heat and light from her house. She adds that if they don't tell the truth, then they can wait to die. Li Huina is accused of being shameless enough to say such things. Han Feng is seen holding a weapon. The woman asks if they were toying with them. A man in the crowd says not to start an internal strife, stating he has a simple method. Another man asks Han Feng if he wouldn't say no to that. Jiang Shuiyo reports that there's only some rubbish and a little girl in the room. Jean calls Han Feng brother and says she is afraid and hungry. Han Feng tells her not to be afraid, promising to find food for her. Voices rise in anger. One man complains about working hard for half a day just for this. Another demands to know where the supplies are, accusing someone of playing tricks. A man with glasses demands an explanation from Hyona. The crowd insists that Hyona explain herself clearly, or else they will kill her. Hyona insists that she did not lie and personally witnessed what happened. She wonders why this is happening and where it went wrong. Hyona declares that she is in this state because of him. Hyona shines a flashlight, claiming it's because of this damned. Jiang Shuiyo looks up, startled. Jiang Shuiyo demands to know where exactly she hid the supplies, warning her that she pulled some kind of trick. Another voice warns him to be careful. Jiang Shuiyo asks Hyona if she's telling the truth, stating that all his supplies were already scammed of him long ago. Hyona points a gun, shouting. Hyona screams that she will kill him. Someone shouts for her not to move, calling her a slut. Hyona cries out, insisting that she is not lying and demanding to be let go. She walks alongside Han Feng, the tension palpable in the air as they enter the room. Han Feng, reacting to the hostile atmosphere, raises his weapon defensively. Jiang Shuiyo steps forward, mirroring Han Feng's action by drawing his own weapon, a silent challenge hanging between them. The crowd's anger erupts, one voice rising above the others, accusing Hyona of betrayal. You shrew, you actually lied to us. The situation escalates as a gun is leveled in Hyona's direction, the metallic glint reflecting the cold intent. Jiang Shuiyo intervenes, his voice booming with authority. Enough. The committee isn't a violent group. This place isn't an execution ground either. A voice from the crowd suggests. We should at least give her a chance to turn over a new leaf. Jiang Shuiyo then turns to Han Feng, offering a sincere apology for the day's events. Jiang Shuiyo addresses the group, stating, We are all victims. I will give you a proper explanation soon. Jiang Shuiyo extends an invitation to Han Feng. I sincerely invite you to join the committee. As Han Feng and Hyona walk away, Jiang Shuiyo's words echo in his mind. When you come to collect supplies tomorrow, tell me what you think. Jiang Shuiyo asks if Han Feng is all right. Han Feng replies that he is finally. Han Feng thinks to himself that the performance is finally over. Jiang Shuiyo remarks that he didn't expect his little sister to have her own house above him. Han Feng replies that it's big, spacious, and much more comfortable than his house. Han Feng thinks to himself that they can put on such a performance. Han Feng tells Hyona to first store the things that are in the house. He reminds her to leave behind some rubbish and wrappers, and not to store everything. Han Feng tells Jiang Shuiyo to open the windows, as they need to quickly lower the temperature inside the house. Jiang Shuiyo asks what exactly he is trying to do. Han Feng thinks to himself that they need to make it seem like they have run out of supplies for a long time. He thinks that they should let them use all their energy to tear down the door, and then get nothing in the end. Han Feng thinks to himself that in that situation, everyone will start to aim their fingers at the weak. Han Feng states that he has a gun, so Li Huina will definitely become the person who bears the blame. Jiang Shuiyo replies that there's so many of them. It's not exactly safe even if you have a gun, and that his gun was taken from him. He adds that that's basically the worst-case scenario. Jiang Shuiyo thinks to himself that after getting the gun, Jiang Shuiyo will probably peacefully resolve the situation in order to maintain his image. Han Feng states that there was only one more bullet inside the gun, and he already shot it beforehand. Jiang Shuiyo asks if he let his gun be taken on purpose. Calling him awesome lil bro, Han Feng replies that it can barely be considered a part. He sits at the table with the others, listening intently. The man with gray hair states that their main mission from now on is to pretend to be suffering, but secretly enjoy their lives. A group of people walk down a dimly lit hallway. Their goal, to bring down the committee. Meanwhile, a sign points the way to various locations within the building. A group of people thank Jiang Shuiyo, referring to him as Uncle Jiang, for excusing them from outside duties. An aerial view shows a group of people gathered around a table, seemingly planning something. A figure stands near a table with boxes, possibly checking supplies. Two figures carry a box, one reminding the other to check the door where they keep their supplies. The other assures him that he checked it every time before stepping out. Two figures are crouched down, seemingly hiding or waiting. A diagram shows the layout of the building, indicating which floors have been cleared out and which are still occupied. Two figures, one holding a metal rod, prepare to enter a room. One of them says to use the rod and try not to use the gun. The two figures find the area empty. One of them wonders if everyone went for lunch. The two figures continue to explore the seemingly abandoned area, one telling the other to be quiet. He stands with Jiang Shuiyo before a door marked 7F. Bro, are you sure they keep their supplies on these two floors? Han Feng and Jiang Shuiyo venture deeper into the warehouse, flashlights cutting through the gloom. It's fine that there's no guards, but isn't it a bit much to not even see a single person? Jiang Shuiyo asks. Han Feng sighs in relief. Phew, I thought we would be fighting our way up here. But this is good as well. We are just here to scout this time. He pauses, considering their situation. There's too many people in the committee. We won't be able to win with just the three of us. If we want to bring them down, we need to start from the inside. A memory surfaces. Han Feng and Li Huina sit at a table. How, she asks. From what I can see, the committee is an organization that's held together by supplies. As long as we can find the warehouse where they are keeping the supplies, then all that's left is for the evil king to go and empty it out. The committee will be done for immediately. Han Feng continues to explore. That's what I said, but who the hell knows which room they kept their supplies in? We also need to be on guard for anyone that might come up. Han Feng stops abruptly, his eyes widening. Did he find it? They arrive at a door labeled warehouse. Jiang Shuiyo speaks. Is it? But it says that it's the warehouse. Jiang Shuiyo eyes the key in the lock. Maybe they just forgot about it. We will know once we open the door and take a look. Even the key is left on the keyhole, so considerately. Han Feng examines the door more closely. There are thin wires wrapped around the key and door handle. What a typical trap. We need to be careful. They even managed to get bombs. Who knows what's behind this door? That's right. Another memory surfaces. I remember those two guys saying to check the door. Could they be talking about the trap? That makes sense, lil bro. Jiang Shuiyo gestures upwards. Anything arbitrarily. We just need to know the location. Let's go up and take a look at the other floors. Han Feng nods in agreement. Okay, as long as we have the location of the warehouse, we can take our time to discuss how to open it. Right. He pushed open another door, revealing a dimly lit corridor. Jiang Shuiyo followed close behind, his flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. A masked figure brought up the rear. Suddenly, a voice shouted, "Stop!" Jiang Shuiyo was immediately ambushed, a flurry of blows descending upon him. Han Feng's eyes narrowed, his expression hardening as he assessed the situation. The ambushers, wielding crude weapons, relentlessly attacked Jiang Shuiyo. "Damn you," one of them snarled. Jiang Shuiyo cried out in pain as the blows landed, struggling to defend himself against the onslaught. A brutal kick sent Jiang Shuiyo sprawling. "Lil bro, run," a voice urged. Han Feng and Jiang Shuiyo stood near a door, catching their breath. "Didn't you say there wouldn't be anyone here when they are distributing supplies?" Han Feng questioned. Jiang Shuiyo replied, "I don't know. I wasn't able to enter this floor previously." A sudden noise made them both tense. "Crap, Someone's coming, Jiang Shuyo exclaimed. Descending the stairs, Han Feng muttered. There should be less people. Jiang Shuyo responded. All right. The sign indicated they were on the 8th floor. Jiang Shuyo clutched his arm in pain. Lil bro, your arm. Han Feng observed. Jiang Shuyo grimaced. TSSSD, it's probably fractured. Han Feng turned to Jiang Shuyo, his expression serious. We need to find a place to hide first. A voice calls out, warning, behind you. He grunts as he's struck. Someone kicks the door open, shouting, Lil bro. A figure plummets downwards. Someone asks if their little brother is all right, telling him to hold on and that they will come save him. One of the men claims they came to collect supplies. The man wonders if he looks like he just fell off the turnip truck, noting that they deliberately avoided the 5th and 6th floors, so they must know a thing or two about the committee. Sweat beads on a man's face. A figure asks if they are being tailed, wondering if they really think there are no guards here. Someone wonders if this man took out all of those guys by himself. Someone orders to get him. A man asks where the other one is, ordering to search every house. The man clicks his tongue. Someone says this is the 8th floor, asking what they are trying to do, noting that technically, it's only 4 stories. He notes that the piled-up snow has already reached between the 3rd and 4th floors. With all that snow to cushion the landing, this height is no big deal. An older man with white hair and a beard states that the person can either jump down or be beaten to death, and that the choice is theirs. Han Feng looks down, wondering if they will really not fall to their death. A loud crash echoes through the building. Someone shouts that he is there and to catch him. Han Feng plummets through the air, a pink aura surrounding him. He crashes into the snow below. The older man looks down, a question mark floating above his head. 2 figures observe that he is still alive, and that there is one more person too. Han Feng looks up. He exclaims, damn. The building looms above, covered in snow and ice. 3 figures burst through a doorway, their breath clouding in the frigid air. The pursuers find the room empty. There's no one here, one shouts. They must have escaped downwards. Chase them. Go downstairs and report this to Mr. Jiang. Meanwhile, the group huddles around a small fire, seeking warmth in the desolate room. Han Feng's expression hardens. Man is pretty smart. He mutters. The older man fights off an attacker. If it wasn't for him, I would have been caught for sure, he thinks. Those goons chasing us will think we ran down to the lower levels. There's probably a trap waiting for us down there. Han Feng catches his breath. I got it. I got it. I can't breathe. The older man says, what he said was illogical. I didn't really believe him, but it's now proven that his strategy was the right one. He then asks, what? Scared? The bald man sits silently by the fire. The older man says, it's just a dead man. The older man asks, help me. Han Feng replies, help you? I'd like to off you myself right now. The older man continues, but you guys didn't fall for that lame trap on the 7th floor, which tells me you lot at least have some brains. Spill the beans on what you know about the committee. What you say? The older man smiles. I get a meat shield to go with that. The older man explains, since he took down all those guards, he must either be here to steal supplies, or he have some kind of enmity with the committee, and our appearance has disrupted his plan. Han Feng looks surprised. Something against them? He asks. The older man, Jiang Shuyo, responds, MHM. You could say that. If it weren't for the secret that Jiang Shuyo is hiding. He demands to know what secret is being kept. Below, Jiang Shuyo smirks. Jiang Shuyo asks if Han Feng will spit out what he knows about the committee. Jiang Shuyo says that he will become the end corpse here. Han Feng is told to make his choice. Then, Jiang Shuyo brought explosives to my house and stole my girl and my supplies. I even pulled out all the stops, just for the sake of revenge. But a pistol's not going to cut it, so I'll have to trade it for my life. I mixed in a little truth with a few lies, throw in the pistol, and that should make it more believable, right? Looks like he believed what I said. But why didn't he take the pistol away? I'm guessing it's one of 2 things. His position as a leader. Second, he has weapons that are more powerful. So you brought your brother with you this time to get rid of Jiang Shuyo? MHM, without him, the committee will probably not go too far. The original intention of the committee was actually good. They really helped with the survival of some people, at least. But Jiang Shuyo's philosophy has gotten everyone thinking that doing bad is the only way to live comfortably. Even if the apocalypse is over, the people who've lost their conscience won't ever fit back into society. We must take down the committee. Heh, and so what if we do? The strong have always preyed on the weak in this world. I may hate Jiang Shuyo, but your idea is even more ridiculous. This neighborhood will eventually end up with plunder and slaughter. Have you ever thought about what will happen to this neighborhood if we ignore this? Opinion? The man's hands are wrapped in bandages, his expression grim. He stares intently, his gaze unwavering. The man's face is etched with concern as he looks down. He continues to observe, his expression unreadable. The man looks up, questioning. Are you Nurse Jean? He asks. The man exclaims, Han. Jean apologizes. Sorry, I didn't mean to eavesdrop. Jean continues. I received Grandpa Lee's supplies, so I came for a re-examination. I came in and discovered that Grandpa died. Then I heard someone opening the door. I got frightened, so I subconsciously went to hide in the bedroom. The man accuses, you must have been involved in his death, little nurse. He scoffs. What's selfless dedication? It's nothing but a joke. Jean responds, you are right, but I don't regret it. Jean declares, "You can say I am cruel or heartless, say whatever you want, but only by surviving can I save more people." Jean continues, He gave me a pass for it. He gave me a lot of supplies, so there's no reason for me to reject him." Lao Wang explains that Jiang Shuiyo has been chasing out sick old people, including Grandpa Li. He adds, "It was already too late when I found him." Lao Wang's expression hardens. "That's not right. To last longer with one less mouth to feed, I will probably do the same thing if I was him." Lao Wang continues, mentioning that Brother Li said a new faction has appeared in the neighborhood. He suspects Jiang Shuiyo is eager to eliminate them, as they are at odds with the committee. Lao Wang elaborates that Jiang Shuiyo chose to abandon the old and sick, hoarding supplies for the young and healthy. He even used explosives to get more supplies. Han Feng stands, his expression hardening. "If that's really the case, I need to find his batch of weapons. So what if that was the case?" Lao Wang looks at Han Feng skeptically. "What can you do even if?" Han Feng retorts, "I'm not going to sit around and die with everyone else in this neighborhood. If I find the armory, I'll figure something out." Lao Wang sighs. "Go ahead and jump into your own grave if you want. There's a good chance." Lao Wang thinks to himself, in this world where the strong prey on the weak, the one that survives till the end is the winner. Hyona, looking concerned, asks, Mr. Han, is there anything I can do to help?" Han Feng replies, "There's no need. I don't want to drag you down with me." Hyona's face flushes with anger. "Don't say that. If you're right, this whole neighborhood is in danger. And those guys took your stuff and your girl. I got furious just listening to it." Jin's eyes widen, a silent question hanging in the air. Han Feng stares blankly, his expression unreadable. Elsewhere, a group wonders if the other guy was really Han Feng. One of the men insists they just met him yesterday, so he wouldn't forget. Han Feng is seen with his arm in a sling. The hallway stretches into the distance, silent and foreboding. He coughs, his body still weak from the ordeal. A voice snarls, "I'm going to cripple your other arm too. Let's see if you dare steal from us again." One of the men says, "Bro, something happened. Mr. Jiang is asking us to gather." The man groans, tied up and helpless. He sighs, feeling the energy flow back into his body. "Finally made my way in." He thinks, "I will go look for the armory once I heal my injuries. I can't drag this on any longer." A strange, glowing snake slithers through the room. He thinks, "Also healed. But healing myself uses too much energy. I almost fainted. I really need to figure out how to heal specific parts of my body. I can't afford to drain myself like this." One of the men says, They said we should consult with Mr. Jiang before deciding what to do with him." Another asks, "Do we just leave him here?" He lies still, recovering his strength. He coughs, still dazed. Brother Li is there, watching him. Brother Li? Brother Li's handprint is visible on Han Feng's cheek. Cough, cough. "Thanks, little bro. Your slap is indeed effective." Han Feng replies, "All right. But next time, could you slap the side that isn't swollen? I can't feel anything on the left side of my face now." Li Jinghao says, "So what?" Han Feng recalls his descent, thinking that they would eventually come to the power distribution room. "I grabbed onto the wires and climbed downwards." He continues his recollection. However, there wasn't a single person there. There were a lot of boxes lying around. All of them were sealed tightly. Han Feng remembers opening the boxes. I opened up a few of them that were near me, and they were filled with sausages. Every single one of them was as thick as my arm. He continues, "I was just about to take one out to take a closer look when I heard something from behind me." Han Feng exclaims, "And the next thing I remember is you slapping me awake." Li Jinghao says, "But I finally understand why the committee is so arrogant. They actually have heaps of sausages, and every single one is this long. Are they really sausages?" Han Feng asks, "If they really have so much food, why did they use explosives to try to steal my supplies? Did the packaging state that they were sausages?" Li Jinghao replies, "No, there was nothing written on it. It's just that the shape was exactly like a sausage. Now that I think about it, I have indeed never seen a sausage that big. Something doesn't feel right. Do you think that could be Jiang Shuiyo's secret warehouse? Then what do you think those things are?" He sits, listening as the other man questions why Mr. Jiang is suddenly rushing them to dispose of Li Zi when he was trying to rope him in before. Li Jinghao and Han Feng are shocked as they realize they're going to be killed. A hand reaches out and opens a door. Two figures stand over a tied-up person in a room. One asks if the other is sure they tied him up properly, and the other responds affirmatively. Two figures with glowing red eyes peer from behind a doorway, as a voice commands to check under the bed. A figure rushes forward with glowing red eyes. Jiang Shuiyo has decided to kill them, and they need to go do as told and find out what those things are. If they're important supplies, what do they do with tens of boxes? One reassures the other to pick him up. One of the figures says that he already made arrangements, and they should converge with Evil King first. Another figure asks if the big sister is supposed to pick. One of the figures asks if something is wrong. The other figure says that she snatched his gun before and tried to kill him, asking if she is really alright. Han Feng realizes that the one that went is Li Huina. One of the figures yells, asking if the other can hear him. The other figure's earpiece buzzes. One of the figures says that they should go pick up Evil King first. The other figure responds affirmatively. He peers into the darkness, muttering that there's no one there. A voice calls out to wait as they descend further into the depths. The group descends into the noisy depths. A voice wonders what's going on. The group is told that the injured, elderly, and women can keep to the left and proceed up the stairs, while the rest will bring their weapons and gather in the basement. They need to stop them from coming in here. One of the men wonders if Li Jinghao is fighting his way over. The other man responds that he's not sure, but this situation is beneficial for them no matter what. The group is instructed to wear their masks properly and try their best to blend into the crowd. The crowd presses forward, a sea of faces and muffled sounds. A sudden, guttural yell pierces the air. Someone is thrown violently through the air, a blur of limbs against the dim light. A hand grips a railing tightly, knuckles white with strain. The crowd surges around them. The man with black hair exclaims in alarm, calling out to his lil bro. A woman's face is illuminated by a dim light, her expression troubled. She wonders if there's anything inside, and if that fellow Han Feng really moved here. Li Huina's name is spoken aloud. She looks at Jiang Shuiyo, who says he came here to search for food. Hyona repeats his words, questioning if he is searching for food. A group of people are shown, and one of them wonders why there are so many people. One of the men asks what she is doing here. Someone wonders if Han Feng is sick and if they know each other. One of the men asks what they are trying to do, reminding them that Jiang Shuiyo told them not to disturb his work. Nurse Jean apologizes, but the men hold her firmly. She demands to be released. With a sharp cry, Nurse Jean kicks out at one of her captors. One of the men says he doesn't care what they are doing, but they shouldn't disturb his work. Someone calls her a monster. Someone warns that she is very strong and everyone should be careful. A loud crack echoes as something breaks. Someone asks what's happening. The men yell as Nurse Jean continues her struggle. A figure with glowing blue eyes and a mask prepares to cast a spell. She felt her clothes being sucked in by an unseen force, the sensation both terrifying and disorienting. The man screamed in frustration, "Damn you, ghost," as he was pulled further into the unknown. A hooded figure, face obscured, delivered a brutal punch to someone already on the ground, the sound echoing in the confined space. Chaos reigned as figures were tossed about like ragdolls, struggling against the unseen force that gripped them. Han Feng, sprinting away, complained, "I just punched him once. Is there really a need to keep chasing after us?" His companion responded, "Lil bro, your punch." The man's face contorted in rage, a vein throbbing in his forehead. "Bastard! I am going to kill you rascals," he roared. Han Feng glanced at his reinforced gloves, thinking, to think reinforced gloves would actually be so powerful in a desperate situation. Feng and Li Zi escaped the immediate danger, but Li Zi cursed, "Damn it." Han Feng's expression hardened. "We will be finished if we get caught again. I need to think of something." Han Feng instructed Li Jinghao, "Brotherly, you go pick up Evil King. I will distract them. Let's meet again at the arranged location later." Li Jinghao replied, "Huh? How are you going to pull it off alone?" Han Feng confidently stated, "Don't worry. I know what I am doing." A figure was struck, the impact sending a jolt of pain through their body. "Damn you. Stop," they cried out. A commanding voice boomed, "God damn it. Listen to me carefully." A man, illuminated by a flashlight, confesses, "I was one of those people that raised the prices of supplies earlier. All of you can freaking starve to death." A hush falls over the crowd as the man's words hang in the air. The crowd erupts in anger. "Damn you. He's so damn arrogant. Chop him to pieces. Don't block me. I will be the one to kill him first." The man is surrounded. The entrance of the basement car park might be closed off by the metal gate, but if the pressure that the metal gate is bearing from the accumulated snow gets released. The man coughs as the crowd surges forward, their anger palpable. The man is knocked to the ground. "He can't escape now. Catch him. I am going to slice him bit by bit." The man, cornered, spits out, "Damned bastard." Suddenly, a member of the crowd shouts, "Hey, what's that? The gate is shining. What the hell is that?" The crowd stares in disbelief. "It's gone." The man on the ground yells, "Come at me again, you bastards." The exit gate glows with an intense, otherworldly light. The gate explodes, unleashing a torrent of snow and debris upon the crowd. Panic sets in as the man shouts a warning, urging everyone to get inside. Outside, a monstrous avalanche descends, swallowing everything in its path. A desperate hand reaches out from beneath the crushing snow. Coughing violently, Han Feng struggles to his feet, the frigid air burning his lungs. The man with white hair sits, waiting for Han Feng's death. Han Feng wonders why he feels like this fellow has been watching him all this time. The white-haired man calls out to Han Feng, telling him to come over there. A sign reads, "A certain corner at -1F." Li Jinghao asks who Han Feng is and why he is helping him. Li Jinghao looks serious. Han Feng asks what Li Jinghao is doing. Li Jinghao says he changed his mind about cooperation, despite previously rejecting Han Feng. He narrows his eyes, suspicion lacing his tone. "Changing your mind all of a sudden? Are you trying to scam me?" Li Jinghao meets Han Feng's gaze, his expression firm. "Need, be straightforward, yes or no. It's just two parties getting what they both want." Han Feng relents, but his distrust lingers. "Fine. Although, I don't trust you. But since our goal is the same, me out, then the success rate of taking down Jiang Shuiyo will go up." A gloved hand clasps another, sealing their uneasy alliance. "You." On level -2F of the parking garage, Mr. Jiang confirms that all the vehicles are ready and that they can call the others. He instructs the Jean brothers to inform the families that it's time. At the place, one man asks if they shouldn't just ask them. The other man says plus, those two are gone. Someone says that it doesn't matter, it won't mess with their plan. Relocating where? It's all a frozen wasteland out there, one man asks. The other man says that these people must have come from outside, and that he overheard Jiang Shuyo talking about relocating residents. Why? Hey, what's the rush? Someone yells as they are knocked to the ground. Another man says that he'll leave Jiang Shuyo to him. Someone orders everyone to get ready to head upstairs and pick up the others. What's going on? Gunshots. We've got intruders. Stay alert. Don't get separated. Arg. Over there. Open fire. Ga. Hey, don't go too far. Protect Mr. Jiang. He is held at gunpoint, the cold steel pressed against his temple. Han Feng asks how else he would get his gun back. Han Feng presses the gun closer, declaring it's for Jiang Shuyo. Mr. Jiang replies with a calm, of course. He assures Han Feng that he is fine. Han Feng is told to take a closer look at the bottom of his pistol. He notices a taping device and wonders how it got there. Han Feng states that he knew exactly what Jiang Shuyo was up to. Jiang Shuyo asks what Han Feng can do about it now. He says that if he wanted to deal with him, he would have done it already. Jiang Shuyo calls Han Feng a smart guy and offers him to join them. As long as they keep sending people to them, they can survive. Jiang Shuyo asks if Han Feng is a pawn, but Han Feng refuses the deal, calling it a shame. Han Feng is shocked to see special forces arriving. Han Feng jumps from a high place to escape. An older man with white hair is surprised by the turn of events. Jiang Shuyo orders everyone to move out of here, telling them to chill. 3 special ops soldiers advance, their weapons raised. Jiang Shuyo declares that he will distract them, urging someone to find an opening. He follows through, kicking one of the soldiers squarely in the face. Bullets whiz past as Jiang Shuyo leaps into the air, dodging the incoming fire. Continuing his acrobatic evasion, Jiang Shuyo avoids another volley of gunfire. Closing the distance, Jiang Shuyo disarms one of the soldiers with a swift strike. A bystander exclaims that this dude is definitely not normal. Someone shouts that there's no time, and they'll just drive straight up there to grab the people. Han Feng, crouching low, declares, not so fast, as he begins to channel his power. The vehicle's tire begins to sink into the ground, surrounded by a strange, purple light. Someone asks what's wrong. The right side of the vehicle appears to be sinking into the ground. Someone wonders if the ground is collapsing. Han Feng, still channeling his power, thinks that using purple light too much shrinks the area, preventing both sides of the wheels from sinking. He is still inside the sinking truck, a pink orb glowing beside him. Jiang Shuyo is also present. A hooded figure grins menacingly. Sparks fly from the truck. The truck explodes in a burst of fire and debris. Smoke billows from the wreckage. Meanwhile, a man is being licked by a giant tongue. That tickles. It feels so nice. A goat peers at him. A sheep. The man continues to be licked. Cool and refreshing. Feels great. Keep going, don't stop. The man is surrounded by goats licking him. This is amazing. The man looks surprised. A goat with a long tongue is shown. The man is being licked by a giant tongue. Whoa. The man is being enveloped by the giant tongue. The man lies on the ground, seemingly unconscious. He is surrounded by a green aura, his eyes glowing with the same eerie light as the truck speeds along the road below. Jiang Shuyo grips the steering wheel, a bead of sweat trickling down his temple. Good thing this car has enough horsepower, or we really might have been stuck. A crimson aura now envelopes the truck, bathing both Han Feng and Jiang Shuyo in its ominous glow. Li Jinghao opens fire, the bullets tearing through the air. Han Feng cries out, clutching his arm. What's this thing? A crimson aura envelopes the group, a silent promise of violence. Han Feng, wounded and desperate, pleads, help me. So cold. Li Jinghao shouts, brother, as another voice screams, you son of a bitch. Han Feng is struck again, the force sending him reeling. A figure barks, quick, go up and call for reinforcements. Han Feng, ignoring his injuries, prepares to fight back, his fists glowing with power. He's coming right at us. Run him down. The vehicle begins to melt, the metal warping and dripping under an unseen force. Panic rises inside the melting vehicle. The car is melting? Get out now. Han Feng stands amidst the wreckage, his voice a desperate plea. Somebody help. Help. He realizes he's out of bullets, a question mark hanging over his head. The soldiers yell for everyone to run as they make their escape. The soldiers are told that their priority is protecting Mr. Zhang's men as they fire their weapons. One of the soldiers confirms that they've got it, a question mark floating above his head. Jiang Shuyo wonders what exactly Jiang Shuyo is up to. The soldiers continue to fire their weapons. The soldiers question what in the world is happening. The soldiers are attacked. An unknown force attacks the soldiers. The unknown force continues its assault. The soldiers are caught off guard. The soldiers are defeated. A soldier screams, his face contorted in terror as he's lifted into the air. Another soldier is struck down, sent flying by an unseen force. A soldier lies defeated, his eyes wide with fear. A man's voice echoes, "Heh, you reap what you sow," as they say. The soldier is hurled through the air, a desperate cry escaping his lips. "Now go to hell, you monster." The soldier is sent hurtling through the air. Another figure stands amidst the fallen, surveying the carnage. A man stands over a fallen soldier, his expression grim. This fellow was like a madman just now. Did he lose control? He wonders. The man watches as the soldier's body clatters to the ground. A group of soldiers advances cautiously, shields raised. Be careful, everyone. Let's first join up with the three. One of them urges. A soldier's face appears in a speech bubble, his voice filled with disbelief. They are dead. The remaining soldiers huddle together, fear etched on their faces. Where's the other soldier? One asks. Can't find him. He's probably dead too. Another man speaks. Mr. Jiang, what are we going to do now? A man's face fills the frame, his expression grave. The soldiers are dead, and we don't know the location of the base camp. The scene shifts to a parking garage. A voice declares, the plan has failed. Everyone, head back home. A trash can burns, consuming discarded papers and books. Han Feng jolts awake in a bed, eyes wide with alarm. A grenade, he shouts. He sits up, looking around in confusion. Where am I? He asks. Lao Wang stands nearby. Back to normal? Lao Wang, holding a bloody knife, stands over a bound and bloodied figure. But regarding the plan of Jiang Shuiyo, I do have a general idea. As for the specifics, he can tell you about it. The man named Lao Wang asks what kind of transaction it is, referring to Jiang Shuiyo. He explains that they are exchanging weapons and food for the residents. Han Feng asks what the purpose is. Lao Wang explains that they are trying to expand their forces rather than reducing the number of people in this situation. Han Feng asks if they take him for an idiot, and if they are fooling around with him right now. The zombie says that it's all for the sake of rebuilding civilization and saving humans, and that they are definitely not doing anything bad. Lao Wang asks what will happen if they were to fail the mission. The zombie says that the base will send more people over. The zombie wonders what superhumans are, and says that he doesn't understand. Han Feng thinks that based on his reaction, it's not impossible for the base to have superhumans among them, and that based on what the base is currently doing, if there are superhumans, they are most likely to be enemies. The zombie says that there was no need to kill. Lao Wang asks Han Feng if he believes in his bullshit about saving people, and tells him not to go around having any illusions. It's him, right? Lao Wang says that it's just a new faction, who knows what they are planning to do, and that either they get rid of them, or they leave this place and find a new one to settle down. Han Feng is instructed to discuss this with the others. Someone descends the stairs, pondering that Li Jinghao is unfathomable, and they know nothing about what the people on his side do. The person considers that if what the soldier said is true, searching for another foothold outside might be the safest choice. He remembers there being a few military jeeps and forklifts here, wondering which area it is. Han Feng senses someone approaching and curses. He wonders if it's a bait. Someone says they don't feel any pain at all. The person didn't expect there to be such an effect when combining the green and purple light, and someone yells to stop. Jean and Han Feng are identified as one of their own. Someone thinks that's what happened, and that's why they are here to search for a path out of the neighborhood. They also think that Jiang Shuiyo is using people to exchange for supplies, but sending his neighbors to an establishment with a higher chance of survival. Han Feng states that it isn't a bad thing, and someone asks why would that soldier's statement about helping to build the base were just empty words. If it were really a good thing, then Jiang Shuiyo himself would have already gone there for shelter. Someone says that there are many things that they cannot understand. He surveys the area, the dim light casting long shadows across the vast space. The air hangs heavy with the scent of oil and decay, a testament to the base's disuse. The group discusses their predicament. Hyona notes that it's difficult to fully trust what they've been told, and they don't even know if there's really a base. Han Feng wonders what will happen if more people come to this place, a grim thought hanging in the air. Han Feng decides to check the two jeeps for anything useful, while Lao Wang says he will look in the back. The metallic tang of old machinery fills the air as they split up. A voice calls out, reporting that the keys have been taken and urgently requesting help. The echo bounces off the cold, concrete walls. Han Feng stares in disbelief at a cache of weapons. The scent of gun oil mixes with the musty air, a grim reminder of the world outside. Han Feng suggests getting the grade 2 girl to come and collect them, believing they will definitely be of help in the future. A faint hum of electricity permeates the air. Han Feng shines a flashlight on a melted car, wondering if he was responsible for its destruction. The air crackles with a faint, ozone-like scent. Someone calls for Lil Loli to come over, suggesting they take a look at something. The distant sound of dripping water echoes through the base. The group shines their flashlights on a wall, sensing that there seems to be some kind of noise coming from behind it. The stone feels cold and damp beneath their fingers. Someone asks if they have a flashlight, the question hanging in the tense silence. The group counts down from 3, preparing to pull down the wall together. The air is thick with anticipation. The group is shocked by what they see behind the wall, their expressions a mixture of surprise and apprehension. A strange, metallic scent wafts from the opening. He states that now they can be sure that there's probably a base somewhere. The group stands before a massive opening, revealing a cavern filled with an eerie blue light. Han Feng and an unknown woman stand in a tunnel, the air thick with apprehension. He reflects on the tunnel's scale, a feat that suggests their adversaries are far from simple. If the soldiers' intel is accurate, their neighborhood's safety hangs by a thread. Han Feng and Lao Wang stand amidst what appear to be the neighborhood's drain pipes. Lao Wang reaches further into the tunnel, but Han Feng stops him, warning that it's too dangerous to venture further. The tunnel stretches into the darkness. A collection of supplies lies ready for use. Adding to their weapons, Han Feng declares that what they're bringing should be sufficient. Lao Wang asks for a few more seeds and a piece of pork meat. Han Feng asks if there's anything else they need. He then states that what they have should be enough, as they are just going there to scout this time. If any emergency situation were to arise, they will return right away. Han Feng thinks to himself that the middle school girl is getting more proficient in using her ability and can now easily pick out the right items from her storage dimension. Han Feng tells the group that they are quite hidden from others, and no one should be coming here for a while, so they can wait for them here. He adds that he has strengthened the walls and the door, so even if they get discovered, they wouldn't. Han Feng tells the group that it's not safe to stay outside for too long, and they should go back to the room quickly. Jean tells him not to worry. Jean and the unknown woman stand together. The true eye of the evil king will bless his apostles, she thinks, before exclaiming, "Eh." With the current situation, Zhang Shuiyo isn't the only threat they are facing. It might also come from that tunnel. Han Feng leads the way down the steps. Lao Wang suggests they think about it after scouting the tunnel. He thought it would be warmer underground, but it's just as cold as above. 15 minutes later, Han Feng suggests they go further and take a look. 30 minutes later, the tunnel really extends in all directions. 1 hour later, they have been walking around in the underground for so long, he doesn't even recognize where they came from and which direction they should go. Lao Wang notices the distribution of drain pipes. This side seems to be a residential area and tells the group to come over there. Lao Wang exclaims that it's a map of the sewer. Even after moving for half a day, it turns out they are still just next to the neighborhood. They'll see the stadium if they go in a little further. Someone tells them to quickly turn off their headlight. Jean is surprised. A vehicle approaches. The camera pans over a line of military trucks. The group stands before a large sewer entrance. Han Feng observes that the trucks look like military vehicles, possibly belonging to the 3 soldiers from their neighborhood. Hyona suggests that the trucks are ferrying people to construct a base, and they might find out if they follow them. Hyona suggests they don't have to follow the cars, as there's a back door. Han Feng wonders why they don't try the one in front. Han Feng recalls saving an old lady from Han City's neighborhood a year ago, explaining that this is the place where they climbed back up. Hyona is impressed that he remembered it so clearly. Hyona boasts that her memory is pretty good, even claiming to be a straight-A student in high school. The manhole cover is frozen shut. Hyona suggests they might be a bit off from the location, so they should try the one in front of them. They try to open it. The manhole cover opens. Hyona says she already told Han Feng that she is familiar around here, and to wait until she finds that old bastard. A sign reads Han City's neighborhood basement car park. Han Feng tells her to lower her voice. The group is now in the basement car park. A man observes the scene, noting that a fight seems to have broken out. The group stands near military trucks, assessing the situation. 2 soldiers complain about being assigned to guard the unfinished tunnel, lamenting the lack of proper food. Han Feng realizes that the people from this neighborhood are also under the control of these soldiers, leaving them with no choice but to fight. Han Feng feels the ground shaking. His companion urges him to look. A chaotic battle unfolds on a platform, with people running and engaging in close combat. Debris rains down from above, signaling a powerful impact or structural collapse. A figure with glowing green eyes launches an attack with a blade, their expression twisted in rage. Lao Wang stares upwards, exclaiming, "Damn, is that hulking thing even human?" He wonders how such a massive tunnel could have appeared under their neighborhood without anyone noticing. A voice echoes from within the tunnel. "It's way too dangerous to stay here. If we're discovered, we're finished." A hulking figure emerges from the tunnel, demanding, "Hey, where's my snacks? The tunnel hasn't been cleaned up yet. Why would there be?" The massive figure is suddenly surrounded by crackling electricity, its eyes glowing with an eerie light. "I want food. Food." Han Feng shouts, "Stop it, you damned fatty." Han Feng yells, "Retreat," as he and Lao Wang scramble away from the scene. Lao Wang suddenly sneezes, "Achoo." Han Feng's eyes widen in shock, muttering, "OMG." Lao Wang shouts, too, as they continue to flee. Lao Wang apologizes, "I'm sorry, lil bro. I just couldn't hold it in." Han Feng retorts, "Quit whining, just run." The two continue their desperate escape as the text indicates. "That big guy is catching up to us." Lao Wang yells, "Damn it." He urges Han Feng to go ahead, stating that he will stall the large figure. Han Feng responds, "Hey, all right." Han Feng, with a determined look, declares, "Now's the time." Purple energy crackles around his hands. The large figure sinks further into the pool of swirling purple energy. The large figure, struggling against the pull, mutters, The large figure, now partially submerged in the purple energy, exclaims, "You're actually a superhuman, too. If I can capture you." Green energy pulses around him. The large figure cries out in pain. "H. My legs," as the green energy intensifies around his lower body. A surge of green energy restores something. The large figure, enraged, shouts, "You bastard. I am going to kill you." Han Feng realizes, this is bad. He's about to break free. Hyona, running towards the scene, shouts, "Danger." Han Feng observes, he seems to be getting weaker. He thinks to himself, if I continue, I should be able to completely trap him here. Hyona declares, "To help you." Hyona unleashes a blast of white energy towards the large figure. The large figure is visibly shocked by Hyona's attack. Han Feng's eyes widen in surprise. A monstrous face, eyes glowing with malevolent green energy, bellows a challenge. The group flees, the echoing command spurring them onward. The voice booms, accusing them of desertion and disobedience. The tunnels stretch onward, shrouded in shadow and dampness. Dust and stale air fill their lungs, each breath a painful reminder of their subterranean plight. Han Feng, finally shaking off the oversized meatball, wonders if the enemy will break through the rocks again. Hyona notes that even though he won't be able to free himself for a while, they need to get out of here quickly. Hyona declares that the underground map has already been imprinted in her mind, and that she will lead the way. Lao Wang calls out, urging them to follow closely. 10 minutes later, Lao Wang points out that these are their neighborhood's sewers, and the exit has to be this way. 40 minutes later, Han Feng notes that it's strange that they should have hit the exit by now. He also notes that there's wind. Lao Wang calls out, wondering where his little brother is. Hyona observes that it seems the wind just blew in from above here, and there's also light, so they might be able to get out of here. Lao Wang asks what they are waiting for if that's the case. The other figure slides down the slope. Lao Wang warns him to be careful, as it's really slippery. Lao Wang looks up and exclaims that it's not snowing as heavily anymore. The icy landscape stretches out before them, a maze of frozen structures. Lao Wang calls out to Han Feng, telling him that the snow on the floor has already hardened and to get down there. Han Feng notes that the Dingfeng building is the tallest structure within 5 kilometers northward of their neighborhood. From above, the group is seen heading in the wrong direction. Xingfu District lies within the southern third ring of Hanchuan City. Their current position is almost on the northern fourth ring of the city. Given their current situation, they can only travel on land if they want to return to their district. They'll have to pass through the Jingshan district, which is on the way. The man reassures his companion. Don't worry, lil bro. Once we reach Jingshan district, I've got plenty of contacts there. I'll hook you up with a good meal and a place to rest before we continue. He adds, I used to traverse these snow-covered roads. It's not as bad as you think. It won't be that tough. The other man groans. Io. He suggests that they move slowly, as the roads under the snow are quite slippery. He notes that the snow is getting heavier and that they need to find shelter for the night. The first man encourages his companion to hang in there for another hour, and they'll be there. The man grits his teeth. The man with spiky hair states that the snow's intensifying and that they need to pick up the pace, or they might actually freeze to death. The other man replies that there's no way, they made sufficient preparations. The two men trudge through the snow. The two men continue their journey through the snow-covered landscape. It seems like they've run out of food. With all their gear, they had no choice but to head out in search of supplies. They ran into a snowstorm, couldn't find a proper shelter, and froze to death. Lil bro, this snowstorm is too strong. Why don't we rest for a night? The group stands in the snow, the biting wind whipping around them. One of them remarks that they might freeze to death out here. In the distance, two figures trudge through the snow, their forms blurred by the swirling flakes. A snow-covered building stands silently against the backdrop of the storm. From above, the Jingshan district is a desolate expanse of white, dotted with the dark shapes of buildings. Han Feng observes that the Jingshan Villa district wasn't buried under the snow, wondering how the people inside are doing. Lao Wang questions if they can be their so-called connections, but Han Feng is unsure, telling him to wait there. Determined, Han Feng declares he will go talk to them, running forward, calling out for them to wait. Lao Wang thinks to himself that two people showing up out of nowhere at a time like this isn't a good sign, exclaiming crap. Han Feng is confronted by a group of armed individuals, one of whom shouts that it's a robbery. His hand moves towards a weapon, preparing for a fight. One of the armed men warns them not to make any moves and to stay still, adding that if they hurt him, they'll be the ones stuck carrying him up the hill. Han Feng sees him trying to pull something, suspecting he's hiding something. He thinks that if he were to fight back now, his healing ability might be able to handle one shot. One of the captors suggests that brotherly would be as good as dead. The snowy landscape stretches out before them. One of the captors wonders who would be brave enough to wander out at this time, and is surprised that they even have a gun. Another captor remarks that they were careful, otherwise they might have died. One of the captors, his hands clasped behind his back, dismisses their pleas, stating that they have their reasons for capturing them. Lao Wang asks what he means. Another captor suggests that they might be planning to use them as backup food supplies. The first captor tells Lao Wang not to try to frighten him. One of the captors comments that this is actually a pretty good spot, noting that you can basically see the entire Hanchuan city. Han Feng realizes that they actually still have electricity. One of the captors confirms this. One of the captors states that if they can get electricity here, it must be from a generator. Another captor notes that these seem to be the villas that just got built recently. The captors observe that they even constructed defensive structures, wondering how they managed that with just the two of them. One of the captors thinks that if they can get rid of them and take over this place, with his abilities and that of the middle school girl, they could turn it into a fortress. Another captor asks what the hell he is giggling about. One of the captors assures them that after they are done, not only will they let them go, but they will also return their supplies to them. One of the captors questions the situation. Another captor, standing nearby, reminds them not to try any tricks or they won't show any mercy. Chaozi is instructed to keep watch over them while the other captor takes a rest. The captor orders them to get to work, threatening to kill them if they don't. Another captor tells them to just do it with the handcuffs on and stop their damn blabbering. Han Feng tells Lao Wang that he has no idea, and they should just keep digging. He calls him bro. Han Feng wonders what is over there. Brother Li is told to look over there. He wonders what is over there. They are told to be quiet. The other man says that it's possible, so they can't just sit and wait for death, or else they will end up like them. Someone yells, "Damn you." One of the men asks why the other is shoveling on his side too. The other man says it's none of his business, he just wants to do it. One of the men says that he finished shoveling ages ago, and that the other guy is just talking nonsense. Someone yells, asking if they want to fight, and if they think he is afraid of them. He says if they don't finish by then, he will end their lives with the gun. Someone is sitting in a room. Someone chuckles. Someone is holding a gun. Two people are kneeling with their hands chained. Someone says that they are here to collect debts. One of the men demanded, "Then what about those corpses outside? Did you kill them?" Another man responded, "Heavens, no, it's got nothing to do with us." A third man added, "Yeah, we don't know what happened to them." The first man stated, "I see. So you weren't the ones who killed those people outside." One of the men replied, Yes, it wasn't us." Another exclaimed, "How could we do such a thing?" The first man said, "Since that's the case, you guys can go." Another man questioned, "Lil bro, don't tell me you really believe what they said. Are we really going to let them go?" The man smirked, thinking to himself, "Of course." One of the men asked, "So what do we do next?" A second man thought, "You are the real devil." The other man responded, "Do you even have to ask? We need to get back as fast as we can." He continued in thought, "I originally only planned to scout out the tunnel for a bit, but I didn't expect to spend so much time due to all those accidents. We don't even know what's the situation in our district now." Meanwhile, a blizzard raged outside, the wind howling through the skeletal remains of buildings. Inside a dimly lit room, one of the people worried, "They still haven't returned after all this time. Could something have happened to them?" Another person reassured, "Don't worry, Han Feng is an apostle chosen by the..." He continued in thought, "Rather than worrying about them, we should be worried about our own situation. You guys are not nervous at all." A group of soldiers stood guard. The narrator explained, after Han Feng entered the tunnel, an army emerged from it. And there's even a terrifying guy among them who can control earth elements. Jiang Shuiyo seems to be on good terms with them. Everyone in our district is now under his command. One of the people stated, "We are currently the public enemies of the entire district." Another person added, "So you should recognize your own circumstances. Right now, Jiang Shuiyo is probably having his men search for us." One of the people lit a cigarette, thinking, "Seriously, those bunch of residents are really stupid. Do they really think that the army is here to save them? I'm afraid they won't realize they've been sold out." A voice declares that the truth no longer matters and that obedience gives a higher chance of survival, as Qiuqiu sleeps soundly. "Humans are just such creatures," the voice continues, as Qiuqiu sleeps near a pink-haired girl and Lao Wang. Qiuqiu is told she'll catch a cold if she sleeps without a blanket. It's such a hassle, Lao Wang thinks. Lao Wang stands alone, choosing to obey. A figure is punched hard. Someone yells to dodge, asking what they were taught, and that they weren't taught to stand there and take hits. The figure is on the ground, injured. Someone yells at the figure to stand up, asking how much effort they think was put into training them, and if they want to go back to how their life used to be. They have no right to stay down. Lao Wang stands in the snow, looking determined. A figure stands in a room. A door is broken down. Qiuqiu, the pink-haired girl, and Lao Wang are shown. He wondered aloud if they had been discovered so quickly. Nearby, the other man asked if it was time to eat. Elsewhere, a bald man with bulging blue eyes, pressed against a stone wall, declared that he could smell living people and that there was definitely someone in here. A problem is identified as workers pack the remaining supplies into boxes. The inventory and headcount are reported as complete, totaling 97 refugees and 426 boxes of food. The order is given to load the supplies onto the vehicles and transport them back to base. The command is acknowledged. Lao Wang instructs to continue with what he was saying, inquiring about the 3 members of the advance party sent earlier and their current whereabouts. Lao Wang wonders what kind of person could take out 3 special forces members, demanding a solid reason even if it's a lie. A figure is seen using some kind of purple light to superpower. Lao Wang shushes someone, implying that some things should be left unsaid. Han Feng states that he's out of options and has no reason to lie. Lao Wang tells Han Feng that with so many food supplies, he's already considered one of their own, implying that he won't be killed without reason. A close-up shows hands, possibly related to the purple light. Someone states that they can smell living people and that there's definitely someone in here. A grotesque face fills the frame, sharp teeth bared in a predatory grin. Lao Wang and Li Huina stand in a dimly lit room. "Stay away from him. Something's not right about this guy," she warns. Not only did he instantly destroy the door that had been strengthened by Han Feng, he's also exhaling a stench like wild beasts. He's not even human. Lao Wang's expression hardens. His years of fighting experience tell him that this fellow is dangerous, and they need to run now. He slams his arm against a glass barrier, a blue energy crackling around his limb as he attempts to shatter it. Lao Wang stares at the glass, frustrated. Why is the glass so tough? The glass has been. Lao Wang and Li Huina stand before the unbroken glass. A large, bald man in military gear stands behind them. "Here, did you make a mistake?" The bald man continues. "Looks like I've made a mistake. Sorry to bother you." The man, identified as 1804, speaks. There's no one called Han Feng. 1804's eyes glow red as he shouts. 1804, I am not wrong. You guys are liars. Lao Wang's voice booms with menace. If Han Feng doesn't reveal himself, they can all go to hell. The group plummets from the building. A hand reaches out, grasping for something, anything. Han Feng and Li Huina continue their descent, the ground rushing up to meet them. The group lands hard in the snow, a cloud of powder erupting around them. Brotherly, someone shouts. Meanwhile, Lao Wang's face contorts with rage. He hates dishonest people the most. The words echo in the cold air, dishonest people the most. With a shout of woohoo, Han Feng snowboards down the slope. Li Huina follows close behind. Brotherly, you coming up with a snowboard idea really surprised me. I've got a whole new level of respect for you. Han Feng recalls his past. Haha, I used to negotiate billion-dollar deals and often accompanied clients to ski resorts. The sign reads, Xingfu District. He and another figure are finally back, looking for a window to sneak back in. Lao Wang plummets downward, exclaiming that he hates dishonest people the most, wondering what's going on. A massive, mummy-like creature descends. The mummy-like creature emits a series of guttural screams as it falls. A warning cry rings out. Dodge quickly. A voice shouts, Mummy. The unknown woman falls amidst a cascade of mummy wrappings. Li Huinao explains that a huge monster suddenly broke into the house, trying to capture him. Someone exclaims that the monster is here. Han Feng falls, shouting that the monster is here. Li Huina is also falling. A monstrous figure with glowing green eyes declares, Baby, you are the monster. The unknown woman encourages Nurse Jean, telling her she can do it and that he's catching up, adding, You can do it, sis. She wonders why they don't try running by themselves. Mr. Han is urged to think of something quickly, but he wonders what he can do. A monstrous voice booms out, declaring its hunger and intent to devour them all as snacks. Han Feng affirms the situation, telling the others to go ahead, as he has a method to deal with the monster. Han Feng, with a smirk, calls the monster a big baby as a green energy gathers in his hand. A beam of green energy streaks towards the unseen target. The monster's face is shown, drool dripping from its mouth as it utters, Soybeans, delicious. Han Feng, with a sinister smile, remarks, For the poor hospitality. The monster lets out a piercing scream. The figure gazes upwards, the falling snow swirling around them in the frigid air. The wind howls, a mournful sound echoing through the desolate landscape. The figure is burdened by a grotesque, plant-like growth erupting from their back, its tendrils reaching towards the sky. The air crackles with an unnatural energy. The figure's voice explodes with rage. You bastard. I am going to smash you into pieces. The figure screams, their face contorted in fury. You're AF *****ing coward. The icy wind whips around them, carrying the scent of ozone. A group of figures sprints through the snow-covered landscape, their breath misting in the frigid air. Yes, one of them shouts, their voice barely audible above the howling wind. They will lock down the surroundings. One figure, bundled in thick furs, speaks to another, their voice low and urgent. It's a world filled with ice and snow, so they won't be able to get far. The only thing they can do is hide in the nearby buildings. Another figure, their face pale and drawn, responds, I ate the bean that he threw, and this thing grew out of my mouth. The air hangs heavy with an unspoken dread. A figure holding a bundle of strange plants speaks with a calculating tone. With this ability, we might be able to solve our food shortage problem. Bring down the captive from upstairs. One of the figures asks, concern etched on their face. How did you get hurt so badly? The question hangs in the air, unanswered. The figure, identified as Jiang Shuiyo, brought the residents and went over to their side. One of the figures asks, what exactly happened? Why isn't Li Jinghao together with you guys? The woman in the blue hat states that they must have heard about him from Jiang Shuiyo, which is why they sent a monster to come after him. She adds that the monster easily destroyed the door that they had strengthened and barged in. The man with black hair asks how that is possible, as even a bomb wasn't able to blast it open. The woman in the blue hat says that after that, in order to save them, Brotherly stayed back to hold him, and they don't even know whether he's alive. A dead person can't come back to life, one of the group members states, adding that they can't let his sacrifice go to waste and must escape from here. The woman in the blue hat says that won't do, as they can't just abandon Brotherly. She adds that they need to go back and save him, as he must be alive. Han Feng says that they are right. As brothers, they need to be loyal to each other. He thinks to himself that it's not that he doesn't want to go back. The woman in the blue hat says that if they face that monster, there's no guarantee that they'll survive. The group brings an injured person to Han Feng, exclaiming that they brought him here. The injured person was found, and he seems to be Han Feng's friend. They have already treated and bandaged his injuries. Someone says that they know he is nearby and don't have any malice towards him, and what happened previously was a misunderstanding. The woman in the blue hat says that uncle is indeed alive, and she is going to save him. Han Feng tells her to calm down, as he's lying to her, and going out now means sending herself to death. Someone asks how a girl like her is so strong. The woman in the black hat says that the person over there is really uncle. Someone tells Han Feng that their organization needs a talent like him, and as long as he is willing to join them, his wives, his kid, and his brothers will all receive the treatment of an official. The woman in the black hat says that won't do, and the woman in the blue hat asks if he has a wife and kids. He simply states, nope. A man in a military uniform asks if their good brother doesn't care whether they live or die. He adds that he only met that kid a few days ago. The man continues, questioning why they would risk their lives for strangers they have just met. He adds that if they are interested in girls, they can pick anyone they want from their base. The man notes that those two aren't his wife and kid, and they also just met a few days ago. Han Feng exclaims that it's a waste of effort. The man states there's no reason to risk their lives for strangers they have just met. One of the figures says they can't be lecherous, while another states that surrendering doesn't sound that bad. The man replies that none of them are reliable. A woman with glasses says she has an idea to save Uncle, asking if they're going to help out or not. Mr. Han Feng is addressed directly. The man speaks, saying that under normal circumstances, it's impossible for them to stay quiet, and that the kid is really careful. He asks if it's because he looks like a bad guy. The man states that with the current situation, it's impossible that they have enough food to feed so many people, but they are going around searching for residents to take in, questioning what they are trying to do. He adds that saving people is their responsibility, and selfish bastards like him wouldn't be able to understand noble sentiments. The man is spat on, and the spitter calls him a liar. He sits atop someone, surrounded by his men. Lao Wang says, "You are dying soon anyway, it's not like I can't tell you." Lao Wang thinks about the creatures in the city, wondering which ones they have the most of, so much that they can't finish eating. He thinks they are gathering residents for food, and only living people consume food, the dead become food. Lao Wang holds a gun, ready for anything. Someone looks up, exclaiming that something is falling from the sky. A close-up reveals cigarettes, alcohol, and food. There are actually vegetables and meat, which someone hasn't seen since the world froze. The soldiers gather the food. One of them exclaims that it's rice. Lao Wang orders his men not to cause any disorder and to come back right now. He thinks that once the team is in disorder, they will definitely launch an ambush. Someone looks up at the sky. A person falls from the sky. Lao Wang orders his men to fight. The group discusses their plan. One of them states that they will sprinkle some alluring fodder from the sky to attract the starving sheep. Another states that means they are going to throw down all kinds of food and supplies to create chaos amongst the soldiers. Han Feng will then attack the gathered sheep with his metal beast form, while breaking through the flock of sheep and rescuing the one that has lost his way, and finally bring them to their new homeland. Another member of the group clarifies that she probably means to say that she will break through the soldiers by using a car, save Li Jinghao, then bring all of them and escape. One of the group members exclaims that it is a good idea. Another asks how they can understand her. Someone coughs, stating that practice makes perfect. One of the group members states that everyone should start moving according to Evil Eye's enlightenment. One of the group members states that, keeping aside about how simple and crude their plan is and the fact that whether those soldiers will be attracted by the things they throw or not, they would like to ask where they get a car. They state that they picked up a metal beast previously. Someone asks where the car is and states that it is a bulldozer. Han Feng states that this thing really does feel good to drive. Han Feng drives the bulldozer through a group of people. Someone yells that it is their rice. Someone yells to block him quickly. Another yells. Han Feng states that there is no one here that's stronger than him. He tells them to come, let's fight. A figure is dragged into the swirling vortex of water, disappearing beneath the surface. Lao Wang, standing firm, declares, "If you don't want him to die, then you better stop." His voice echoes with a cold resolve. Inside the control room, Han Feng, focused and determined, monitors the situation. The hum of machinery fills the air. Lao Wang stands over a prone figure, their face obscured, but clearly injured. The air hangs heavy with unspoken threats. Lao Wang's expression hardens, his eyes narrowed with a steely glint. The snow crunches beneath his boots. A piercing scream echoes as the figure is pulled further into the watery depths, their struggles growing weaker. The massive bulldozer rumbles forward, its engine roaring like a caged beast, ready to tear through anything in its path. The injured figure struggles to focus, their vision blurring as a pink energy envelopes them. It became soft. They managed to whisper. The bulldozer continues its relentless advance as Lao Wang shouts, "Hey, where are you going?" His voice laced with a mix of anger and desperation. The bulldozer pushes forward, its massive treads churning through the snow and ice, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. The bulldozer bears down on the structure, its driver yelling, "I am here to fetch you guys." The sound of metal grinding against metal fills the air. The bulldozer accelerates, its engine screaming as it smashes through the barrier. A chorus of voices shouts, "We are coming. Hiya." They are being chased. The person in the vehicle shouts that they are being pursued. The pursuers open fire, shouting for them to be hit. The captain orders his men to chase them and not let them escape. The soldier reports that the snow is too thick and the tires are losing their grip, preventing them from speeding up. The captain curses, wondering where they got that gigantic bulldozer, as even their base only has a few of those. The soldier adds that the bulldozer seems to be the one used by their advance party. The captain orders them to follow their tracks and keep chasing after them, no matter what. They must find them. The captain expresses his frustration. The bulldozer continues to plow through the snow. The bulldozer continues its path. The bulldozer is seen from above, moving through the snowy landscape. The pursuers are still chasing after the bulldozer. The captain wonders where all these things came from. Han Feng is seen holding a shrinking object. Perched atop the vehicle, Qiuqiu declares that this is the true eye of the evil king's power. Qiuqiu sneezes violently. The vehicle sputters and grinds to a halt. Han Feng exclaims that Qiuqiu's snot is dripping on his head. The man named Han Feng asks where they're going now. Another replies that his snot froze and he can't sniff it back in. A third character thanks someone for the life-saving grace, while a fourth asks to enjoy driving the big car too. Brotherly states that he and another found a pretty good hillside villa earlier and is preparing to move there, asking what the others think. The other agrees, saying to do as he sees fit. One of the characters says they will listen to Lil Bro. A warning on the meter indicates they ran out of fuel. Han Feng exclaims, "What?" One of the characters asks if the evil king has any oil. Another replies, "Yes." A character holds a glowing orb. The vehicle is shown with the words, "Engine dies" written nearby. A character states that they are not talking about cooking oil. Li Huinao exclaims in surprise. Han Feng tells her to take out the fuel that he stored, not these. Han Feng and the others are in a vehicle. Han Feng asks what's going on, wondering if they weren't capable of easily taking out the things they want from there. Jean says that she seems to have thrown them out, together with the fridge and sofa, and can't find the generator as well. Han Feng is shocked that Jean threw out the 1 year's worth of fuel that he stored. Jean says that she still has a bit of natural gas though, and will call him Dad, if he can start the vehicle with this. Jean holds a bucket. She says that these things that Han Feng stored are also still here. Han Feng wonders what he is going to do with this trash. Han Feng is fumbling with something. Han Feng wonders if thin meat that turned into an unknown black liquid is flammable too. He asks for a metal bucket. Jean says okay to Han Feng's request for a metal bucket and a piece of meat. Han Feng and the others are in a vehicle. Han Feng says that it's difficult to successfully turn a piece of meat into proper fuel. Han Feng says that failing it on purpose is much easier. The bucket is filled with black liquid. Han Feng's little brother asks what this thing that he created is, saying that it stinks. Han Feng says that it's a small experiment. A roaring fire blazes, the text nearby proclaiming the substance's flammability. He sits, tending a small fire. Lao Wang asks if he's trying to replace the fuel with it. Han Feng states that they have no other choice but to try, adding that they can only get off the vehicle and travel on foot otherwise. The vehicle trudges through the snow-covered landscape. The unknown man pours a liquid into a container, seemingly pleased with the results. Lao Wang wonders what other secrets Han Feng is hiding. The vehicle continues its journey through the snowy terrain. Jean offers Hyona some snacks, asking which kind she wants. Hyona exclaims that it works and that Han Feng is awesome. Jean wants some too, while Lao Wang wonders how many things she has in that storage. Lao Wang mentions hearing about a supermarket being robbed and emptied overnight, wondering if Jean was responsible. Han Feng announces to everyone that the hillside villa he mentioned previously is right ahead. The group is excited that they are finally there, with Han Feng preparing to charge all the way up in one go. The vehicle erupts in a violent explosion, sending debris flying in all directions. The remnants of the vehicle smolder amidst the snow-covered landscape, a testament to their misfortune. Lao Wang exclaims that the engine exploded. The group is silent, contemplating their next move. Han Feng urges the group forward, stating that their destination is just a few steps away. The group trudges through the deep snow, their breath misting in the frigid air as they ascend the hill. Shivering, Hyona complains that she is freezing to death. The group has finally arrived. A warm fire crackles in a hearth. The group has survived. Huddled around the fireplace, the group finds a moment of comfort and warmth. Lao Wang reflects that the villa district is a good place, as the wind blows the accumulated snow downhill, so there won't be any on the hilltop. He wonders if they have any regrets in life. Lao Wang asks if they are planning to use this place as a long-term base, noting that the houses won't get submerged by snow. It's also hard for people to climb all the way up. It's easily guarded and hard to get attacked. Hyona suggests putting something over there, thinking it would be better for them to go a little further that way. Han Feng states that he will start the generator. The unknown woman tells them to just put the TV over there. Lao Wang exclaims that it is the Gen 9X.PS game console. He pretends that he didn't say anything. He reflects on the middle school girl's decision to discard the generator, relieved that they had prepared fuel beforehand, averting potential trouble. The group celebrates the return of electricity, their faces illuminated by the warm glow of the lights. Han Feng, standing in the doorway, asks if they are hungry, suggesting a feast. Jean operates a machine, her expression focused on the task at hand. Li Huina shivers, mentioning that the snowstorm has started. Li Huina expresses her desire to take a bath and asks for instructions on how to use the water heater. Han Feng looks surprised. Han Feng confidently states that he will set it up. Han Feng asks how to use the water heater. Jean points out that the water pipes are frozen and the water heater is already broken. Jean suggests they take a look at the situation in the bathroom. The pipes there are also broken, as expected, but it will work as long as they have the bathtub. Jean tells Han Feng to set up the space heaters first. Han Feng is told to bring a pile of snow in and to take out the high-power heating rod. Jean takes a look at the situation in the bathroom. It's basically still cold water, and Han Feng wonders how long it is going to take to heat it up. Jean says it's too slow. An electricity leak is discovered. Han Feng wonders if it gave off a red glow just now. Jean asks if Han Feng doesn't think the water is heating up too slowly. Han Feng notes that the water is warm now and wonders how that happened. Hanfeng wonders if the red glow has such an effect as well. The sister is finally able to take a bath. She wonders aloud if she is even real. Jean holds out a container, asking which bath salts Hyona would prefer. Jean continues, listing off every brand of shampoo, conditioner, shower gel, skincare essential oil, and moisturizer she has, again asking what Hyona prefers. Hyona embraces Chocho, saying how much she likes her. Hyona sighs, finding the bath so comfortable. Hyona calls it heaven, finding Chocho so petite and cute. She tells Jean not to treat her like a kid, as she is 21 years old. Jean is surprised, thinking she is still a kid. Hyona is shocked that Jean thinks she is a kid, emphasizing that she is 21 years old. Hyona states that the power of the evil king allows her to preserve her youthfulness. Jean wonders if she is preserving her youthfulness. Hyona admits she is lying, claiming she has a baby face so she looks younger. Jean thinks that with her face, it isn't just the level of looking younger anymore, finding it ridiculous that a middle school girl is 21 years old. Meanwhile, Lao Wang coughs, calling out to his little brother, asking what he is doing over there and suggesting they play some games together. Lao Wang asks if his little brother is thinking of peeking. The other man denies it, saying he was just passing by. Lao Wang says that a true man will look at them openly and without fear, offering to demonstrate. Lao Wang tells his little brother to cover him. The other man says that he feels like playing games now, suggesting they play some games. The other man says that they have food, drinks, and electricity, wondering why they wouldn't be in the mood to play games. He thinks that they are in the mood to play games in such a situation. He asks Lao Wang why he doesn't join them for a game, saying that they are going to stay here for quite a long time, and if they don't look for some entertainment, they will be bored to death. Lao Wang coughs again. The other man asks how about his uncle, asking if he is staying here or going to look for his subordinates. He knows that Lao Wang's background is not normal, but he just wants to live his own life, and as long as he doesn't drag them into any trouble, he can stay here for as long as he wants. Lao Wang tells his little bro to stop chatting, as he is about to get beaten to death. Han Feng tells him to hold on, as he is coming to save him. Lao Wang says that now he can tell Han Feng his real identity. Han Feng tells him to stop, as he doesn't want to know who he is, and he already told him not to drag him into trouble. Lao Wang says that he is actually specially here to investigate superhumans, and he feels that Han Feng is one. Han Feng asks Lao Wang for help. Lao Wang says that he understands. Lao Wang says that when his arm gets better, he will leave. Han Feng says that he won't tell anyone about them as well, and not to worry. Han Feng asks Lao Wang to take this more seriously, as he almost died because of him. Lao Wang apologizes and says that he will definitely play well for the next round. A woman asks if they are done and if they're going to take a bath. Lao Wang tells Han Feng to do it together so they can conserve water. Han Feng says that he doesn't want to take a bath with another man. After that, Lao Wang was forced to take a bath together with Brother Li. Everyone then had a long-awaited feast. Hyona is finally having a good sleep. For the next few days after, Lao Wang strengthened the walls, roof, and fences. For the top floor of the villa, he also modified it into a sauna. Lao Wang says that he just farted. He also says that now he can use the sauna and observe the situation at the bottom of the hill at the same time. Someone is coming up the hill. A man asks Brother Li if he knows the person standing over him. A thought bubble reveals that he is Brother Chong, who works for Director Liu. Han Feng and another man stand over a man lying on a couch. Someone wonders which Director Liu is being referred to. The man recalls that it is the Director Liu who got him his gun. Brother Chong wakes up, wondering where he is. Someone exclaims that he is awake, and asks why Big Mouth Li is there. Someone tells Brother Chong to calm down. Han Feng is identified as the kid who came to buy a gun. Han Feng introduces himself to Brother Chong. Someone asks Brother Chong what happened. He explains that a few days ago, their office was ambushed by a group of soldiers, and many of their brothers were hurt or killed. He adds that even Director Liu is. Following Han Feng's advice, they had stocked up a huge amount of supplies in advance. The supplies were enough for them to not only get through this crisis themselves, but also to help hundreds of residents. A few days ago, a group of soldiers suddenly appeared, stealing their supplies and killing the residents. That location is one of the villas in this region. To protect everyone else, Director Liu brought them along to fight the soldiers, but most of their brothers ended up getting injured or dead. Director Liu got shot in his leg and was captured by that group of soldiers. In the end, everyone dispersed and agreed to meet at another location where supplies are kept. No wonder he appeared at the foot of the hill. He's planning to meet up with his companions. One man asks if Director Liu is still alive. The other responds that it was obvious they were trying to capture him alive. That's great, Director Liu is still alive. Brother Chong says that if it wasn't for Director Liu, he might have been dead long ago. He asks Brother Chong to take him along to find Director Liu and to save him together. Big Mouth Li is called crazy. Someone asks how many people they have and how many guns they possess, stating that with just the two of them, it's impossible to save Director Liu. Brother Chong is told to cheer up, and that as long as there's even a sliver of hope, they cannot give up. Li Zi will fight alongside him forever. If he wants to send himself to death, he can go ahead, but he shouldn't bring him along. One man says that Director Liu is still alive. Brother Jinghao asks if they are talking about the Director Liu from the Uprising Volunteer Group, and asks Brother Jinghao if he knows Director Liu. He responds that previously when he was fighting in the underground boxing arena, Director Liu was the one who paid his ransom and brought him out, allowing him to regain his freedom. He states that if they're going to save Director Liu, they can count him in. He mentions that he still has a few brothers in the city that he can call to help them out. A close-up shows the bandages on Lao Wang's hand. Li Jinghao is revealed to be the legendary wild dog with 30 consecutive victories. Lao Wang tells him to stop bringing it up, as that was his nickname when he was still boxing. He is called Li Jinghao, and he tells Lao Wang to stop addressing him with his nickname. With the help of Wild Dog, they can save Director Liu. Brother Jinghao is loyal, and another man says yes, 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 brotherly. The man wonders if Director Liu is really that righteous, since everyone is trying to save him. He thinks that he won't look good if he doesn't go along with them, but this matter is too dangerous. Han Feng states that his own life is still more important to him. He says that there are also people after his life too, so he won't be joining this time. Lao Wang asks if he is not coming with them. Lao Wang says that he better not, but in order to save Director Liu, he can provide some supplies that can help them guys out. He thinks that he needs to remind them to protect middle school girls and his secret. Brother Chong thanks Lao Wang. Lao Wang says that he has something to tell the two of them. Lao Wang thinks that he only placed the most basic items in the room, so it can't look too extravagant. It was expected from Brother Han Feng, who knew about the snowstorm in advance, so they have gathered so many supplies. Lao Wang thinks that he can understand why they need guns and compressed biscuits, but why do they need so many cigarettes? Brother Chong is told to eat slowly, as there's more than enough. Money is no longer useful outside. When major factions are exchanging supplies, cigarettes are a solid currency of exchange. Han Feng is told see you later, and he says that he will come back for sure. Brother Han and sister-in-law, our uprising volunteer group, will definitely repay this favor. Brother Jinghao is loyal. Han Feng is asked if he has a wife. He says nope. Jean is confused, as he's talking about her, Sister Jean. Qiu, wearing a light blue winter coat and hat, gestures with her fingers. Han Feng stands behind her, listening to her explanation. Another figure with a witch hat stands to the side. Han Feng thinks to himself, wondering what's wrong with her. The figure with the witch hat has no idea. A narration box explains that after the incident, cameras were installed at the foot of the hill and around the villa for better surveillance. The narration continues, stating that they returned to their carefree daily life until a nightmare descended. Han Feng sits in his living room, watching TV. Suddenly, a voice exclaims that something is wrong. Qiu is seen in the doorway, asking what happened. Qiu, looking shocked, holds a knife and says that this is their last cabbage. Han Feng asks how many more vegetables and fruits they have left, calling Qiu a middle school girl. Qiu replies that they have a lot. Han Feng retorts, asking if she emptied an entire supermarket. Han Feng is surprised by the number of cucumbers in the shopping carts. He wonders why there are so many. Qiu says she likes cucumbers. Han Feng, looking concerned, states that they have been using their supplies without generating any back. If this continues, they won't have anything to eat soon. He can only produce wheat, soybean, broccoli, and meat currently, and all the other vegetables and fruits ended up being failures. Han Feng and Qiu stand together, holding a cabbage. Han Feng says they only have one last cabbage left and need to figure out how to produce more. Qiu says that everyone's future happiness depends on him. Han Feng sits on the couch, holding the cabbage. He asks God to bless him, as he has to succeed. Han Feng attempts to use his powers to grow the cabbage, but it fails. Han Feng is frustrated that he failed again. He is told that the cabbage turned out to be a failure. Qiu suggests trying carrots, chilies, or potatoes. Han Feng sits dejectedly on his bed, wondering why he can't succeed at growing anything. Han Feng exclaims that they are done for, as they won't have any more vegetables to eat in the future. Qiu asks if there's really a need to exaggerate. Li Huina suggests that no one will die from not eating vegetables, and they can just eat vitamins. She then suggests to Han Feng that they try growing their own vegetables. Li Huina explains that they can grow vegetables indoors throughout the year, as long as there's sufficient light and proper temperature. Han Feng sees the farming setup and exclaims that Nurse Jean is simply a farming expert. The text describes needing a balcony vegetable rack, soil, nutrient fluids, and LED lights. Jean offers a cucumber. Han Feng asks where they have to go to get these items, and Li Huina asks if they even have them. The ground is completely frozen solid, making it impossible to dig through. Han Feng uses his power to melt the snow. It's too cold out here, so they decide to go back inside first to think of something. Jean has been making plastic bottles. Even though they don't have any flower pots, with these mini plastic bottles, it should be enough. Jean tells Miss Lu not to treat her like a child, stating that she is really capable. Miss Lu asks where the soil is, since they went out to dig for it. Jean says that they can just use heating rods to melt the soil. She thinks there's a limit to the heating effect. Miss Lu thinks there was a way to instantly melt ice. Qiu is. Han Feng remembers that previously when he was trying to heat up the bath water, a red glow suddenly appeared on his hands, and the water got heated in an instant. If he can figure out the principle behind activating the red glow, he should be able to melt the frozen soil outside. 20 minutes later, nothing's working, and Han Feng can't figure it out at all. He wonders what the difference is between now and back then. Han Feng asks if it could be because of the electrocution. He then asks Jean if she has anything with her that can electrocute him. Jean says that she is not trying to die. She explains that she was previously electrocuted and accidentally heated up the bath water, so she wants to try it again. She then says to connect this high-power strip to a power source, then stick your finger in there, and it will be able to produce an instant death effect. Jean states that she sees. She explains that the basic electro-magic staff is able to produce a slight numbing effect and is a low-voltage self-defense electric baton. Jean recalls an electric baton being really powerful and asks if Han Feng is sure it's only a slight numbing effect. She explains that a basic electric magic spell isn't that powerful and it's very safe. Han Feng says alright, he will trust her this time. Han Feng prepares to electrocute himself. Han Feng is electrocuted. Although he doesn't understand the principles behind it yet, Han Feng thinks it's fine if it works. He then groans. Han Feng is surrounded by a swirling vortex. Han Feng exclaims that they got soil now. They are finally done preparing the soil and vegetable growing containers. He states that they will plant everything, of course. Jean asks which seeds he plans to plant, as he has a lot of them. A farming expert, Jean suggests they try planting the vegetables that don't require high temperatures first. She notes that the temperature in the house isn't that high, and there are many vegetables that they won't be able to grow. The basement is the best place for heat preservation, so they will specially use the basement as a farm from now on. Although they already placed 4 furnaces, Jean is unsure if the temperature is high enough. If it isn't high enough, these seeds will not sprout. Jean suggests they give it a try, as they have a lot of seeds anyway. Han Feng states that if his green glow is effective on these seeds, he can make them grow immediately. Han Feng focuses, controlling the rhythm of the energy output. Afterwards, he used the green glow on various seeds, although there were failures too. By continuously using new seeds, they managed to make tens of vegetable sprouts in the end. But in just a few days, these vegetable sprouts died due to the cold. Even with 4 furnaces, the room's temperature is only around 10 degrees. They sprouted. Jean states that they need to think of a way to increase the room's temperature to at least 20 degrees. Han Feng asks about adding another 2 furnaces. Jean replies that there's a limit to what the furnaces can do if they don't improve the heat preservation of this place. She notes that in this entire villa, the basement already has the best heat preservation. Han Feng suggests that the deeper they go underground, the better the heat preservation will be. Jean replies that it seems like he is really planning to dig a hole, stating that it is no problem and to leave it to her, as she is confident in her physical strength. Han Feng states that he will research and see if his light glows are effective against stones. If it's not, then they can just dig it themselves. He already knows that his green and red glow are useless against stones, but the purple glow can soften it. He kneels before the plants, releasing a soft, purple glow over them. The stones feel like mud, but remain as hard as stone. Han Feng rearranges the orders and combines all 3 glows, changing the rhythm of energy output. But they were all failures. Although they are all failures, plants will become a black solid substance, whereas meat will become a black sticky liquid. A few days later, he got angry due to the countless failures, and a miracle happened. But a stone doesn't have any changes. Maybe this is the difference between organic and inorganic matter. Damn it. Han Feng didn't think that when the intensity of the red glow went past a certain limit, it could shatter stones. His hard work these few days is all worthwhile. Fully releasing the red glow, he expands the range of scope as much as possible to see what kind of effect it will have. The red glow intensifies, causing the stones to shatter. The effect isn't bad, but Han Feng is already exhausted from doing it just once. He doesn't even know how many times he can use it per day. After that, Han Feng was put in charge of digging the hole, while Nurse Jean is in charge of transporting the shattered rocks outside. 1 week later, tens of meters below the basement, they have dug out a new basement around 20 square meters. After some remodeling, the underground greenhouse was finally completed. Nurse Jean says, "It's all due to Mr. Han's contributions." Han Feng lies on the ground, looking up at someone standing over him. A voice says, "Such a gain." They descend into the cave, the rough-hewn steps leading deeper into the earth. Han Feng wonders how long it will take for the vegetables to fully grow. More than 2 weeks have passed since they decided to grow their own vegetables. The vegetable that they had stocked ran out long ago, and they have already been eating broccoli for the past 4 days. Han Feng doesn't think he can live with it if he has to continue eating that for another 2 months. The green glow can reproduce broccoli and make seeds sprout. Maybe it can speed up the vegetable's growth. Li Huina suggests that they plant some bean sprouts as well, saying that they can probably eat those in 3 days. Han Feng suddenly loses his footing and falls. Han Feng lands on top of Li Huina with a groan. Li Huina asks if he is okay, apologizing. Li Huina points out that Han Feng is bleeding. Han Feng insists that he is fine. Li Huina asks what happened. A summoning circle appears, and a figure in a witch's hat stands within it, chanting, "O great evil eye, in the name of your apostle, I summon thee." A figure in a witch-like hat commands someone to descend to the world in their omnipotent form and help complete a challenging mission. The figure then calls out for the 5th evil eye. The witch-like figure stands in a summoning circle. The witch-like figure is asked if they are sick. The figure responds that one of the evil eyes has lost its function, so they are getting ready to summon another. They add that one of the CCTVs at the foot of the hill is broken. The snow falls on the hillside villa area. One side is a cliff, and the other side has the only path to travel up the hill. So as long as they install CCTVs on the path up the hill, they will be able to see everyone that's making their way up. The only problem is that the CCTVs malfunction easily due to the snowstorm. Han Feng thinks to himself about the weather, wondering when it will end. Han Feng exclaims, wondering what that sound is. Climbing down the ladder, Han Feng is asked by Li Huina what is going on. Han Feng responds that he is not too sure either, but a huge amount of mist suddenly appeared from those hills. He adds that there are definitely people over there, and there might even be dangers nearby, so they should quickly return. The next day, afternoon, Han Feng yawns, thinking that at the beginning, he didn't really pay any mind to what happened at those hills. After all, the only thing on his mind is how to speed up the vegetable's growth. Han Feng thinks to himself that he should start with sprouting the seeds first. He then realizes that it didn't work as expected. The rhythms used for a certain purpose tend to not work with others. Han Feng thinks to himself that it seems like he can only figure it out anew. 30 minutes later, he crouches in front of the vegetables, a troubled expression on his face. The glow of his power illuminates the small garden. He wonders why this is happening. Han Feng observes that all the vegetables that were in direct contact with the green glow have died, while the vegetables on the other side, which he didn't have contact with, have grown a lot. He studies the plants. Could it be that only a very faint and weak green glow is needed to speed up their growth? Han Feng's guess has been proven right. After being exposed to the green glow for 30 minutes, the vegetables stopped growing. He is unable to fully grow the vegetables in one go, so he can only be there every day to use the green glow on them. And just like that, 5 days have passed. Han Feng smiles, seeing that his Chinese cabbage has grown so big. Qiu looks at the radish, questioning its shape. She asks if there's any problem with it. Han Feng observes that the shape of the tomatoes are also terrible. The worst one is. Qiu suggests eating radish pork rib soup and tomato beef stew today. Han Feng replies that he doesn't care what kind of situation they are in, as long as it's edible. He says all right. Han Feng thinks to himself that all that busy work for 2 weeks was worth it. He wants to eat strawberries and honeydew, and suggests planting some fruits too. Someone asks who was the one who said that eating vitamins is enough. Han Feng touches Qiu's head. He says that humans will eat vitamins, and the evil god will eat strawberries and honeydew. Another person asks if there's so much green cabbage left, and if they are done eating. Han Feng states that he is sick of it, and that he doesn't like green cabbage. He wishes that only Brother Li was here. He could finish all these by himself. It's already been 3 weeks since Brother Li and the others went down the hill, wonders the man with black hair. I wonder how they are doing. The compressed biscuits that we gave them, they must have finished them by now. I hope they are safe. A figure is seen in a snowy environment. The roar of the Demon King has appeared, says the woman with pink hair. Today is the 6th day that we hear this sound. It's been happening over there. Whatever is happening outside is none of our business. It only happens once a day anyway. It won't affect us. Han Feng relaxes in a chair. A figure is seen in a snowy environment. Damn it. It's been happening for tens of times today. Nonstop, exclaims Han Feng, clutching his head. It only happens once a day anyway. It won't affect us. I would like to see exactly what is happening. A figure is seen in a snowy environment. A figure is seen in a snowy environment. What's going on? From a distance, Han Feng observed the snowy landscape. A faint sound carried on the wind. Causing such a commotion on the hills, he wondered if the source was afraid of revealing their location. If they were to bomb all the way over here, it would be troublesome. Han Feng didn't even know if the house he strengthened could withstand such an explosion. Although he didn't know what was happening out there, Han Feng had decided to make the walls taller and thicker, just in case they got bombed. Hyona asked what they were going to use to construct the walls, noting that she didn't have any cement in her storage. Han Feng chuckled, telling her not to worry. Qiu pointed out that they had materials that were readily available over here, stones from digging the basement. Hyona observed that the walls seemed to be a bit too low and thin, and that they should strengthen it a bit. Han Feng replied that they would pile up these stones first, then pour some water over it. The water, once frozen, would become a wall. Hyona noted that the temperature was so low right now, an ice wall filled with stones might even be stronger than a cement wall. The 3 of them went all out making the walls taller and thicker. When the stones ran out, they would get them by tearing down the villa next to them. After 3 whole days, a giant ice wall was now completed. With such a thick ice wall, Han Feng thinks, they can rest easy for now. Did they really start bombarding this area? Hyona wonders as she hears the explosions. This is it, Han Feng thinks, bracing himself for the impact. Damn it, the bombardments are really getting nearer, Han Feng realizes. Han Feng looks up, his expression grim. A massive explosion erupts nearby, shaking the ground. The explosion sends debris flying in all directions. Another bombardment strikes, closer this time. Han Feng's eyes widen in alarm. To the basement, Han Feng shouts. Luckily they constructed the wall in advance, otherwise it would have been dangerous just now. They hid underground for exactly half a day before heading back up. On the second night, while someone was bathing, the bombardments happened nearby again. The bombardments are here, get to the basement. In the morning on the 3rd day, the villa next to them got blown to bits, and one of the bombardments hit their ice wall. In the afternoon of the 4th day, just as he was about to use the toilet, the bombardments began again. A voice calls out, urging him to hurry up and knock first. Frustration mounts as he laments their inability to continue living like this, forced to hide in the basement every day, unable to eat, drink, or sleep properly. He expresses a desire to see exactly who this madman is that keeps bombarding them. Meanwhile, Han Feng tells the others to take care of themselves, promising to return soon. Corpses litter the snowy landscape, a testament to a tragic battle. He finds a piece of cloth that seems to be from a military uniform, suggesting the bombardments are related to the military. He wonders if it could be that bunch. To be safe, Han Feng decides to go up the hill and observe the situation below. He pauses, catching his breath in the frigid air. Through his binoculars, he spots a huge cave that looks like a military facility. He realizes that those are the two cannons that have been bombarding them. Something seemed off. Why was that group of soldiers being so sneaky? Wasn't this their base? Why were they fighting an internal strife? The sounds of battle echoed through the base, a cacophony of screams and destruction. A soldier was sent flying through the air, a ragdoll amidst the chaos. Damn! An explosion ripped through the area, sending debris scattering in all directions. One of the soldiers stood over a fallen comrade. It looked like he was dead. From a distance, an observer watched the unfolding events. Why is a family of 3 coming out? Did I get discovered? Impossible. I am hundreds of meters away from her. It must have been a coincidence. Did that group of soldiers get wired out? Through the scope, 3 figures could be seen in the distance. An explosion erupts. A figure runs from the blast. He thought to himself, it's probably just a coincidence. It's impossible for her to discover me. The man heard the sounds of explosions. What are those noises? He wondered. The 3 figures were still visible in the distance. The 2 soldiers screamed in terror. The soldier lay prone on the ground, trying to hide. Those people are really strange, he thought. Let's hide further away for now and then decide what to do based on the situation. The 3 figures pressed onward. Another explosion rocked the area. The soldier exclaimed, "What the hell? How is this possible?" He lies defeated in the snow, thinking to himself that he is done for. The snowy landscape stretches out before him, silent and unforgiving. The wind howls through the desolate terrain, carrying with it the sting of ice. In the distance, the aftermath of an explosion sends plumes of smoke billowing into the sky. Debris litters the snow-covered ground, a testament to the destructive force. Han Feng coughs, realizing he almost got smothered to death. He notices another figure buried in the snow nearby. Luckily, the dam blocked it, otherwise, who knows how much further he would have been pressed down. Han Feng hopes this fellow will be able to provide him with some useful information. A building stands partially buried in the snow, a silent sentinel in the frozen landscape. Han Feng shakes the buried figure, urging him to wake up. The buried figure groans, begging Han Feng not to kill him, promising to tell him everything. Han Feng thinks to himself that he thought of so many interrogation methods, but he hasn't even used any of them, and he's already giving up. He sits perched on the chair, gun leveled at Lao Wang. Han Feng states, "Don't worry, as long as you tell me information about that woman and those kids, I will let you go." Han Feng leans in, his voice hardening. "Stop rambling, you bastard. Start from that woman and tell me about them one by one." A memory surfaces. A woman stands amidst swirling energy. The woman can release energy waves. She sent us all flying in one move. Another memory flashes, a girl surrounded by explosions, and a boy manipulating ice and snow. That girl knows explosion magic. She can turn anything into a bomb. And that boy, he can control ice and snow. The memory continues, showing the woman, the girl, and the boy walking away, creating avalanches. Lao Wang looks up, his expression a mix of fear and outrage. "So outrageous?" he asks. He thinks, "I don't seem to have the right to say they are outrageous." Han Feng presses him further. "One last question. The people who have been bombarding the hillside villa region in the south these past few days, was it you guys?" Lao Wang thinks. "Looks like there are many people who are similar to me, the middle school girl and that big guy." Lao Wang vehemently denies the accusation. No, it's not us. Our camp has long been taken over by them. We are here to take back our camp this time after getting reinforcements from the headquarters." He thinks, in that case, those explosions that have been happening on those hills were just part of their battle? A flashback shows a desolate battlefield littered with corpses. There were so many soldiers that died from it on the hills. It was all done by that woman and those kids. Another flashback shows explosions erupting across the landscape. So the ones who have been bombarding our villa region were the 3 of them as well. A massive explosion engulfs the scene. That's not right. I don't even know them. Why would they be bombarding me every single day? Lao Wang's face contorts in desperation. "Brother, how would I know?" Han Feng's eyes narrow, a dark expression settling on his face. "HAA." He tells the bound man to forget it and go. The man thanks him profusely for his mercy. The man in white gear looks up, startled. A barrage of energy beams rains down from above. The bombardment intensifies, explosions rocking the area. Inside a building warded by pink and green energy, the man in white gear stands firm. He realizes the attack wasn't random. It was aimed directly at his location. The man in white gear remains vigilant, observing the energy barriers. Far away, 2 figures watch the bombardment. One remarks on the big sister's skill. The figure with white hair notes that even after the bombardments, his ability fluctuations did not disappear, but became stronger instead. He wonders if he isn't too powerful. The pink-haired figure says they have plenty of bombs, and he will die eventually. The white-haired figure replies that if they let him go, it will only attract more enemies. The pink-haired figure asks what the other is afraid of, stating that their ability is invincible in the snow. The white-haired figure replies that the person isn't even afraid of bombs, so will they be able to defeat him? Back inside the building, Han Feng reflects that the bombardments finally stopped, and if he hadn't strengthened the building in time, he would have been dead. He weighed his options, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Should he initiate and bring the fight to them? even with 3 superhumans on their side. If he were to run back home, they would probably be bombarded every day. For the sake of a peaceful future, he could only think of a way to get rid of them. A crimson energy began to coalesce around his outstretched hand, a silent promise of the battle to come. The air crackled with barely contained power. There's a snowfield in front of the dam, and there are hills on both sides. Everything the girl touches turns into a bomb, but the buildings that I strengthened should be able to defend against it. The woman can emit powerful energy waves, and she can use it from a long range. She's slightly dangerous. The most dangerous one is still the boy that can create avalanches. If he controls the snow from far away, he can just directly bury me and the dam together. But I am not a professional sniper. If the distance is too far, I probably won't be able to hit the target. If they decide to hide on the hills on the sides of the dam, I won't be able to discover them in time too. What other methods do I have to get rid of them? And they have someone who can control ice and snow. A trap might not be that effective. Or I can lure them to the lower level of the dam, then open the gate to release the water from the dam. They won't be able to escape then. But how do I lure them to the lower level of the dam? Isn't the gateway too big? It's at least 7 meters tall. I heard that when you are fishing in the North Pole, the ice layer is around 2 meters thick. The water below, it should be higher than the gate, right? The snowy landscape stretches out, silent and still. Inside a building, a figure in white armor stands guard, declaring, "They are here." Snow falls softly, blanketing the area. From within the building, the figure peers out, stating, "Let me see where you guys are at." The figure in white armor continues to observe the snowy landscape. Through the scope of a sniper rifle, the crosshairs settle on the group in the distance. A shot rings out, the bullet hurtling towards its target. Han Feng, Li Huina, and Lao Wang trudge through the snow, unaware of the danger closing in. The shot lands nearby, kicking up snow and debris as the sniper thinks, "Found you." Multiple projectiles rain down on the group, forcing Lao Wang to declare, "Looks like an avalanche won't be able to destroy the house he's in. I will have to rely on you now, Zishi." Back inside the building, the figure in white armor confidently states, "No problem." The figure in white armor, standing inside the building, declares, "I have waited for you guys for a very long time." He and the others are inside a dilapidated structure, seeking shelter from the harsh environment. He peers out from a hole in the wall, surveying the snowy landscape. Suddenly, a barrage of text-based attacks rains down upon them. The white-haired woman stands outside, flanked by 2 companions. A massive water-based attack is unleashed, threatening to engulf the structure. Hyona reacts in shock, realizing the danger they are in. The white-haired woman declares, "You are the run-through floozy. Your entire family are run-through floozies." An explosion rocks the area, sending debris flying. The group makes a desperate attempt to escape the onslaught. The white-haired woman, consumed by rage, vows to kill them all. The snowy landscape stretches out before them, offering little cover. The white-haired woman laughs maniacally, reveling in their misfortune. Han Feng bids farewell to everyone. A torrent of ice water cascades down, threatening to engulf everything in its path. One isn't enough, more ice walls open up, and a few more. The ice waterfall grows larger, now a 3rd and 4th wall of ice. The ice waterfall continues to grow. The snowy landscape stretches out before them. The group is protected by a bubble. The white-haired woman stops the group, stating that there's no fluctuation of an ability over there. The orange-haired boy wonders what that sound is. The ice waterfall continues to grow. The white-haired woman realizes that she found that bastard, and that it's a trap. She tells Yuan, "E to run away." The group runs away quickly. He thought it would be great if he could travel through the snow, as if it was flat land. The snowy landscape stretches before Han Feng, the wind whipping around him as he continues his journey. Han Feng grips his rifle, cautious as he moves forward. He hopes there shouldn't be anyone inside. Han Feng thinks to himself, hoping a group of people doesn't suddenly appear and shoot him dead. He decides to take care of these 2 cannons first. Han Feng wonders if the cannons will explode after they melt. He decides to ignore the shells, reasoning that if there are no cannons, the shells would be useless anyway. Han Feng notes that it is such a huge military facility, and he wonders what's inside. The rows of weapons stretch into the darkness, a testament to the facility's purpose. Han Feng thinks to himself that luckily they only used a mortar to bombard him previously, and if they were to use these huge weapons, things would get troublesome. Han Feng thinks that no matter how many times he strengthens, the house will still be blown to smithereens in an instant and melts them. The rock explodes in a burst of red energy. The force of the blast sends someone flying through the air. Green energy surrounds a figure, protecting them from the blast. Han Feng exclaims, "The rock actually exploded. That was frightening." The hunter notes that he strengthened all the clothes on him, otherwise he would be dead for sure. He curses, "Damn it." The hunter strengthens his defenses with a surge of red energy. Han Feng peers down into a dark hole. The white-haired woman exclaims that this is bad. The group plummets downwards, ambushed from above. A scream echoes through the cavern. She plummets through the air, locked in a deadly embrace with another figure. The impact rattles her skull. "My butt. My head," she cries out. She urges herself to get up quickly, sensing the enemy's presence. The descent continues, a chaotic tumble of bodies against the unforgiving rock. From a high vantage point, a soldier unleashes a hail of gunfire upon the falling figures. A searing pain shoots through a leg as an unseen attacker strikes. Ugh! Energy beams rip through the air, adding to the pandemonium as the group continues to fall. Yeah? The freefall persists. Io! A desperate cry pierces the air. Wait! Two figures raise their hands and surrender. We surrender. A soldier below looks up, bewildered. Huh? A voice filled with rage echoes through the cavern. Bastard, quickly release my sister. He considers the situation. The rocks are quite strong, but his strengthened jacket can defend against it. He weighs his options. If he were to shoot the girl first, he might not be able to defend against the woman in time. He reminds himself that during this period, he still needs to be careful of any ambush by the boy. One of the soldiers states that there's no enmity between them. As long as Zishi stops bombing his house, they can totally get along in peace. Zishi asks if they are bombing his house, seemingly surprised. Zishi wonders if he could be someone staying at the hillside villa. The soldier asks what Zishi thinks. If he wasn't being bombarded every single day, why would he bother coming over here to check out the situation? Zishi says it feels too good to blow things up, and she will feel uncomfortable if she doesn't do it every day. She adds that when she thinks of all the rich people staying at those villas, she just wants to bomb them dead. The soldier asks if Zishi is not related to the soldiers that ambushed them today. He then asks her to look at his clothes and appearance, asking if he looks like a soldier. The soldier asks why Zishi appeared at the same time as them. He asks if she would believe him if he said he was passing by, and it's a coincidence. Zishi says, handsome, sorry, it's all a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. The soldier tells her not to think that just because she is crying, he will forgive them. Someone says their leg hurts. The scene shifts to inside a building, showing medical supplies on a table. Even while removing the bullet, one of the soldiers thinks that Zishi is too calm. If it was him, he would be screaming from the pain. The soldier bandaging the leg thinks that this little girl is also very experienced with handling a bullet wound, and he is afraid their background isn't that simple. The camera focuses on the feet of someone with bandages. Zishi sits above, saying that from today onwards, they will stop bombarding the mister's house, and she won't disturb them either. Chocho kneels beside her. Lao Wang sits to the side, listening. Zishi thanks the mister for forgiving their recklessness, and says they completely accept his suggestion. Zishi gestures with her hand, telling them to show their sincerity, and that as long as they need them, they are welcome to take any resources here. Chocho looks up at her with wide eyes. Lao Wang thinks to himself that they are the ones who managed to steal the things here, so why are they giving it to him? Zishi scolds someone, saying that if it wasn't for them being bored and bombarding this mister's house, would they have such a misunderstanding, and would she have gotten hurt? Chocho apologizes, saying she was wrong. Lao Wang thinks to himself that she's changing her face so quickly. He also thinks that the other person seems to always be able to know his location previously, and wonders how they did it. Zishi sits on the bed, saying that's right. Lao Wang asks if, since they have already reconciled, the mister can put down his gun first. Lao Wang thinks to himself that he still doesn't trust them. Zishi tells someone that this is actually a kind of superpower technique, and if the mister wants to learn, she can teach him. Chocho thinks to herself that this little girl was playing and was insensible, and hopes the mister can forgive her. Lao Wang wonders about superpowers. A narration box states that a superhuman emits fluctuations that are similar to a magnetic field. It continues, saying that as long as you can sense these waves, you can determine the rough location of the superhuman. Zishi and Lao Wang continue chatting for some time, and now he roughly knows how to sense the superpower fluctuations of others. Lao Wang wonders if, since superpowers can grow stronger based on proficiency, then is it possible to awaken new superpowers? Zishi says that from what she knows, different kinds of superpower are not compatible, and one person can only have one kind of superpower. Lao Wang thinks to himself that which means his superpowers are the red, green, and purple glow. According to her explanation, he has 3 kinds of superpowers, and wonders what's going on. He thinks he looks like he has to find some time to properly research them. Zishi shakes hands with a man, saying that as long as you can sense these waves, you can determine the rough location of the superhuman. Han Feng introduces himself, saying he is Han Feng, and he was a normal office worker previously, and suggests they cooperate well. Jiang Ruoqing introduces herself, saying she was a teacher previously, and hopes they can cooperate well. Zishi remarks with a hint of sarcasm, you finally put the gun down. Regarding the previous matter where he called her a run-through floozy and a damned uggo, Zishi asks Han Feng if he would like to explain himself, her expression a mix of anger and amusement. Lao Wang attempts to leave, but Zishi grabs his arm, red energy crackling around her hand. Chocho exclaims, haha, I knew sister wouldn't let him off that easy. The hallway is marked with bloody handprints, a grim reminder of the violence that has occurred. Han Feng, holding Jean and Zishi hostage, asks if they are thinking of dying together with him. Zishi thinks to herself that if there really were explosions all around her, she would probably be heavily injured, even if she didn't die. Zishi states that she just wants Han Feng to explain the vicious curses he threw at her earlier. Han Feng, pulling back, asks what vicious curses she is talking about, stating he doesn't remember anything at all. Jean asks if Han Feng wants her to just bomb him. Zishi thinks that Han Feng is like Miss Jiang, who's graceful and wise, gentle and beautiful, radiant and brilliant, and the dream of all men, so it must have been a misunderstanding. Han Feng asks who told Jean to activate her ability, telling her not to hurt this mister, as he's their ally. Jean wonders if they are not going to bomb him dead. Han Feng tells Zishi not to think that he will forgive her just because she praised his sister a little bit. Zishi says that Han Feng can take whatever he wants from here, but it's already the middle of the night, so why doesn't he rest for the night and leave tomorrow? Han Feng tells Zishi that it's not so easy to trick him with her flowery speech, but he does indeed look like a good guy, so he won't continue to pursue her previous rude behavior. He thinks that Jean is so lively and adorable, innocent and romantic, and how cute. He thinks that this lass is so easy to trick. Han Feng tells Zishi not to misunderstand, stating that they have already reached an agreement for cooperation. He thinks that the fuel for the generator at home is running out, and it'd be nice for him to replenish it. Zishi thinks that Miss Jiang has planned things more thoroughly. Han Feng asks if Zishi wants to stay here. Zishi says that she has some matters to handle at home, and says goodbye. She thinks that they do not have to tell Han Feng about the matter regarding superpowers. She tells Yuan Yi that he's gone, and to stop pretending to be asleep. Yuan Yi thinks to himself that he hates talking to strangers. Zishi asks if Yuan Yi used his ability multiple times today, and if there are any changes to his body, then says she will check. Zishi restrains Yuan Yi, who is holding a penguin card. She tells him to let her go. Zishi says that it's growing on his butt, and that for their own safety, they shouldn't use their abilities too much in the future. Meanwhile, a figure walks through a snowy landscape, thinking that they are tired. The figure continues walking through the snow. It's so uncomfortable, it feels like they can't even catch their breath, and they wonder what's going on. The figure thinks that this won't do, and they can't do this anymore. They remember there's a hidden CCTV ahead. The figure calls for help, asking if anyone is there. A CCTV camera is shown. Elsewhere, an interior room is shown. It's so late, are they both sleeping? Someone thinks that they are done for and dead. He kneels in the snow, his breath misting in the frigid air. The figure clutches at his chest, a sharp pain lancing through him. My chest, it hurts. He stumbles forward, the snow crunching beneath his boots as he navigates the frozen landscape. A figure in a pink hat stands beneath a flower-shaped light. Han Feng jolts awake, gasping for air as the remnants of a nightmare cling to him. He pushes himself up, his mind racing to make sense of the lingering images. What's going on? How did I come back here? Han Feng stares at his hands, then at Li Huina. Why am I naked? Li Huina glances at a screen, her expression unreadable. Li Huina explains, to help you quickly recover your body temperature, I helped to remove all your clothes. Han Feng recalls, I remember having a sudden pain in my chest. Jean adds, your body doesn't seem to have any injuries, so then why did you faint at the bottom of the hill? Li Huina continues, maybe it's because of the cold weather, and you overworked yourself, thus triggering angina. Li Huina says, after that, I told them about what happened yesterday. Jean adds, can you show some concern for my health? For the next 5 days, under Nurse Jin's care, he pretty much recovered completely. Li Huina stands nearby. He has already been trying this for a few days now. Maybe he has long been abandoned by the evil king. He tells himself not to be disturbed, that he needs to focus because he is very close. He senses Nurse Jean, wondering what she is doing and why she has such a weird posture. Nurse Jean thinks to herself that it feels strange, like someone is staring at her. Han Feng realizes that this is a divine technique. Meanwhile, it has already been 8 days since he thought he would return very quickly. One of the group members exclaims that there are actually 3 superhumans, which is impossible. Another member says that they are not fighting them, so there is nothing to be afraid of. It is noted that he actually brought 2 other superhumans with him. The group continues through the snowy landscape. One of the group members says that it has been a long time since they have seen Miss Jiang, and that they are here to get the resources. It is stated that they are the 3 superhumans that were mentioned, and they are now allies. One of the group members says hello to everyone, stating that it is nice to meet them and asking them to guide him along. One of the group members thinks to himself that he shouldn't have come. She rolls forward in a wheelchair, her voice sharp with surprise and accusation. Sister, why are you here? Han Feng, Jean, Hyona, and Yuan Yi stare back, their faces a mixture of shock and confusion. Huh? The woman with pink hair demands if the other thinks she is blind. The white-haired man explains that he disappeared from the research institute because he was chasing after his new dream, which is to stay home and eat all day until he dies. A voice cries out for help as the others wonder if they know each other. The gray-haired woman states that she doesn't know. The hallway stretches into the distance. The gray-haired woman explains that Xiuqiu is her blood-related sister from a different father and mother. The woman with pink hair explains that she was an orphan and was adopted when she was 11 years old, so Xiuqiu became her elder sister. They were inseparable, much closer than real sisters. One of the characters exclaims that she should be the elder sister. The gray-haired woman explains that it's normal for others to misunderstand, because Xiuqiu is so small and adorable after all. She shows a photo of when they were young, explaining that Xiuqiu is actually 1 year older than her. One of the characters exclaims that she really is the big sister from when they were young and cute. Another character notes that there's basically no difference from how the middle school girl looks right now, even though she is 21 years old, which means the other woman is only 20 years old. She grew up so fast. One of the characters says that no matter how she looks at it, they look more like mother and daughter right now, which is so funny. She then says that she is kidding. The woman with white hair says that many things happened after the other woman left the research institute. The woman with glasses asks what kind of things. Han Feng wonders if she doesn't want him to hear about it. Nurse Jean suggests they take a walk inside the cave to see if they can find any useful resources. The woman with glasses says all right. She tells the others that they don't have to go. As companions chosen by the eye of the evil, they can know about these matters as well. One of the figures coughs and says that since his best friend already put it that way, then he shall stay there. He apologizes for disturbing them. The white-haired woman says that since it's her sister's request, then she will speak freely. She continues, saying that after the other woman left, their research succeeded, but the professor got killed, and the research institute was destroyed. The woman with glasses thinks that was way too brief, and that the first sentence already has so much information that she can't make sense of it. The woman with glasses asks how the white-haired woman knew. The white-haired woman replies that there were factions in the city capturing superhumans, and if they were to reveal their identities, they might come after them. The white-haired woman adds that if they overuse their ability, superpower crystals will grow on their body. A close-up shows a pattern on a woman's chest. The woman with glasses says, MHM. She adds that they have also found a method to remove the crystals. The woman with glasses says, MHM, I already knew about that. One of the figures asks what, something like that happened? Another figure asks if she is serious and how come she didn't know about it. Another figure asks why she didn't tell them earlier. The white-haired woman says, that too. The woman with glasses says that she doesn't. She adds that her sister doesn't have to comfort her, as she is a genius, and it's impossible for her not to know about such a simple technique. One of the figures says that she really doesn't know, and since her sister watching is so capable, she should teach her. Another figure asks why they are talking in riddles and tells them to speak clearly, with all the details, from the beginning. The woman with blonde hair states that it's hellish in the beginning. The white-haired man asks if she's sure they want to start from the beginning. Han Feng confirms that he is sure. The white-haired man thinks that it's his first time seeing a middle school girl with such an expression. The text states that at that time, he was 18 years old and graduating with his degree, while his sister was 19 years old and graduating with her master's degree. They were famous for being beautiful and genius researchers. Han Feng thinks that it sounds a bit too unrealistic. The text states that 2 years ago, their research institute accidentally found a superhuman who was sealed within ice due to her superpower. The white-haired man recalls that last year, his sister and he unexpectedly gained superpowers, but then his sister suddenly disappeared. The text states that at the beginning of this year, the research institute succeeded in their man-made superhuman project. The text states that a few months later, the professor responsible for the superpower research was murdered inside the women's bathroom. Jean asks why in the women's bathroom. The text states that other researchers involved also started to either go missing or get murdered. The text states that in the end, the research institute building got destroyed, but the 3 of them managed to escape using their superpowers. Han Feng states that from what he knows, there's an organization in the city called Base. He says they have gathered quite a few superhumans, and he suspects that they're the killers. Jean asks if Base could it be them again? The white-haired man asks if the group of soldiers that they were fighting with from Base? He asks if they wouldn't know if they captured one of them as a prisoner. Han Feng is surprised and asks what uprising volunteer group. The text states that they captured a minor captain, and from what he told them, he's not someone from Base, but from the uprising volunteer group. The text also states that that captive uncle once helped an entire neighborhood get through a disaster, but he was captured afterwards by the uprising volunteer group and became cannon fodder. Han Feng thinks that he looked so cultured, refined, and very sophisticated, and that you can tell he's a good person just by looking at him. Jean states that that can't be. The uprising volunteer group is capturing people to use as cannon fodders. Hyona states that Brother Li and the others probably won't do such a thing. Han Feng wonders how could the people from the uprising volunteer group look cultured? A group of figures stands together, one dressed in a white uniform and holding a gun, surrounded by others in darker attire. A partial view shows 2 figures, one with pink hair, standing near a wall. 2 figures walk down a long street, the pink-haired one slightly ahead. The figure in the white uniform speaks to a prisoner behind bars. The prisoner asks when he will be released, claiming the uprising volunteer group captured him and his friends. The figure in the white uniform, addressing Han Feng, remarks on his new position as a minor captain. The captive is revealed to be Jiang Shuiyo. Han Feng is surprised to see Lao Wang. Lao Wang explains that he had to take their resources to save more people, hoping Han Feng can understand. Lao Wang continues, saying it's his fault for not giving them his resources. Miss Lu interjects, saying that prioritizing their own safety is understandable. Han Feng tells him to stop acting, asking if he thinks he's a fool. Miss Lu is shocked to learn that Lao Wang is someone from Base. Han Feng asks why he's pretending to be someone from the uprising volunteer group. Miss Lu is angry, exclaiming that he actually lied to them. Lao Wang says it's a long story. He claims he didn't lie to them. Lao Wang explains that he initially joined Base and was appointed as a minor captain. He continues, explaining that the uprising volunteer group sent people to impersonate soldiers to try to take over the underground storage. Lao Wang continues, saying that he was also one of them, but they were defeated very quickly and he got captured. Han Feng tells him to go on and continue spewing his bullshit. Lao Wang says that if they don't believe him, there's nothing he can do. Han Feng tells him to stop his crappy act, asking if he thinks he's one of those retarded residents that he can dupe. Lao Wang insists that he is not lying. Still in his cage, he is watched by Han Feng and Miss Lu. Lao Wang insists that Han Feng misunderstands him. swearing that he is not lying and that everything he has said is true. He reminds them that he is already a captive and that they know about his past, so he wouldn't dare lie to them for the sake of his survival. Han Feng and Miss Lu walk away, leaving Lao Wang behind. Han Feng tells Lao Wang that he will give him another chance to tell them all the information he knows about the organization base, stating that he doesn't want to hear a single lie. Lao Wang says that he was captured by the Uprising Volunteer Group not long after he joined base, so he doesn't know much. Han Feng remains unconvinced. Han Feng threatens that if Lao Wang still doesn't tell the truth, then he is worthless. Lao Wang looks distressed. Elsewhere, one of the girls comments on how cool Han Feng was when he was beating up that guy just now. Jean replies that she is too kind and is flattered. Another girl announces that they are back, and Jean coughs, saying that they will never guess who the captive was. One of the girls exclaims that it's that fellow Jiang Xueyo. One of the girls asks if they know the captive, and another states that it went like this, so and so. One of the girls realizes that they were being lied to, and another says that she has always felt that most handsome people are bad people. She exclaims that the ability is too awesome, as expected from Sister's sister. Han Feng stands beside her, looking on. The group moves through the area, collecting all the guns and resources they can find. A figure collapses, stating they are so full they feel like puking. There's an armory over here, too. So many weapons. There's a lot of fuel and rations ahead as well. These are military walkie-talkies. The communication distance is 30 kilometers. Bring them with you, so we can communicate freely in the future. Let me think, what else do we need? No, there's no more space. From base, have surrounded us. I can't find Brother Jinghao as well. I can't do this. I already told you I'm not fit to be the leader. People tie their honored cars to be meat shields. They are heading towards us. It's the last box. You can do it. Come on. Thermal imaging reveals the soldiers have been seen for a long time. The soldiers fire into the building, demanding surrender. Inside the vehicle, the soldiers question if anyone is hiding nearby, given the thermal imaging. A soldier reports to the captain that the 4th squad did not find the target and receives confirmation. The captain receives reports that the 1st and 2nd squads also did not find the target. He orders the 4th squad to follow the original plan and continue searching. Captain Zhao is questioned about his ability to complete the mission. The captain responds that there is no need for explanations and that he is not going to continue playing with them. Captain Zhao uses a blue flame, hoping he can complete his mission this time. The soldiers discuss Captain Zhao, noting that he is basically not human. They are ordered to shrink down the surrounding area and carefully check every house and basement. A soldier responds, "Yes, Captain." The soldiers search in the snow, knowing this is an old district where the buildings are all cluttered together, making it not possible to find them so quickly. He and another member of the group trudge through the snow. The man with white hair remarks on how convenient the other's ability is, now that they are entering the city. Inside, the group discusses rations. One of them says that not everyone has these kinds of fresh rations, and they only need to put in a little bit of effort to get them. Another agrees quickly. A third member says that if it wasn't for the sake of those meat and vegetables, he wouldn't have helped them. A voice says that they should arrive once they turn left in front and cross 2 more streets. The snow crunches underfoot as they continue onward. The group approaches a dark opening in the snow-covered landscape. The man with white hair tells the others to follow him closely, as the paths down here are very complicated, and it's very easy to get lost. Sneaking, the group moves through the sewers. The man with white hair says that they will be right below the district ahead, and there might be people hiding there, so they should watch out for any ambush. The man with white hair tells the others to stay back. He says that the sewers here can reach their district, and he and Brotherly have already been through it before. The group emerges into a room. The man with white hair looks at a memory, thinking that all those things happened not long ago, yet it feels like a really long time ago. The blonde-haired girl asks where they are going to find Uncle Li and the others. The man with white hair responds that Jiang Shuiyo said they are in the old district to the west, but there's no concrete location. 1 hour later, the group is back in the snow. The man with white hair says that those soldiers are encircling Brotherly, and they should be able to find him if they follow them. The blonde-haired girl says that they have already been following them for an hour, and she asks where Brother Li and the others are. A man thinks that he didn't expect that a day would come where he'd be back here. An explosion erupts in the distance, sending plumes of smoke billowing into the frigid air. Inside a snow-covered structure, soldiers react to the distant blast. One wonders if Brother Li is attacking the troops from base. A lone soldier peers out from a shattered window, realizing they have been surrounded. Vehicles and soldiers stand ready in the snow-covered landscape. Grandpa Li, bellowing into a megaphone, taunts his enemies. He dares the bastards from base to come and kill him. The soldiers fight on, vowing to never surrender, even if they die. The captain reflects on the higher-ups' desire to find the mithril in the hands of the Uprising Volunteer Group, remembering the brothers who have been sacrificed. He resolves that since the Uprising Volunteer Group isn't surrendering, they can die. Soldiers stand ready, waiting for orders. The captain orders his troops to fire. Inside a vehicle, a soldier wonders what's going on as the convoy speeds through the snow. Another explosion rocks the battlefield. Grandpa Li, perched atop a snow-covered structure, throws grenades, greeting his enemies with a maniacal laugh. A soldier stands guard, a grenade launcher slung over his shoulder. An explosion rips through the snowy landscape. A man in a military uniform muses, clearly trying to lure someone away, probably to save the uprising volunteer group. A vehicle speeds through the snow-covered terrain. The snow-covered buildings stand silent. The officer continues, thinking that if he can capture the superhuman, Han Feng, he will be highly valued by the commanding officer again. A lone figure trudges through the deep snow. Two figures make their way through the harsh winter landscape. A group of people stand before a snow-covered building. Han Feng is embraced by another man, who exclaims that he thought he was going to die, but is alive thanks to him. Another man says that they can talk about this later, as it isn't safe here. The soldiers welcome Han Feng, declaring that they are brothers who have been through life and death together. One of them tells Han Feng to follow him, as he has prepared some good stuff for them. One of the soldiers wonders what kind of resources Han Feng brought, as all the brothers have been starving for a while. The soldiers stood among the cannons. One of them questioned, "Why are there howitzers in such a place?" Another soldier stated, "I told the middle school girl to place these cannons here earlier. We can't reveal her ability." A third soldier replied, "Oh, understood, lil bro." A soldier raised his fist, shouting, "Uprising volunteer group, it's time for us to counterattack. Let's turn that bunch of bastards from base into ashes." Apostles chosen by the tyrant's eye of truth are instructed to carry out their new mission, raining down cleansing fires of karma upon this world. One of the brothers is called Chinibyu by another. One of the men asks why the other thought he knew how to fire a cannon, as he only brought it to them. The other man replies that he just said he was cool, and asks if he can't be a little more reliable. One of the men admits he only knows how to shoot a pistol, having only seen cannons on TV before. Another man says that brotherly overestimates him too much, and suggests they just run for it. A younger man states that he was an artilleryman. Someone wonders if there's actually someone with that kind of talent in this group. The group encourages the younger man, telling him they're counting on him and not to embarrass them. Technical specifications of the 105mm howitzer are provided. Someone tells the lecturer to stop and just do it already. The cannon guy is told to look at the building over there, where the people from the base are inside right now. A little brother asks how they know the people from the base are in that building. The other brother replies that he left something good for them in there. Once they see it, they won't be able to walk away. The captain reports that they lost the target somewhere around here, but they made a new discovery inside this building. They checked and found it's all fuel and food. Someone wonders who would hoard these kinds of supplies in a place like this, and suggests it could be a rebel hideout. A captain questions what to do with the supplies. He is instructed to check the surrounding area for traps, and take everything if it's safe. The captain realizes the supplies are all fuel. The captain wonders what it could be. Captain Zhao orders them to fire. The cannon fires, sending a projectile towards its target. The cannon fire impacts the target area, causing a large explosion. More cannon fire is launched, continuing the barrage. The cannon fire continues to impact the target area, creating more explosions. A figure is caught in the explosion, crying out in pain. The explosions continue to engulf the area. A figure is engulfed in flames, screaming in agony. A man realizes they're done for. The cannon shot is, according to one soldier, fucking awesome. Another shouts back, unable to hear over the din. He asks what the other said. 10 minutes later, the target collapses in a fiery explosion. Brother Han exclaims that firing the cannon feels so damn good. He adds that they finally got what they deserved. So satisfying. Ha. Another soldier praises Brother Han as so badass. Another soldier tells Brother Han that he is his idol. Lao Wang states that their position has been exposed, and they should stop dawdling and use this chance to escape. A soldier suggests they take the cannon with them. Another agrees. One of the soldiers says that a cannon this heavy is impossible to move, and it's already sunk deep into the snow. Another suggests they leave the cannon and plant landmines around it, so when their people come looking for it, they'll blow them sky high. Another agrees. One of the soldiers asks brotherly how the rescue of Chief Lu is going. Another says that they don't know where Chief Lu is being held, and they've been capturing their men in order to collect intel lately. One of the soldiers asks about Brother Zhenghao, saying they split up earlier but lost contact with him recently. He also asks about the bearded uncle, saying he hasn't seen him around. One of the soldiers says not to worry, they'll find him sooner or later. For now, they should go back to the Xingfu district and rest up for a while. He adds that he left a lot of weapons and supplies in the complex's underground garage and guarantees that it'll be enough to get them armed to the teeth. One of the soldiers thanks Brother Han so much. Brother Han replies, "Okay, boss," and they fist bump. The soldiers survey the snowy landscape, having located the cannon that bombarded them. One of the soldiers, carrying a wounded man in a wheelchair, remarks, "Oh, so you found the cannons now, did you?" The wounded man, face contorted in rage, shouts, "Did I ask you to find the cannons? I told you to find those bastards, and then blow them to pieces. To pieces." Meanwhile, a man with a cigar in his mouth exhales smoke, muttering, "Shit." The cannons are destroyed in a fiery explosion. Elsewhere, Han Feng takes a swig from a flask. A voice calls out, "Little bro, what are you doing out here? Come back and keep drinking." Inside a building, a group of people raise their drinks in a toast, shouting, "Cheers." The air is thick with the smell of alcohol and grilled meat. Outside, the man with white hair surveys a field littered with bodies, remarking, "Oh, looks like the landmines over there went off. Wonder who was so unlucky." He then orders, "You guys clean up the bodies. The pieces, too. Food is scarce these days." A soldier reports to the man with the cigar, "Commander, Captain Zhao was ambushed. He died heroically in battle. The man responds, "What a waste." The man with the cigar, now identified as the commander, states, "You will take command of his unit. You must find the keep." A subordinate replies, "As you command, Your Excellency." An older man sits at a table, enjoying a meal and a drink. He sighs contentedly, stating that a Huazi cigarette really hits the spot, as he hasn't had a smoke in a month and was about to die. In the background, people sit at tables. A figure scolds another for smoking in front of a child, declaring the place a den of devils. Another figure states that they've done everything asked of them and are going back now. The figure in white explains that the whole reason he came was to deliver supplies, and now that they're delivered, he should get going too. He adds that he's been at odds with the base lately and has to hurry back to prevent any accidents. Another figure questions why he's leaving so soon. A man with a fur-lined hat reacts with surprise, asking if something like that happened and if they found his villa. A speech bubble indicates that his business must be kept secret. Han Feng speaks, mentioning that after he chased those soldiers off, he found a warehouse nearby. He explains that the warehouse was full of weapons and equipment, so he brought a few of them. Lao Wang responds, calling him a true friend. Lao Wang asks if Han Feng could spare him a few more cartons of cigarettes, even though they have enough weapons. He then mentions that they pawned a few of their old brothers and want to get them back. Han Feng looks confused, questioning what he said. A close-up shot shows a plate filled with cigarette butts. A character reflects that he never thought a place like this existed in the city, where you can even trade living people. Lao Wang reflects, stating that he almost let it slip. He explains that they were desperate back then, with nowhere to go, so they had no choice but to pawn their own brothers. Another character states that it's too ruthless, as they're demanding 4 times the original price if they wish to buy them back. Han Feng asks if they are sure the people won't just kill the hostages. Another character responds that if those bastards dare to kill the hostages, they'll blast them flat with cannons. A character states that right now, 1 adult male can only be traded for 10 jean of grain, but 1 carton of cigarettes is worth 50 jean of grain. Another character exclaims that human life is so cheap. A speech bubble indicates that grain is still considered cheap, and the price of vegetables and fruit is even more ridiculous. A character states that they heard someone traded 3 fresh tomatoes for 3 beautiful women. Another character exclaims, questioning if you can do that. A character states that it's too ruthless, as they're demanding 4 times the original price if they wish to buy them back. Another character exclaims that it's so infuriating. A speech bubble indicates that in that case, the base doesn't have control of the whole city then. The man explains that the base uses the subway tunnels to transport troops, so they can only control the areas along the subway lines. The man with the blonde hair states that those areas without subways have inconvenient transportation, so they can't manage them. He wonders if that's why they've been hiding in the old district, because there really are no subways there. He then tells the others to go. The man with the blonde hair says that they should go buy their brothers back, and that they'll need to rely on them to rescue Director Liu later. Another man yells for his brother to save Brother Li. The men surround Brother Li, who is lying on the ground. One of them yells, asking what's wrong with him and telling him not to scare them. The man explains that those areas without subways have inconvenient transportation. A close-up of Brother Li's wound is shown. The man with the blonde hair says that to avoid holding them back, Brother Li actually managed to endure it until now, calling him a tough guy. Another man begs his brother to save Brother Li, saying that they're begging him too. The man with the black hair says that he wants to save him too, but he doesn't know anything about medicine. The men yell that they want to stay with their big bro and ask what's with all the noise, telling everybody to get out. Judging by the inflammation of the wound, Han Feng thinks that Brother Li must have been injured several days ago. He decides to give it a try. 10 minutes later, Han Feng heals the wound. Damn it. Han Feng wonders why there is no effect at all, and if it is only effective on himself. Another man asks if they have any medicine over there. The man says that the warehouse was full of weapons, equipment, fuel, and grain, but they didn't find any medicine. Besides, Sister Zhang's wound didn't get infected. He says that if they don't treat Brother Li soon, he's afraid he won't last much longer. He speaks urgently into his communicator. Hello, is Nurse Jean there? Brother Li has been shot. The wound is badly infected. Do you know how to treat it? Han Feng asks, concern etched on his face. He adds, Brother Li is injured. A voice responds, relaying instructions. First, you must remove the bullet. After that, clean the wound with saline solution. Then disinfect the wound with povidone iodine. The instructions continue. As for fever reducers and antibiotics, take. Nurse Jean told me how to treat the wound and what medicines were needed. Han Feng decides on a course of action. I decided to go with Chong to that underground black market. The snowmobile speeds through the icy landscape. Faster. Speed up. Holy cow. We're practically flying at ground level. One of the passengers exclaims. Lao Wang grumbles. He's using me as a vehicle again. Another voice adds. Brother Chong, how much further is this black market that you mentioned? We won't get spotted by the base on the Wixie, will we? Chong replies, not far now. The destination is revealed. The black market is under the river over there. Han Feng wonders aloud how they're going to get inside. Hyona points out that the entrance is over there. She tells him not to get freaked out by what they're about to see. A robot greets them, requesting their membership card. Han Feng exclaims in disbelief. Han Feng questions how a robot still has power at a time like this. The robot states that the market is a peaceful establishment and that guests should refrain from any violent behavior. Han Feng thinks to himself that this place is way too dangerous. They're entering the elevator now. The robot tells them to stay close. Han Feng is surprised that there's even an elevator here. The robot announces that they've arrived and asks them to step inside. Han Feng thinks that the faction behind this black market must be incredibly powerful. The robot, 1804, states that the total comes to 17 cartons of Huazi cigarettes and requests payment. Han Feng replies that they don't have enough cigarettes, finding the price so expensive. 1804 states that it's fine, and that it brought other good stuff. The robot then states that 3 tomatoes are worth 7 cartons of Huazi cigarettes. The robot states that 1 banana is worth 4 cartons of Huazi cigarettes. 1804 then confirms that the payment has cleared and that the goods will be delivered shortly. 1804 wonders if they're going to take their stuff and then kill them, before stating that this black market should have some integrity. 1804 presents the medical supplies that were requested, asking them to inspect them. The robot presents 3 live human specimens that have been delivered, asking them to inspect them. The specimens are bound and gagged. 1804 presents the 10 game discs and 30 photo books that were ordered, asking them to inspect them. Lao Wang asks Han Feng if he can spare a few of those photo books, stating that 5 would be enough. Han Feng replies that that's too many and that he can only give 2 books at most. Hyona adds that she's been his mode of transportation for so long and is dead tired, wanting 2 books too. A voice says that kids aren't allowed to look at this kind of unhealthy stuff. The group continues to discuss the photo books. A figure is shot in the snow, blood splattering. A figure with a rifle says that they don't care who they are and tells them to go to hell, all of them. The woman, lying on the snowy ground, declares that she is now his and will do anything he asks. The man reacts, thinking that this isn't right. He kneels before her, assuring her that they are not bad people. The man is stabbed by an unseen assailant. A voice shouts, "Thank you." A gun fires. The woman says, "You actually shot a beauty like me. Are you even a man?" The woman lies on the ground, seemingly shot. The man stands over her, thinking about how a beautiful woman is imprisoned by a man for days. But her clothes aren't torn, there are no injuries on her body, and she's even wearing makeup. He wonders if he's an idiot. The man and woman are sitting. The man thinks, "Brother Han, you're amazing. If it were me facing a beauty like that, I would have hesitated." The man and another man are talking. The other man says, before shooting, "That's because you're stupid." The first man thinks, "It's just that she reminded me of someone I used to know." The man wonders why, if they have cigarettes, they didn't trade them for food at the black market. He then asks how to get a membership card, as without one, you can't get into the underground black market. The man thinks that no wonder there are only 4 cartons here. Someone says that first, you pay 5 cartons of cigarettes as a membership fee. The scene shifts to a table with medical supplies. A narration box states that after they got back, they immediately tended to Brother Lee's wounds and treated him. The next day, Brother Lee woke up. The 3 people who were ransomed back also recovered their spirits, and they were also the earliest members of Ji Hall. The group cheers. The group is eating. Someone says that Brother Han, the guys, and they discussed it, and they want to nominate him to be the leader of their Ji Hall. Han Feng tells them to stop, stating he has no such intentions. The woman with wavy black hair declares that she will install radiators everywhere. She states that she will use a pump to draw water from downstairs back into the system, reheat it, and circulate it. The generator and heating are restarting. It's not warm at all. The woman with wavy black hair tells another to not worry and just wait a little longer. Half an hour later, a table is shown with various items on it. The true eye of the evil king gives you a thumbs up, but he feels like he's forgetting something. My vegetable garden. The heating system for the underground section is finally fixed. Han Feng wonders if these vegetables will make it, green energy emanating from his hands. Half an hour later, Han Feng examines the radishes. They're so small. He tastes one of the vegetables. It's sour and bitter. Han Feng decides to forget it and just plant them again. The vegetables underground are all dead. He needs to get some new seeds. Hyona tells Han Feng that the evil eye says that besides vegetables, it also requires an offering of fruit. Strawberries would be nice. And steak. She wants to eat steak today. Han Feng replies that's not a problem. Hyona asks Han Feng how the offering for the evil eye turned into what he wants to eat. Han Feng realizes he forgot. Combining the bean and the meat, the green light and the red light, can create bigger meat. Han Feng wonders if combining the bean and the cabbage heart will turn it into a big head of cabbage. His perception of energy is more sensitive than before. As long as he's patient and finds the right rhythm of energy fluctuations, Han Feng believes he can succeed. Li Huina pushes the wheelchair forward, trying to get them out of danger. Lao Wang fires a gun, providing cover for their escape. Gunshots echo through the corridor as the cloaked figure watches. The enemies shout, realizing they are escaping. They're here. Don't let them get away. Kill them. Lao Wang focuses, gathering energy in her hands. You too. Hold on to the handles tight. A massive blast of blue energy erupts from her hands. Li Huna grits her teeth, pushing the wheelchair even faster. That's right. Hold on tight. The enemies look up in shock. What? The energy slams into the ground, creating a cataclysmic explosion. One of the enemies is sent flying through the air from the force of the blast. Ah. A soldier steps forward, determined to pursue. I'm gonna get all the credit. Someone plummets through the air, the ground rushing up to meet them. The blonde-haired boy cries out, calling for his sister. Li Huina urges him to hold on tight as they fall. Li Huina declares that she's got it, preparing to blow up the entrance. Lao Wang curses, surrounded by a red glow. A massive explosion erupts. Someone wonders what all the commotion is about, while another observes that the three of them appear to have escaped. The characters scream as they are thrown through the air. Lao Wang cries out in pain, furious that he was blown up and vowing to kill her. Lao Wang stands amidst the snow, towering over the others. Someone screams die. They sprint through the snow, the frigid air stinging their lungs. A voice shouts after them, ordering them not to run, while another voice tells someone not to chase them. A man with light blue hair states that they have other important things to do, and that driving them off is enough. The snowy landscape stretches out before them, the wind howling through the icy formations. Inside a building, a character exclaims that someone named Jean was awesome back there. Another character responds with a questioning, "Oh really?" Nurse Jean is instructed to take Miss Jiang and the others back, while someone else will stay and cover the rear. Han Feng, wearing goggles, wonders aloud. Below, the group remarks that he is ruthless. Han Feng declares that it's his turn. The entrance is completely blocked, and there's no one on guard. Han Feng reinforces his clothes, stating that even if he runs into any soldiers right now, they're not much of a threat as long as he does so. He thinks that the real threats are the big guy and the other superhuman, but they're in the deepest part of the cave right now, so he probably won't run into them. Han Feng uses magic to soften the ground. It's a tight squeeze, and he would be embarrassed if he got stuck. He notes that there's no one at the entrance. Han Feng continues to squeeze through the tight space, deeper into the cave. Something's off. How come there's no one inside? They went through all that trouble of capturing this cave, and they're not sending people to move the supplies. He clutches the bundle of explosives, his gaze hardening with resolve. Whatever the cost, as long as he destroys all the fuel, weapons, and ammunition, his goal will be achieved. Han Feng walks deeper into the dimly lit corridor, his breath misting in the cold air. He remembers the armories being right over here, but he can't find them. A group of soldiers, their faces grim, surround a man with white hair. They accuse Zhang Dongxiu of betrayal, their voices echoing in the cavernous space. Han Feng grips his weapon, a dawning realization washing over him. No wonder no one's moving supplies. They're fighting amongst themselves. A cavern stretches out, the path ahead littered with jagged rocks and unknown dangers. What the dash? A figure is engulfed in a swirling vortex of purple energy. The figure is blasted backward, crashing against the cavern wall. Damn it, I was so close to getting out. Han Feng grits his teeth, his eyes narrowing. I have to take him out quickly, or I'll get caught in the explosion too. A hulking figure roars in pain as an unseen force slams into him. Han Feng raises his weapon, firing a volley of shots. How is it this fat guy again? Just my luck. A blinding flash of green energy engulfs the scene as the figure screams, I'm going to kill you.